Okay. Welcome yet again to another episode of WIC TV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And gang, today we are going to be discussing USAID. The prompt tonight is: ending USAID was the right move for America and its interests. And they'll be defended by AdmiralGibbs and DragonFist TV. Destiny and ShesRight will be opposing. It should be a fun and interesting discussion. I am looking forward to it. I'm not going to give you too much preamble, and we're just going to get to work. I'm going to give the mic first to Mr. Fist, I guess. How do you want to be referred to?
Andrew's fine. I should have put that. I didn't see
Okay,
it.
Andrew. Mr. Fist sounds weird. Okay, Andrew,
It does.
there's a mic. Give us your opening thoughts. Tell people who you are, what you do, why we should listen to you, all that, and then we'll just go around. Go ahead.
Sure. I had a channel. It started as a martial arts channel. We've pivoted now. We're doing, cultural commentary, political commentary. So it's been going pretty well. Check us out. Subscribe on YouTube. My opening statement is very simple. We're in $39 trillion debt here in the United States. This is an existential threat to our country. Currently, we are adding to the debt faster, way faster than we're paying it down. I don't see any way we could get out of this without cutting programs that are, I would say any program that's not national security and that's overseas is on the chopping block. So my opponents would have to demonstrate how it would be counter to the to American growth to cut these programs, as it's exactly what we need to do to survive. And I can also demonstrate with evidence that a lot of these programs are just waste, fraud, abuse. Basically, this is the quality leering of foreign policy, and I can demonstrate that through evidence. And my opponents can try to demonstrate. I'm sure they're going to say that we're killing babies and this, that, and the other. But I will also demonstrate that this is just based on projections from publications like The Lancet, not actual data, just projections based on the most severe outcome possible from a left-wing publication. So at that, we can get into it. That's pretty much the argument that I'm going to take. I know you said you wanted to keep this short. We can
Yeah, we'll get into it as we go. Thank you for being here and looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you.
Admiral Gibbs, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what my partner just said, yeah, I agree with almost everything. Listen, there's gonna be a whole lot of hooping and hollering and bitching and moaning and crying about shit that I don't give a shit about. Listen, I got two words for these countries: fuck them. We've restructured USAID under the State Department. We can talk about people dying overseas, but listen, people are gonna die anyway. There's other countries that can provide aid if they want to. We're gonna hear a lot about soft power tonight. I'm talking about hard power, right? That's the secret. Is we're going in there. We have the bombs. We can do what we want. We're still going to be the biggest leader in foreign aid compared to any other country in the world for the umpteenth million year in a row. I'm sure we'll get into all this going forward. But yeah, I mean, the USAID was basically just an NGO, Tammany Hall, baby back bullshit plan. And yeah, I'm glad it's gone.
Okay, I guess we'll see how it goes. Thank you for being here. ShesRight, please.
USAID has saved millions of lives. It is the right thing to do. It represents, as Social Security does domestically, what it means to be an American and what a government ought to do. It is a great use of our money, and the world is a better place for it, and the world is a worse place without it.
Thank you, and I like it, short and sweet. Destiny, please.
Yeah, more or less the same. I think that anytime you're in a position of radical power, I think that you have some kind of obligation, ethical obligation to either the people around you or to the world to provide for them as best you can. I think that it's really hard to find ways to influence or invest in other countries that doesn't come off as being incredibly malicious, and this was one easy way to do that. So it's a good expansion of soft power that gives us a better reputation around the world, irrespective of ethical concerns. And having a more stable world around us also allows us in the long term to have a better national security structure at home, because we have less chaos and destruction and everything else in the rest of the world, which makes it easier for us to protect ourselves.
Okay, and with that, it's open discussion. I'm going to let you guys go at it. Like I said, if I tell you to shut up, please shut up. And it's because I have questions or you guys are yelling at each other. So go ahead.
I'm curious about the first agreement brought up, which is either save money by cutting the budget, or fuck them, let's invest in hard power, which is more expensive than soft power. how do you to resolve that? I don't know. I'm just curious.
I mean,
It's difference in
you would take
values.
that. You would take that, Andrew. You want to go for it?
It doesn't matter. You could take it. I can pick up
Go ahead.
after. Well, I would say that we're wasting. A lot of this has nothing to do with national security. I can give you a couple of examples. We're giving $2 million to Guatemala for sex changes and LGBT activism. 1.5 million towards advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplace. Hold on, I got this mic again thing came up. Money going to Colombia, Peru, and India for things like transgender themed comic books.
That's
3.9.
not true.
Okay, I'm just going down the rundown of the government. If you have a source that shows that that's not true, that's the smallest amount. I can keep going. 3.9 million earmarked for LGBT in the Western Balkans. 5.5 in Uganda for similar programs. I mean, can we cut this stuff? Like, no one's going to die if we cut this stuff,
Well,
right?
and just
We agree
just,
on that?
just to add to that,
No.
because I know you want to argue.
Wait, she said no. Like, how is this saving lives overseas, or something that's that we need to be spending our funds on when we're in
cutting
national
LGBT
debt that
healthcare?
Yeah, how is that?
Yeah, people kill themselves.
Okay, so because people are going to kill themselves overseas, we shouldn't pay down our national debt. We need to have a hierarchy
That's
of
not true. That's a false
priorities.
dichotomy. And the question you asked was, how is this saving lives? And yeah, it is saving lives. So
Well,
that's a separate question.
Do you have evidence that any of these programs save lives directly? Because you actually, CNN, Reuters, BBC all came out and said people were dying before they even realized that none of the money stopped yet. So this is just like your emotional blackmail. But do you have any actual evidence that any?
Yes,
that is 100% true. CNN, BBC, Reuters, and there was one more, the AP, all reported before they realized that the money hadn't stopped yet, that people were dying from money that was still flowing. So this is just emotional blackmail. But again, I'd like you to respond.
Yeah, let him respond before you jump in, Admiral. Go.
Well, I was just going to throw one sentence to your ShesRight.
Let her respond before you do. Go ahead.
If you go to impactcounter.com, yeah, there's a methodology. Some PhDs tracked it. There's a lot of data. Like, it's not just what.
I mean, that's great. But I mean, let's talk about your other part of the question you asked us to reconcile this bridge. All right, so if we look at like the elections that have happened since USAID has been removed in South America specifically, there's been 7 elections. All 7 of those elections have moved from socialist communist governments to right-leaning populist governments that are pro-America. Would you say pro-American governments that are going to be more or less likely to attack the United States or harbor people that will injure the United States?
There's a lot of factors that really depends.
So I mean, it's pretty simple.
Economic desperation.
Oh yeah, right. So if you're economically desperate, or how likely are you to be able to launch a successful attack here on the U.S. mainland? Probably not very. So I'll take that as a point for our side. Yeah, and then if you're talking about economic military discrepancy,
I mean, it's a combination of like the motive.
Hybrid warfare. Yeah, well, the motive is gone because now they're all pro-USA. If you're a pro-USA country, unless you're Israel, maybe you're not very likely to attack the United States. So what is your
right-wing governments are the more militaristic ones. You need the motive of some desperation, and then you need the actual military to wage a war.
To who? Because if we look at actually 218 examples of like throughout history, and the last thing, I actually did a study on this in college and published it to get one of my political theory certificates from the Bush Library, that most countries that are attacking generally are what we would call left-leaning democracies. Right-leaning countries attack once and then they end. Generally left-leaning democracies, i.e. NATO, Europe, United States, are the ones who attack and are more aggressive on a regular basis. So what evidence do you have to prove that wrong? Because that is unequivocally a fact.
Just as a quick thing for a quick reality check, what South American countries have launched wars against the United States in the last like 30 or 40 years?
None, as far as I'm aware of. But that's not really.
So what was the point of saying the governments were switching to right-wing governments? Like, why are we?
Well, that's okay. That's easy. If you're allied with China, who's a left-wing government, if you're allied with, I don't know, Venezuela, who was under Maduro and Chavez and was trying to actively attack us with like cyber warfare or had issues with us previously, yeah, I would say that it's a benefit. It behooves us to get rid of people that are pro-communist, pro-socialist, pro these countries that are pro. Well, I guess it's SYNC now, but it used to be BRICS. Kind of organizations that are forming groups outside the United States' sphere of influence. Y'all are the liberals. Aren't y'all the ones who want the liberal world order to have this one kind of banking system, one economic currency? They're forming an outside currency system. Is that something you're a pro fan of?
I mean, I think that having people being allied with the United States and working closely with the United States instead of working with China is better. But right now, Canada is looking to a more Chinese approach than they ever have in the history of the entire relationship they've had between us and Canada, and that's largely due to Trump's aggressive response to them and trying to slice up the U.S. Mexico-Canada trade agreement, which is literally the only agreement he can take any kind of credit for. So I don't know why that would be a priority now, because it seems like we've done everything we can in order to alienate ourselves from our allies and push them towards China. So that seems kind of like a weird point to bring up. But I just on the South American countries switching to right-wing governments versus left-wing governments, right-wing or left-wing, I don't see all of these governments like launching wars or a single one ever launching a war against the United States. The last thing I think of is the whole Panama stuff, but that was in the '89. So I don't know I just don't know what relevancy that has to this here. I guess on a really basic level, just on a very, very basic level, like if somebody has the ability to do something good for somebody, and it doesn't cost them much to do it, do you think that people have a kind of moral obligation to that or no?
An obligation to that? I would say no. I think it's a good thing overall, but I don't think it's an obligation. No.
Do you think that people in general have like moral obligations? Do we have an ethical obligation to be moral, or do you think that we can be amoral or indifferent to morality?
I mean,
let's say a person walks by somebody on the street who's hungry, that person is going to starve to death, and you have like an extra cheeseburger, and you could give the person the cheeseburger. Do you think that you have some kind of moral obligation to fulfill there, assuming you're not going to starve, you don't have to do it every single day, but you see a guy, he'll die if you don't give him, do you think a person would be a bad person for not giving him the cheeseburger?
I absolutely do think they'd be a bad person because support Texas beef, and we should make sure all the homeless get Texas burgers.
Okay.
But no, but sure, yeah, I mean, no, I don't think you have a moral obligation. This person made their decisions. They end up where they're at now. Is it a good thing to do? Is it quote unquote the right thing to do? Like, I'm not gonna judge someone for not giving. If I'm driving to the club that night and I see a hobo, I might not give him the money because I want to spend it on bottle service, right? However, if I park my car in Houston downtown or something, I'll pay hobo $20. And this is something I've done many times. I'll give him $20. I say you can sleep in the bed of my truck while I'm gone. I'll come back and hey, guess what? My truck's the only one's not broken into. So I'd rather give them money for something that's like an exchange than just give out a handout. I think that's actually breeds problems in general. However, I don't want people just dying. It's a nice thing to do, but that shouldn't be the government's job. It should be things like churches or charities, in my opinion.
Okay, well, church or charity couldn't fulfill the same role the U.S. government does here, so that's kind of a pointless concession. But do you feel the same way, DragonFist TV? Do you think that people have an ethical obligation to help those around them if they have the ability to do so at little expense to themselves, or do you think it's just optional and it doesn't really matter much either way?
I do think that people should help if they can. However, overseas, like I said, this is like the quality leering of foreign policy here. There's no way for us to check, even if we look domestically as a reference at like humanitarian programs like homeless initiatives in California, even here where it's much easier to track and check the money, we see it's getting wasted. So that's all great. Like I said, this is emotional blackmail. No problem. I'm down with helping people. But what I'm not going to do is just waste money. See what Destiny wants us to do is waste money here at home, waste money overseas with no actual evidence that any of these programs do any good for anybody. He hasn't been there and checked. We don't know exactly if the money is going to the places that they say it's going to. It doesn't even happen here in the United States. So I'm not saying I don't want to help people. I'm saying that we need to know, especially, would you agree, Destiny, that the national debt is an existential crisis that we're facing right now, or no?
Do you think that we should cut all funding and all subsidies for
Is it an
local
existential crisis or not?
I do. That's why I think we should vote for Democrats. But do you think
Okay,
that
so
we should
we
cut
agree on
all
the premise.
subsidization?
Hold on.
Yeah.
You asked him a
Should we
question.
cut,
Let
should we
Destiny
cut
answer
all
that.
subsidies
Yeah.
for like local agriculture in the United States then? I don't know why we subsidize them so much. We spend more on that than we do on USAID. Or than we
Well,
were
you're
on
talking about
We should
China. I
stop
think
doing that.
China owns most of our.
Like
What?
that we should stop. Like, listen, I know that we sit here and we talk about the subsidies, and we've gotten through this before. But
No, wait, just a super easy question. Should we kill all subsidies to local agriculture, animal ag and farming ag?
I would argue as a rancher, yes, it has hurt us more than it's helped us. And I would argue even like for farming, I know the ag side is different, but most of the subsidies have gone to large corporations, and they've hyper focused things like corn. And when the corn industry crashed, it ruined other supplementary industries. We've seen this with soy industry. It artificially inflates a market that shouldn't be inflated, and the ag industry, like when it has a crisis, it hurts it way more, and it also hurts the food web. Like I absolutely
all subsidies. Should we subsidize nothing?
Well, no, I'm not a libertarian, but I mean, I would have to look at them individually. But I would say in ag, it would be
What's
a
one
few,
subsidy you might be for that you think the government should spend money on subsidizing something?
I don't know. Oh, okay. Right now, I think what with the CHIPS Act is a good one. Maybe we could give subsidies to companies that want to invest in the nanotechnology. I mean, I think tech is a good industry to start pushing stuff right now. Space exploration are things I like. I mean, we could get specific, but like, I mean, these are all just like hypotheticals. I mean, I'm not inherently against any subsidy if it's done well, but currently the way the subsidies have been done have not been done well, especially with agriculture, in my opinion.
Okay. So assuming then, so neither of you really believe in any ethical obligation to support people overseas.
I
Do you
said
think that
yes. Wait, just to clarify, I said yes to that. I just don't want to waste the money.
What do you mean by waste the money?
I mean, we have no way of checking that these
We have
funds are
plenty
getting
of ways
used.
of checking. It's a whole
You
federal
can't even check
organization.
in
What do you mean?
California. You can't
Wait,
even
hold on.
track
That's
the
not USAID.
billions of
Focus on
dollars we
USAID.
spend
What
on
do you
homelessness
mean?
in California. How are you
There are-
tracking the Sudan? I'd like to hear that.
For
Administrative
which
costs.
program? We are probably literally just
Housing
looking at it right
kitchens in
now.
Sudan. How are you tracking that?
So
That
which
the money's
program?
actually
Well,
going
aid
to
currently
Hold
is
on.
cut to Sudan and South Sudan, which is
How
Why is,
are you
why is
tracking
that?
it?
Why is it cut to Sudan? I
Okay,
think that's
just
the
to be
question
clear,
here.
the question here is how are we tracking overseas money through USAID? Is that the question?
Yes, sir.
Well, Rubio answered this, especially
Hold
specifically
on,
with Sudan recently.
hold on.
Okay.
Gibbs. Let them answer the question. It's a question. How are we tracking the expenditures given
He's
through
clearly looking up the
USAID to these
answer.
other countries?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm looking up. I don't know all of these off the top of the head.
All right.
But
Well,
like,
we're trying to just debate you, not your entire chat. And but go ahead.
well, the answer to your
And
question:
Google.
every single government thing has an attached watchdog that limits how or that tracks how the money is spent. You know nothing about grants or government's funding if you think that the money is just going into a black hole with no tracking for it. You clearly have never looked this up in your entire life, and I don't know individually how every single thing is accounted for. If you want, I'll place a friendly $50 bet with you right now, not knowing the answer off the top of my head, and we can look up to see if there's any tracking for money spent in Sudan. I know that I'm right.
Where are we going to get the answer from? The Lancet? Are we going to get the answer from the Lancet? Where are we going to get the answer? That's the problem. Is like you haven't been there. So if we're talking about Sudan specifically,
USAID was the agency that did the tracking, and they're gone now.
Like down south style chattel, hereditary chattel slavery, and you're complaining about 1,000 meals that we're not giving them. If you really cared about them, why isn't that your issue? And are you going to trust these people? So you trust people that practice chattel slavery? That's what you're saying with our funds? Is that your position?
No, we don't trust
I want to know if that's your position.
Problem with the funding of USAID, where most people would actually critique USAID, is that we don't have local communities actually tracking their own data. There's a big problem where there are about 10 US DC based contractors that handled over 50% of these programs because they would have the white collar lawyers and accountants who would travel back and forth and have a very high salary to do so, actually monitoring these programs. That's a necessary part of any aid, is you need someone you can trust to do that. The problem with USAID is where there are rooms to reform the program, or any of those programs, or you need a more efficient way to do that, such as actually training and checking in on local watchdogs. But currently, like, it's all done by the US. Now it's out of our hands. So now we can't track that stuff because
USAID has been rolled into the State Department. The State Department is still overtaking a lot of these needs.
And it's part of agriculture.
No.
I just don't want to.
No. The USAID thing is essentially gone. They've rolled some administrative things into the State Department, but it's the programs are basically gone.
Well, no, the 50 million. Well, sure, the programs are gone because the programs were NGO corrupt tools being used by Democratic Party to funnel money. But
hold on, Gibbs. What evidence do you have that they are?
I do have evidence
that they are funneling money to the Democratic Party.
In fact, we have Ukrainian officials on record right now before testimony. One of the senators gave it this week, talking about, hey, I forget which one, but I'm sure we can look it up. Somebody's got the AI going. They basically were saying we had them on file saying they were going to funnel money from USAID back into the Democratic Party, on record talking to the Biden. So this is something that's come up several times. We've seen examples of this in other countries. It's crazy how, like I said, all these leftist governments just fail and right-wing governments came in the minute USAID is gone. I mean, and we brought up Sudan. Rubio addressed this specifically with what happened in Sudan. He said, Sudan, what's happening is there's a war zone. So one, it's hard to get the aid out there. So aid just sitting in pallets, not being used, going to waste. Two, the people that are doing the aid out there are getting attacked and they're taking the aid away, which I guess is not the aid workers' problem. But then then what's happening is the aid is being used against its own people by the groups that are in power in Sudan. And so, one, even if you think, hey, it's not an NGO corruption scheme, and we want things like Sudan, the Sudanese to get help, well, guess what? You still haven't answered the problem, because this is just soft power. We're not sending the troops in there. What happens when you have groups like in Haiti, where you have the gangs running the country, or Sudan, where these bad groups get in there and they use this aid to oppress their people further, or use it to bribe these people and fund their warfare, et cetera, et cetera. And you don't have an answer for that. And the answer is we stop funding those countries till they figure their shit out, or we send troops in, or someone sends troops in. And I don't want to keep just throwing money at a hole. Listen, I have a lot of money, but even then, it doesn't make sense to burn money every day.
You keep saying you hate soft power, but then you keep advocating for ideologically friendly governments, which is soft power, and is actually how former administrations did wield USAID.
Well,
during the Reagan
You don't
years.
seem to have a problem with trading with slaveholders. That's my point. Neither one of you even answered the question. So you both want us to continue to give money to slaveholders in Sudan, right? That's Destiny. That's your position as well. We should keep giving them money.
It would depend on who's getting the money, and it would depend on what the money is being received for. I'm not aware of what was the particular program that was giving money to slaveholders, and what was the purpose for it in Sudan?
It was 1,000 kitchens in Sudan to stop people from starving. Go ahead, Gibbs. You can take it.
Hold on. Before
Okay,
Gibbs goes,
1,000 kitchens to who?
hold on. Before Gibbs goes, let the back and forth happen. Go ahead.
See my camera. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1,000 kitchens. Okay, it's a country of like 50 million people. I googled that. I didn't know that off the top of my head. I'm sorry if that's upsetting you. But so were the 1,000 kitchens going exclusively to the slaveholders, or?
Well, I'm saying that the country practices chattel slavery, and this is exactly
every part of the country. The whole country does.
My point for me. There's no way of knowing exactly where that money goes. However, it's likely to me, if this country is practicing things like slavery that your side hates so much, right?
Does your side not hate slavery?
Does your side not?
Yeah, we're the party that ended it. That's correct. Lincoln was the first Republican. You could try to steal that from us, but that's fine. We switched, right?
The liberals ended slavery.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure they did. The Democrats didn't weren't the ones that
Christian abolitionists.
Okay, let's stay on target. We can debate the Civil War another day.
Sure. So my point is just that I don't trust these people. We don't know where the money, and I'm fine with giving aid. I'm fine with soft power. I don't want anybody to die. Like liberals that are listening, I'm not like here saying this is the side that doesn't care that we just aborted a third of Gen Z. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we should save these people. Let's just make sure we're not wasting the money that's earmarked for our children, for our grandchildren, and for us to still have a country, because we know that the same thing happens every time an empire is about to crumble, right? Destiny knows what it is. Everyone knows what it is. It's all over YouTube videos and TikToks that they take on massive debt. Everybody knows that, right? So that's what I'm trying to prevent. Like, we have this glaring example from history, and we're just barreling towards it anyway. You tell me how that's a good idea.
Wait, hold on, just real quick. Are you in favor of rolling back the Trump tax cuts?
Can we stay on USAID?
Are you in favor of rolling back the Trump tax cuts?
We can get to that later, but I'd like to stay on USAID just so we don't get diverted.
Just real quick, both of you, please. He's asking that because he's leading towards.
I don't need you to tell me why I'm asking a question.
Of course I know.
If you're talking about this as an existential threat, USAID was hovering at maybe 1% of our federal spending. Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is costing us hundreds of billions of dollars in tax revenue. Who knows, projected into the trillions after 10 years, depending on where the economy even pans out. So are you? I don't understand where the obsession with dealing with the debt comes from.
Rid of all waste, fraud, abuse, and even some of these programs we can get into it overseas that are just dangerous.
I didn't say waste, fraud, and abuse. I didn't say waste, fraud, and abuse. That was a failure. You guys hold on. You acknowledge that
is it wasteful? Aren't you claiming that the Trump tax cuts are wasteful as in reference to the national debt?
I'm just checking real quick. You acknowledge that Doge's mission was a complete and total failure, and given free reign of the government, you guys weren't able to find waste, fraud, and abuse, right?
I just listed you. So transgender comic books aren't wasteful.
That's not what it was. That's not what it was. That was funded by the State Department, and it featured a gay character. It's about education.
That's what I would consider wasteful, and that might be the difference, that we have different opinions. I think diversity, equity, and inclusion certainly is wasteful. Yeah.
How do you define waste, fraud, and abuse? What does that mean to you in a business setting?
So wasteful would be funds that we are spending, that we are bringing us no benefit whatsoever. None. It's a complete waste. There's no benefit to us, and some of these are actually a net negative to us, which I could show things funded by USAID.
What is the difference between
Eco
waste?
Health that funded gain of function?
Yeah, no,
That's
yeah.
what funded gain of
No,
function.
yeah, this
Eco
didn't
Health,
happen.
you know it.
What is the
So,
difference
yeah.
between it? That's not true. What is the difference between
That's not
wasteful
true.
spending?
Eco
That's not
Health
true.
didn't fund
What's
gain
the
of
difference
function.
between
Hold on. One at a time. Go
Do
ahead, Destiny.
you have any proof of that claim that you just made?
More than
That's not
you'd
true?
ever know. Yes, that the whole diffuse thing that you're talking about, that grant wasn't even approved. All of that is a fucking lie, but that's okay. The wasteful spending that you're talking about, what's the difference between wasteful spending and spending on things that you personally don't like?
I guess whatever political party is in power.
Okay, so is that a real definition then of
I'm just
waste,
being
or
honest.
is that just like a perspective politically? Do you really think there's not a definition of wasteful spending? Do you not know what
It's
that
going to
means?
vary depending on clearly she doesn't think it's wasteful. Clearly she thinks that it's important to send
how do you
money for
define it?
LGBT issues overseas when clearly I don't. So we have a difference of opinion there.
It's not. Well, there's a right and a
I
wrong.
think we
If
could say
somebody
it's
says
not
waste, fraud,
national
and abuse-
security, right? It's not national security. We could cut it.
Well,
So you have
hold
no
on.
idea.
Is it
what
national
waste,
security?
fraud, and abuse. It's just things that you don't like. That's what waste, fraud, and abuse is.
I don't have that same definition, but what do you
everything that
define
we
it as,
can.
Destiny?
Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Destiny. What is your
if we're doing like
definition
an
of waste,
audit
fraud,
and you're
and
looking for like waste, fraud, or abuse, in my mind, waste is going to be like, let's say that we need a subscription for some fucking Microsoft program for the floor, and we find out that every single employee has like 7 different subscriptions, even though they use the same computer, right? Oh, this is waste. This is wasteful spending. We're duplicate spending in places. Let's say that we are providing food budgets for people that are so high that they don't need them, but then at the end of the year, for some reason, the food budget literally gets wasted because they're going onto Visa cards that are from the This is like waste, right? Fraud is like people are actually defrauding people. They're lying on forums about stealing money or whatever else. And then abuse would be similar to fraud, that people are maybe they're giving preferential contracts to friends that they shouldn't be, and it's costing more money than it should. This is like waste, fraud, and abuse. That should be an apolitical, bipartisan. Every single person should be able to look at a thing and go like, oh yeah, that's wasteful, fraudulent,
That's what
or
I'm trying to
abusive.
show you.
No, you're not. You're saying waste to you is things that you
I'm
don't
showing you
like.
transgender comic books. Like how
It was not a transgender comic book, okay? It was a 3-part comic series about education and exchange programs that featured a gay character in one of the 3 volumes.
Bringing examples,
And it was funded by the State Department, not USAID. You keep telling that same lie and repeating that. It's not true. There was no transgender comic book. It was a State Department-funded 3-part series about education, which you want to promote in the global south.
There was no transgender comic books? Is that what you're saying?
How can you even know if there were transgender comic books if you're telling us there was no monitoring for any of these funds anyway?
No, so you can't know where the funds went, who they went to, who actually. We know what they're earmarked for. That's different than
That's
who
what
actually
USAID was spending the money
and
on.
what they actually. I would admit you're probably right. They probably don't actually spend it on transgender comic books. You guys just think that that's really where it's going. So you're like, sure, send it. What we're trying to say is no.
That's a lie. It's a mischaracterization. No one was paying for a transgender comic book.
How do you know? Because you say so? What evidence?
Because I have the comic book up.
It's in
You
the
can
report.
look this up.
Did you check every
You can
comic?
believe in knowledge. No, I did not check every comic book.
So
But
you
this was
don't
about one
know.
specific project you can actually look up.
Okay, can I?
You
I
have
wanna-
not looked it up. So I don't know where you're getting your information, but how can you trust that?
So I mean, I'll go with. First of all, I don't really care about the transgender comic books. Like that could be a thing that helps us or hurt us, depending. I don't know. Listen, but I want to come back to what Destiny's talking about with the waste. Okay, I'm going to give 2 examples. One is for the VA. I know it's not the USAID, but okay, Doge. One of the things Doge cut was funding to the VA, and I heard a lot of bitch about it. Specifically, one of the departments that got defunded is a department in Georgia that got defunded for having orgies on taxpayer dollars. Would we agree? I think we can all agree that. Listen, I love a good orgy. I'm a degenerate. Right, but I think we can agree that my tax dollars shouldn't be going to pay for the orgy. Can we all agree with that? Like that's something Doge cut, right? Okay, and then now we're talking about funding overseas for USA.
Characterization? Do you have a source for that characterization?
Apparently, the source is literally Jesse Waters said this one time on Fox News,
that is not
and I
the
don't think
source.
there's any actual truth of. Are you saying that what they were funding
have
like
the source.
protection for the orgy? Sure. What is the source? Yeah, just read it off.
Yeah, here's a New York Post. Sex trades workers at troubled VA facility had a 12-person orgy, and one official bedded 32 co-workers, according to Bombshell Pros by Patrick Riley. If you want the source, I can just post it in the side chat, or I'll give it to Wick, and he can send it. I mean, like, I'm not trying to be bad faith here. The point that I'm making is there's areas where we've had corruption and fraud, and I think that's part of what we wanted with Doge. And when we're talking about USAID, it seems to be that there are examples.
Wait. Hold on. One thing at a time. It sounds like this was just an orgy that some VA people had. What is this taxpayer-funded orgy? What does that mean?
they funded the rooms and shit like for this orgy. They funded, and one of them was
That's
at a
different.
facility.
When you say,
Arguably,
hold on,
arguably, it was one of them was at the
Well,
facility. In
okay.
the
let me
report.
let me
So
know.
if I'm having, an
I'm
orgy
curious,
at
dude. I've
work-
never heard
This
this
is
before.
retarded.
Yeah, I'll send
Did
it to you
they
right now.
pay for
Wait,
like?
hold on, wait,
did-
wait. Hold on. If two people hook up in an office, are you saying that like it was a McDonald's funded orgy or a McDonald's funded sexual adventure? Was this like the orgy room, or are these just people who were banging at a?
That's the problem is they were doing it on office places at the office, and they also used funds to go to like places and then have sex off like work hours. And, like,
What do you mean by
like,
used funds to have
They
sex
pay-
in off work hours? What does that
okay,
mean?
listen. Let's say we're gonna have the
Buying
Diddy
condoms
party.
with the company
Yeah,
card.
yes, yeah. Well, sure. I guess that'd be one thing. But say we're gonna have the Diddy party, and I decide to use the company card to pay for the Motel 6 that we're having the orgy at. Do you think that that's a good use of taxpayer dollars to have the money spent specifically on a Motel 6? It's not like we're just going over here. for a
That would be
conference.
fraud or abuse, I would say. That
Thank
would
you.
be good
Okay,
fraud or
good.
abuse.
So we agree.
But was that
Okay.
happening?
That's also not spending
That's the
money on an
alleged.
orgy.
That's the alleged crime. Okay. Well. Okay,
Alleged. Well, this was published.
According
This
to
article
Poe.
that you just referenced was published December 4th, 2024. And
Right,
all I
that's
see
Poe.
here is this: it's a congressional investigation into sexual misconduct allegations at a troubled VA facility in Tennessee, where
Right.
12 officials who worked there took part in an orgy. I don't even know if they were fucking on site.
Yeah, it goes into all that. There's a bunch of articles about it. But the point that I'm making, you can research it. That's
Wait,
not
no,
really the
wait.
point.
Is there?
Okay,
Give me the strongest article that shows did they even have sex
This one
on
has-
site?
They're alleging. Okay, bro. Just going in this article. It talks about all the stuff. There's talks about at which medical center they do this at. They talk about like the hotels. They talk about all sorts of different stuff. Like, I mean, we're really getting lost in the weeds here. I thought we were talking about USAID, which I had another point. that-
You're
Well,
the
this
one
is
who
not a-
brought this up.
I-
To be
I-
clear,
well, here's what I was trying to do. I was
This is
trying
a
to
really
give.
pathetic.
Okay, it said
Hold
at
on,
least
hold on.
two
Well, first of
employees.
all-
We have two employees fessed
Okay.
up to having sex on the VA hospital's grounds. Does this
Okay.
mean they were using taxpayer-funded money
Yeah,
to?
if they were doing it on clock, yeah, that means they're using taxpayer to fund
okay, that's
like,
a wild
Where
definition.
do you have evidence it
Oh
was on
my
the clock?
God.
Is this like
Well,
9 to
this-
5 or is this like
once
at
again,
night?
y'all get lost in the weeds. The point what I was trying to do is to get us all to agree on a definition of what waste would be, which I thought we did. If we agreed that they were using the money to fund this, that would be an orgy, right? Like that. Like
No,
an
they're not
orgy.
One
using the
example
money.
of this is
They're
Exactly
funding
a
it.
waste of
It
money.
sounds like the
Okay.
employees were fucking. I don't even know if it was on the clock, but that's not you. That's not like there was money earmarked for federal orgies.
No, I agree, and that's why it would be fraud and abuse, correct? If it was done that way.
This
and
thing
I
that
think-
wouldn't happen would be wasteful if it happened, yes.
well,
Wait, they
well,
definitely fuck on the clock. We saw them do it like in the halls of Congress. So don't act like it's so crazy that they wouldn't
Now,
do this.
I don't know why we're like, yeah, and
What?
also I don't know why.
Yeah,
if you're
what do you mean,
getting paid-
What? Hold
paid
on.
by the hour. Hold on, if I'm getting paid
Stop,
by
stop.
McDonald's,
Both of you, just shut up for a minute, please.
if I'm getting paid by McDonald's, I'm
Oh,
fucking somebody in the
Gibbs,
bathroom.
do you
while I'm
not
getting
understand the meaning of shut up?
paid. Yeah.
Shut up for a minute, because I'm trying to get us back on track and kind of put a pin in the orgy discussion for now.
Yeah, well, I had a
We
point
can
that I was
go
trying to
back
make,
it.
though, by the way. For the record.
So just to be clear, in the article, it's saying that people who were employed by the VA had sex at the VA, and your argument is that that means that the funding that was going to the VA was fraudulent, wasteful, or abusive.
Yes, if
Okay, if that's your argument, that's your argument. Okay,
Sure.
let's
Yeah,
get back to USAID a little.
Okay, you're right. Which
because-
brings me back to what was going to be Haiti and Sudan, right? Okay, cool. If we're sitting here talking about waste, I would argue that it's wasteful if I send all the aid in the world to Haiti and then barbecue steals the aid and then uses it to fund his people. Would you agree that's a waste of USAID?
If barbecue steals the, I'm sorry, say that last part again.
Barbecue's is one of the biggest gang leaders in Haiti, right? He and his gang leaders that are in charge of the capital or were took over the aid, like took the aid trucks, like
If
raided
people
the
are
aid.
stealing aid, that's not good. Yes.
That's not good, right? Okay, so that would be inefficient and for waste and abuse, right?
I don't know if I would call it abuse.
Abuse,
It
but
might
waste,
theoretically
sure.
be wasteful. Yeah, if that usually programs start to get
waste
cut
is
when
not
they find that
wasteful
like
spending.
local people
Okay.
are co-opting
And so-
all of the stuff in a bad way. Yeah, so usually, yeah.
So she's right here as trying to characterize it. I'm not opposed to soft power inherently. I am opposed, and I don't think DragonFist either, but I am opposed to how it's being done currently with USAID. One, I think it's corrupt, but two, even if it's not being done corrupt, I think it's being done inefficiently and poorly because we're throwing money at the problem and we don't have a real solution. Why throw money into Sudan? And I as much as one of the next person.
Here's, okay, this is how you short circuit this
I
whole
just-
argument, and you're not, and
let's
you'll
hear it.
have a quote for this, but like this is how you short circuit this entire argument.
I'll
okay?
have a coke. Don't worry.
If you tell me that you don't like this because the money is going to somebody bad or whatever, then the easy answer is, okay, well, what steps did they take to try to alleviate that circumstance before just cutting the program entirely?
So spend more money on it then.
How do you think you watchdog things? How do you think you do accounting and auditing? Yeah, you have to spend a little bit more money to audit things. Do you think it's free?
Literally, all of the
don't
coherent
spend the money
critiques
on
of
it.
USAID were
Or we
about the
just cut it.
administrative overhead.
Yeah, we'll just
Okay.
cut it. Yeah.
Fine. Then you
Put the
don't
money
care
somewhere
about you
more
don't
to
care that
hire
it's going
better
to
watchdogs.
slavers. You don't care about any of that shit. You just
I,
cut it because
I will
if you
admit that I
actually
don't give a
cared,
shit.
if you actually cared,
I don't
then
care.
you would try to find ways to spend the money better, but you don't. You just want to cut it all.
I
That's
don't.
it.
I don't care. I don't care. I want to go
Okay.
to people that it's supposed to either A, it's supposed to go to, or B, they're going to help us further along the United States.
Yeah, that never
cause.
happens though, and your side never does that. So I
Does
don't know why
happen
you
all
have
the
that
time.
position either. What
Happens all the
funds
time.
did Trump redirect?
Redirect. Oh, yeah, I got those notes right here. Go ahead. And Andrew, you want to say
Well,
something?
that's also a straw man, because it's not just that we don't care. It's not just like, oh, you guys don't care, you just want to cut the program. No, if you listen to the premise of my argument, at least, it's we have this existential problem, which you agreed to, Des. You said it's an existential problem. It's the reason that the middle class and the elite, that there's such a big gap. Every year when we don't pay off the national debt, they have to print more money. Every year the gap gets wider. It's an existential threat. So that's why we're saying, hold on a second. We can't waste any
But
of
it
this
doesn't
money.
make sense when
How
you say
is that
we.
a problem?
because
You
it
would do
doesn't.
the same thing with your money. You wouldn't just fucking waste it.
It
If you were, yeah.
Now do the example for this. Okay, yeah. It doesn't make sense that all the people who wanted to cut USAID are complaining about the deficit when all of them are also the largest deficit spenders. That doesn't make any sense to me.
That's
Make
an
that make
appeal to
sense to me.
hypocrisy. You know that doesn't mean anything, first of all. And what we
No,
can't
no,
look
stop.
at race over
No,
here
hold on,
because there's
hold
also
on.
race over here they're
Hold
not
on. Let him
talking
make his
about.
argument. Let him make his argument, and then you can respond. Destiny, make your argument. It's not hypocrisy.
Appeal to
Go ahead.
hypocrisy is showing that a person had a personal failing or something that contradicted a stated position, and to say that like, oh look, you can. So somebody says, I think that murder is wrong, and it's like, well, didn't you kill your wife? And it's like, oh fuck, you got me, right? That would be an appeal to hypocrisy.
Okay, so
if I say that all the same
it's
people.
inconsistent. It's inconsistent worldview. I misspoke.
Correct.
Inconsistent.
Well, that's important because inconsistencies don't make sense. If you think that the debt is like the biggest problem in America, and all the people who are conservative and wanted to kill USAID seem to think that, but they're also all the largest spenders in the country, that makes me think that that's not honesty. Something is dishonest.
It's
about
the
this
same
position.
exact thing that you're doing when you talk about worrying about people dying overseas, but you don't care that we aborted a third of Gen Z. You're doing this. You have the same exact inconsistent worldview. So, okay, not appeal to hypocrisy, inconsistent worldview. Fine, it doesn't matter. We could still look at those funds and say we need to cut them. Should we cut wasteful funds? Do we need transgender comic books? Yes or no?
I don't think money was going to transgender
Do
comic
we
books.
need them?
Money
Is
was
that
not going
something
to
you could-
transgender comic books.
That wasn't the question. If it was going there, should we cut that?
It would depend
That
on
is
what
an
the
irrational
program
place to
was.
start.
What? See
Should
what?
we cut it?
It would depend on what the program was. I don't know. You'd have to tell me
Transgender
more.
comic books. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what that means. Are you talking about like a holistic
If
program
we
that
were
does fucking
funding,
comic books for
exactly,
kids?
it's so
You
stupid.
can't
You
engage.
don't
I
even
do
want to
agree. It is
pretend it's
stupid.
real. That's
I do
the
agree. It is
tactic.
stupid
You
because
can't
it doesn't.
even-
I
It's
have
so
the answer
stupid.
about the
That's
program.
right.
Hold on.
It's your
Wait.
program.
Stop. He's owned me. Show me the transgender comic books. We'll wait. I'll wait.
Oh, you think I have them? Do you think I'm
No,
a
show me
transgender
online.
comic
Make
book
me the $2
collector?
million
And my
transgender
whole
comic
point,
books.
maybe
I'll
you
wait.
missed it again. Maybe you missed it again. Is that we don't know if they're actually spending. They're probably not actually printing transgender comic books, but this is what it's
They are
earmarked
not.
for. This is what it's earmarked
Nope,
for.
that's not what it was earmarked for. That is
Show
not
me
true.
the earmark. Show me the earmark. Show us the
Because-
earmark. Show us the earmark.
This is known.
Show us the
Show
earmark.
us the earmark.
Checked all the earmarks.
Show it.
DM me.
Show me
DM me
the
your
earmark. Where
link.
is it?
DM me your evidence, and I'll show it on screen.
Also, y'all mentioned the redirect thing real quick. Just the redirect.
No, hold on. Let him DM me the earmark or the source that he has that shows the earmark.
Are you
and I'll
talking
show it
about
on
me?
screen.
Why do you
Just
have
DM it.
her DM you the
Because
source
you
that
made
it
the
wasn't?
allegation there is $2 million
Said it
earmarked for
definitely
transgender
wasn't. How do you
comic
know
book,
that?
and you have not
How
proved
do you know
that.
it definitely wasn't?
What do we have to do? Find every single dollar earmarked by USAID?
We have this fucking
every
document.
single
How do we know it was?
If it's not true, right? This is what they're saying it was earmarked for. I'm
No,
not
you are making the
arguing-
claim, and you need to prove
I'm
the
not
claim.
arguing with the government. That's what it's.
You have asserted this idea of $2 million paid by
I have
USAID
it.
for
I
transgender
have
comic
it.
books,
I have
and you
the- I
have
have
not
it,
sourced
look.
that.
He's
Okay,
got it.
DM
I'm not
someone
making it
DM
up.
it to
It's a
me.
real claim. I didn't just put it out of my I'm not making it up. You know I'm not. It's a. It's a.
Hold
real
on, how do
You
we?
are.
Hold on.
You are
No,
making
hold
it
on.
up.
Stop.
You're not
Stop.
proved otherwise.
How do we
You
know
I'm
you're not making it up?
He's gonna give you the evidence. I could find it also. I didn't know we were looking stuff up here during the debate.
So you made this claim without evidence?
You make every claim without evidence.
Not true.
My evidence is $39 trillion debt that we're
That's not
accumulating
relevant.
faster than we're paying down.
That's not
the
evidence. That would
ultimate
fail a
evidence.
middle
That
school
is
essay.
evidence.
You know that
It's
does not prove
fact.
your claim.
Both
That is
sides agree
stupid.
on it.
You
It's
would
an
fail
existential
an 8th grade
threat.
class.
That is evidence. evidence.
You do not have
And
evidence of the
we're
claim
growing
you
it
allege.
faster than we're paying it down. Where is your evidence that any of this money is helping anyone? I'll wait.
Okay, so I've been sent two things.
Where's the evidence?
They're not my. By
Hold
the way,
on.
those are the sources that say it. These are not. This is not my claim. But
Okay, I found what I think is the earmark. So the description for this is to cover expenses to produce a tailor-made comic featuring an LGBTQ plus hero to address social and mental health issues. So I don't even know if he's trans. He could just be gay. And it looks like the funding amount was $32,000. That's one that I
didn't list an amount, did I? I said monies went to
I thought you said
Colombia,
$2 million.
India.
Did I miss that? I thought you said $2 million.
By USAID, it was $32,000 by the State Department.
Yeah, the $2 million is
So should we not say anything? Just let it go. Can I have $32,000?
You should have proof before you say
just
shit.
Give me $32,000. We're just letting money go. I'll take it. Like, why did they get it?
It sounds like it's a public diplomacy.
Okay, so can we cut it, Destiny?
If you want, then get the political support to cut the program and do it. Don't just go do it for abuse. I think we should cut funding to every red state until we lose enough of these people that we could carry on with our country in like a holistic way.
Trying to help cut the national debt. I'm not trying to hurt you.
You're not.
This is an irrational way to approach.
You don't support anything to cut the national debt. You guys are the biggest spenders in the history of the country. Trump on his own is almost responsible for a third of the fucking debt. Are you in favor of our current war in Iran?
I never supported the war in Iran. You could check on my page from the first day.
How about we start there?
Because of this exact reason. So because of this exact reason that it doesn't help us at home. It's a huge waste of money.
How do you know?
Wait. Sorry, hold on. I forgot. Wait. I didn't. Hold on. I'm sorry. I forgot a pre-question first. Hold on.
That's just my opinion on
I agree. Wait, that might be.
Okay, well, don't give a fuck.
Wait. Real quick.
Answer the question. I answered it.
I agree. I'm just asking one question. Dragon, did anybody have foreknowledge of 9/11 and didn't tell the United States?
I'm not aware, sir.
You're what?
Alex Jones.
I'm not aware, sir.
Do you believe
that? They had that knowledge or not? I'm assuming they did because you said that.
Okay. Who's they?
They or not? Tell me the story. I don't know. I don't know every. Tell me.
All right. Okay. I understand what you're
saying. Did they or not? I want to know what your point is. What is your point?
I don't have a point.
What is your point?
Okay.
So I did send the thing to UWIC, but I think it's $2 million was cool. Like,
you sent me the same thing he sent me. It's the same page. Alice sent something else, a fact check site. I'll just throw that on screen real quick.
To the comic.
Where here do you want me to show this precisely?
It's the last section.
A transgender comic book in Peru, this one?
Yes.
In 2021, the U.S. Embassy in Peru introduced a comic book called The Power of Education, in which it used to promote education exchange programs in the U.S. The following year, the embassy commissioned a second volume. The embassy asked us to introduce a gay student in number 2 to show his personal struggle coming out to his parents, but that has zero to do with being transgender. David Campiti, who owns a company who produced the comic book, told us in an email. The comics were about scholarships and furthering education, and it goes on, but it seems to be saying that, at least according to this source, that there wasn't a transgender comic book in Peru. It was about education, and one of the characters was gay.
Irrelevant to my point. Still a huge waste.
Nope.
Irrelevant to my point. Does that make it not a waste?
Your whole point was a lie about that.
No, it wasn't. It's a fucking huge waste.
You lied about the funding amount, where the funding came from.
I didn't say a funding amount.
Any waste.
I didn't say
it. Didn't even bother to understand the intended impact it would have.
It doesn't matter if it's 30,000 or 5 million. He just proved the waste.
But that's neither here nor there.
He just proved it. What do you mean? He said it's not happening. He looked up the gay comic book. If it's a single dollar, it's a waste. Why should we send it there?
How do you know? How are you measuring that?
Because gay comic books overseas are a waste when we're in so much debt that it's snowballing and it's eliminating our middle class. I would say gay comic books can take a fucking back seat for now. Once we fix that, then we can worry about the comic books overseas. This
Promoting
is like a serious issue.
I
don't know why.
Peru is good for the world and improves economic conditions in Peru, which makes them a more.
Who gives a shit if our economic conditions here are failing? Have you ever been on a plane where they tell you put the mask on yourself first, then you put it on the other person? If we fail, guess what? We can't help anybody. So then what happens to all those people you don't care about, that you care about? What happens to them then when we can't help them anymore because we failed? How do we help anybody if we fail?
You have in no way proven the logic that we are not allowed to fund any overseas programs to help anyone else until we have
nobody's saying
helped
that.
ourselves.
Nobody said that.
Yeah,
That's
you
a
keep
straw
on.
That's
man.
what that was
Yeah,
the entire point of your analogy about you have to put your mask on yourself before someone else.
No,
Yes,
hold
that
on.
was.
No, it wasn't.
But you may
hold on.
struggle with analogies because you also
You-
struggle with like evidence and basic
The
citations. So
national
that's just
debt,
kind of where you're
same
at.
premise I've had the
Hold on,
entire
just
time. You
hold
can't
on.
follow the argument. That's fine. The
Yeah,
national debt is an existential threat. Therefore, we must cut programs that aren't directly related to national security. So
You have not
in
proved it's an
for our
existential threat,
own
and you're taking an
national security,
irrational
so that
approach
we can
to
continue to
reducing
help
the national
others.
debt.
That
first
is
of all-
the argument.
First of all, you've only made one-liners, so I wouldn't be talking about evidence. I mean, like you pointed this one to 32,000. You keep talking about that. Yeah, that's cool. But the claim originally, this is the one I sent, Wick. I don't know why if it's the same one, but the thing I sent, the claim is 2 million to LGBTQ activism, and I think it's Latin America and specifically Guatemala. Not that I really give a shit because I don't care. I'm not on the same like diehard thing that he's talking about. However, when I'm talking about waste and inefficiency, I listen. I'm not opposed to soft power in general. I just think USAID was not the way to do it. I think that we need to redo it, and this is the kind of the point I wanted to get back to when I brought this up here. Some of the restructuring we've said, we've cut. We've done United Nations funding. We've cut that. I think that's some good. But then we pledged $2 billion blanket fund to them through OCHA. I was like, okay, that's the decrease in DOU in a humanitarian fund, but it's still the largest amount being given by anybody. We also are doing direct cash assistance. We saw how the microloan program has worked, so we're doing a program called Macro Awards through the State Department. That seems to be going very well. And then we're excluding certain climate things that other countries weren't following, like China, that were hurting us economically. And now, we're like, why are we going to do these things if other countries aren't doing it? And I'll give you an example: screwworm, right? We talked about this, whose fault it is, whatever. Well, it passed the Darien Gap, and they kept funding fly systems in the Darien Gap. Well, once it's passed it, why are we wasting money on something that's already failed? We need to reuse that money to go use it more efficiently to like stop the screwworm in a different spot, not keep funding where it's already failed, right? So I think that when you're sitting here saying no soft power, that's just the best characterization of like what's happening with Republicans. We just don't like the inefficiency, the corruption, or where we perceived waste. Now, I'm not on the board with like Andrew here necessarily about the anti-LGBTQ crusade. However, it does seem hard for me when I see grants being given out to study like butchers' languages in like France, right? Why? Why do we care about that? It's like $200K. Not it's a drop in the butt. Like I don't care. Some of these might even be CIA black programs. I don't really care. But the point is that some of these are wasteful, and we don't need to do them when there's money we can spend that money differently here. And I don't necessarily even care about the debt as the issue. I care about shit being done in a way that's going to help America. And right,
You gotta let the other people respond. Go ahead.
Don't worry. I had waited like 10 minutes. Relax there. I'm done. Yeah, that's it. I was done. Yeah.
I mean, like we're just back where we were before. It's basically these are spending things that you just don't like, and then you confuse that with waste, fraud, and abuse. And then you say that it's a waste of money to spend things on here, and we should be spending more domestically, but conservatives never have anything more that they want to spend domestically on, and they seem to waste so much money on other things, and they constantly grow the debt and deficit, so it's hard to take any complaints about deficit spending seriously. And then even for like, oh, well, soft power isn't as good as hard power, blah, blah, blah. Like every time Trump comes into office, we get more and more hated by other countries on the world. Our reputation is like at an all-time low right now, so it seems like any plans that we have with regards to making the United States more respected or increasing our power is not working out at all in favor of us. We're not doing well on a respect level where we've lost like the worst war maybe in all of U.S. history ever under like the pro-war kind of Department of War president. It seems like every country around the world doesn't want to work with us. Trump is begging like a pathetic baby for NATO to come and help him in the Strait of Hormuz, and nobody wants to help him because he literally was shitting on everybody a while ago. China is looking to Canada. Canada is looking to China. Trump wants to tear up the largest trade agreement region in the world for I'm not even entirely sure why. You guys are complaining about wasted money in USAID, and Trump is spending money on UFCs outside in ballrooms and everything else. And I just don't know. There's just like no consistency. It seems like you just hate the concept of soft power because some, crazy Republican guy or Alex Jones told you it was an evil, bad program. And then that's where the thoughts basically start and stop. And that's it.
It's another straw man.
Yeah, what were the 4 objectives of the war, by the way? Just real quick, because Rubio stated them right before.
At one point, he might have, but I mean,
they're all accomplished. It was destroy their ability to produce, missiles and weapons and shit. Okay, we've done that. It was destroy their navy. Their navy's gone, right? It was degrade their ability to give money to Hezbollah and their access to terror. That's gone. Hezbollah is the weakest it's ever been. Hamas is basically on his back legs. The Houthis are like they're still around, but they're not nearly as good. So yeah, we've done all these things, and then the fourth one was like, stop them from making money and shit. Like so, once again, we've hurt them and take out their leadership. Right? We've took out their leadership. That's pretty clear. They're one of their like 5th person now. Like we bomb them, so often generals don't even answer the phones.
Iran is gearing up to be the strongest nation it's ever been in the history of its entire existence. Are you not aware of that?
Yeah, I'm gonna need whatever weed you're smoking because that is
The weed that
crazy
says that
talk.
Trump is offering them full sanctions relief and the ability to basically tax stuff going through the Strait of Hormuz and the
Everyone's gonna
ability
have
to
faith
tell
in this
Israel that they're not even
fucking
allowed to strike Hezbollah in Lebanon anymore. That's why Israel is freaking the fuck out so much about it. Like, what are you talking
stand on the
about?
prom-
Yeah, because Israel's our attack dog. Sometimes you got to smack your attack dog, and let him know who's daddy. Like, I mean, like, listen,
You're
there's a guy
aware that
on-
Israel is the one that
Psychosexual.
smacked us around to get us into Iran, right? Even your
Sure,
friend here would probably agree with that, right?
We backed them. We backed them when we needed, and now
We
we're
didn't
kinda
back them.
saying,
We got pulled in.
calm
Trump
down.
got pulled in.
We
He got
got
led
pulled-
around
yeah,
like a child on a leash,
Wait,
right?
so, wait, you're the one who's y'all are the ones you're saying we don't back
Okay.
our allies. Then one time we go back our allies, now y'all upset we're doing it. So like, what is it? Are you mad that we're not going to be backing our NATO allies? Or are you mad that we're backing Israel because they're our ally? Like, which is it? Because that's the whole point of agreements, isn't it? That's what I get told by Wick and all these other people when I come on here is that we need to honor our agreements internationally.
Yeah, we
have
don't
an
have
agreement with
formal
Israel.
agreements with Israel to help them in offensive wars. We
Oh.
don't have formal agreements with any country on the planet to help them in an offensive war with anybody else. Israel is absolutely not a NATO ally, so I don't know why you'd bring that up.
I mean,
And this
you
is
would
not
call-
us
they're not a NATO
backing our
ally.
allies in a mutually beneficial war. It's trying to back Israel in a crazy war because Trump is actually fucking retarded and doesn't know what he's doing in the Middle East. But
Yeah,
so
I
you
mean,
were-
I would argue they were attacked on October 7th, and
Okay,
Iran was the one who
I
funded them. So it was
do have a
that war,
question
but
to
go ahead.
maybe get us back
The
to the
monocause.
topic
Good
at
luck.
Thank you.
hand.
Thank you.
And this is to Andrew and to Gibbs. Andrew first, if you please.
Sure.
If we can provide, or if people can show evidence that these programs, as silly as they might sound, increase the goodwill of the nations that we are trying to help, therefore allowing them or making it more likely that they'll be favorable to trade deals that are in our interests, to defensive pacts that are in our interests, to allowing us to use their land for bases, allowing us to use their ports to resupply and reconnect. Would that change your mind?
It might, I'd have to look at it on a case by case basis. Because again, I want to stay away from the straw man that Destiny was making. Like, it's not just we want to cut aid. It's we have this existential threat that we want to get down as much as possible. And we can look at domestic things too. And we can look at things case by case. We're not, and even what Gibbs was saying, my own partner, I'm not like anti-LGBT. I just don't think it's the issue that we need to be spending money on while we're drowning in debt. And Destiny already agreed it's an existential threat. So personally, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care if it was heterosexual comic book, like earmarked for straight men. I would still say cut it. I don't care if it's like any type of sexual, anything, pleasure, anything that's not national security needs to be looked at and put on the chopping block when we're in this position. If we can get ourselves out of this position where we're not accumulating debt faster than we're paying it down, because what I would like is from one of them, maybe we could ask them, how do we get out of this? And then we could start to look about helping other people, because we're in a downward spiral. I think that's the most important thing. And once we look at that, we can look at all the other programs you're talking about. I'm not just trying to cut off aid around the world.
That's a useful question. How do it? Yeah, and this is to ShesRight and Destiny. How do we get out of this? If you're
Elect a Democratic president.
I can't separate the obsession with the debt and the deficit and all the people that want to get rid of USAID with all of the largest largest spenders in the United States. I just can't separate those.
I didn't support the war.
That's great for you, but you voted for people that did, right?
Well, I only have two options, unfortunately.
Well, then there you go. Yeah, but one of them is worse for the debt, right? The Republicans are worse for... You think that the Hold on.
I think the worst that comes only from Democrats, they use it as like a funding tool through NGOs like Gibbs was trying to put. Like, why do you think Tim Walz was at the heart of Minnesota and he was also the VP nominee?
But you think, hold on, so just to be clear, you think that...
Maybe it's just
okay, you gotta let him respond. Go ahead.
That happened.
Hold on, we got it. You gotta let him respond to you.
No, you got a virtue signal because these people only care about fucking trans people and gay people, apparently.
If you look at spending... straight people examples.
You're giving me
going to straight.
Whatever the fuck, who cares?
The homeless crisis, I'm talking about poverty rearing, I'm talking about waste.
So you don't care, we don't care about debt anymore. So do you care about debt or not? Do you care about debt or not? Do you care about debt or not?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need to cut all the waste, and it comes from your side.
Bill Clinton was the last president to have a budget surplus. Do you acknowledge that? Yes.
Neither side is
But he also
fixing it.
carried
I
over
didn't say.
Neither side
on
is
I
fixing
said
it.
Bill
They
Clinton was
don't
the
even
last.
talk
That's
about
a simple one. Without having to hedge, Bill Clinton was the last one to have a budget surplus. Yes.
But
Yes.
he also carried
Neither
over on
side
Bush.
now is
George
helping us.
George Bush was the one, a Republican, that mired us down in Iraq and Afghanistan. Correct.
Yeah, I'm not here
I feel like it's
supporting
just right on
Republicans.
that
I'm here
point.
saying
Donald Trump was the
that
one.
cutting USAID is good.
Sure.
So you're
Donald-
again strawmanning my position.
Okay.
Strawmanning my
you're not
position,
reality.
dude.
You don't care about the debt or deficit. Just don't lie about it.
It's not my
just so boring.
position.
Don't lie
I
about
do
it.
care. That's my main argument.
You don't
I know
care.
you can't
don't
beat
give
it.
a
I'm
fuck.
sorry.
It is a useful vector for you, like Hassan and Israel, Palestine, or whatever else. The debt is just a useless vector for you to carry whatever cringe cultural shit that you give a fuck about. That's
It's
it.
an existential threat. How is it a useless vector? You admitted it.
No, I didn't. Because I think that it's important, but
that.
you don't. That's the difference. We're
You
not the
said
same.
existential threat.
Yes, I think the debt and the deficit is important, but you don't care about it because you will support
call
the
it
spenders.
useless
You
vector.
support the spenders. You support the
I
spenders. Do you
don't. I
understand
said
that?
You vote for increasing the deficit. You're not a serious person.
Iran. You have to stop strawmanning me, dude. I know it's the only way you can beat
It
the
doesn't
argument.
matter about supporting the war in Iran. We don't vote by referendum in the United States of America. You have to vote
Well,
for
I
a president.
don't
and you vote for
support them
political parties.
blindly. That's what I'm saying. I don't
Who did you support in
them.
the last election? Trump or Harris?
Of course I supported Trump. Of course.
Okay. And
Okay, well, you give him informed consent to the war and
Wait,
skyrocketing
do you think the most important
the king of
keep going.
fraud? Is that who I was supposed to support? And then you would have said I was making the right choice? No one could have known Trump was going to do this. This isn't what he ran on. So
no one could have known Trump was going to do it. Go to war with the country that he's been fear-mongering about for
this isn't what
decades?
he ran on. Right?
Well,
So
that's a
you
good
have to
point.
say that
I
if
agree.
you have to
We
give
do.
voters
Retarded.
the benefit of the doubt that they believe what he was saying.
Oh, my God.
You don't? You think that all the voters knew that he didn't mean no new wars? Because I honestly didn't. I can be honest sitting up here. I thought we were not going to have any new wars, and I didn't support it. So that's why I say you're putting me in a position that I'm not even defending.
Well, okay, hold on. Hold on. Stop. Gibbs, please. Stop. Stop. All of you, both of you. Well, let me just ask you a simple question. Okay, knowing that they did lie to you.
The answer is no.
In 2028, are you going to vote for Republicans or Democrats?
Well, first,
hold on. Let him answer the question.
Okay, go ahead.
You're asking me?
Yes, you.
Who I'm going to vote for in 2028?
Yes, knowing that the Republicans basically lied to your face. No new wars. Oh, look, new wars. And they've drastically increased the debt and the deficit. Who are you voting for in 2028? Knowing what you know now, are you going to vote Republican again, or are you going to vote Democrat?
You know, can I just elaborate before I answer with context?
Before he says Republican, yeah.
Because I think the Democrats are worse, and I don't think Trump was deliberate. Let me just answer.
Finish, and then you guys can respond.
I'm being 100% good faith. I'm telling you guys the truth. I'm not like thinking out a talking point. I'm telling you what I honestly. I don't think he was lying when he said no new wars. I think he got manipulated by Israel and dog walked into this war. So I don't think it was an outright lie. I think he was manipulated and handheld into this war, and now he can't get out of it. Now they're sabotaging him in every way possible. So I would have to.
I don't vote for him.
Just as a quick question, can you tell me what kind of voodoo Harris was hooked up to that she could so accurately predict on stage several times that Donald Trump would get us into war with Iran? What did she know?
Well, I mean, to be honest, to be clear, first of all, I actually agree with Destin on this, but in one factor. One, I don't think he lied to us. Two, he has been saying since 1988 that he was going to go in there and fucking take Long Island and dominate the shit out of Iran. And Iran tried to kill him. If you know anything about Trump, he's real petty. He's about the 50 cents of politicians. I don't think that he's going to sit here and let someone who tries to kill him get away with it if he can. So, yeah, I knew we were going to war. Everybody that told themselves they wasn't, they bamboozled themselves on that one. Sorry, I'm not going to stand here and take that one. I definitely knew he was going to war the whole time, and I voted for that. I wanted that. Now, that's a different section of the Republican Party, I guess. I don't know. But when we're sitting here talking about all these things like USAID, I'm looking at all these examples. This is all part of his Don Roe doctrine. He's trying to control the straits. He's redone these things. You talk about his economic plans, the TRIPS plan with Azerbaijan is fantastic. The new deal he made with Indonesia, the Strait of Malacca, fantastic. We're going to be guaranteeing that, and we're going to control the flow of oil. Looks like China is now starting to buy more of oil. We're becoming larger oil exporters than we've ever been before. We control Panama. That's another major strait, our passage right there. So yeah, and then now we're talking to the NATO allies. Hey, listen, if you don't want us taking Greenland, y'all better go and spend some money and secure the Arctic passages. Because guess what? You don't have two boats y'all can run together. Honestly, he asked NATO to do this as a trap, not only because we didn't think they would do it, but because they probably couldn't even get the boat out there to Iran, and if they wanted to. And guess who did get one out there? Argentina.
Okay.
So hey, all these
Okay. We
right-leaning
get it.
governments.
We got it. You got to keep your responses under 2 minutes, man.
Sure. Hold on. I've been waiting a while here. So real quick, I'm sitting here when I'm sitting this. Oh, I said this earlier with the 7 countries in South America to watch. Argentina was one of the countries that sent ships to Iran with us. So hey, guess what? Looks like those countries are already benefiting us now that USAID is gone.
Yeah, how much is Argentina's ships, the 2 tugboats they sent? How much has that helped us control the Strait of Hormuz?
It's pretty good. We got some freighters through with them.
Hold on? Do you think that we are in control currently of the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, we are absolutely in control. We're the ones stopping all this shit.
Sounds like waste to me.
We're sending ships through most of the time. It's probably fine. They get one out of every 500, whatever. Yeah, I mean, you can giggle. I mean, clearly you don't know the situation. We can watch the transponders.
It's absolutely not even remotely true. The
it
strait
is true.
Is dead.
We can watch the transponders. We're seeing it.
I heard JD Vance say yesterday that the amount, and maybe JD Vance is lying, but he said yesterday the amount of ships is down, but the amount of barrels that's going out is the same. Those mostly cargo ships that aren't going through, hauling other stuff. I'm just telling you, I heard him say it yesterday. So maybe the vice president is lying, but that's what the administration is saying, that the amount of barrels going through is almost back to pre-war amounts.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Just hold on. I just have to point this out. I'm sorry, but we've just gone over how they lied to you about no new wars.
Well, they didn't.
And then
I said I'm just saying what the administration is
maybe
saying.
They could be lying again. I don't know. It's possible.
Then how do we know anything?
Likely.
Well, hold on. They didn't lie. They didn't lie about no new wars, so I reject that completely. That's what
they didn't lie about.
I don't think they lied. I think he got dog walked. He got dog walked by Israel. I don't think it was his intention to say we're definitely not going to do this. Ha ha ha! As soon as I get in, I'm doing it. I don't think that's what he was doing. Destiny? Do you honestly think that's what he was doing the whole time? He had this plan. He was like, no new wars, no new wars. Fuck these guys. I'm going to start a new war when I get in there. Or did he get in there and Israel's like, we're going, and he was like, fuck it. We just did this in Venezuela. We had amazing success. He thought he could recreate it. He was
they do this backflip. Witt does this backflip.
I think he's stupid. But that would be I would factor that in my vote for him, that I wouldn't vote for Trump because I know he's stupid. Just like he can't manage the debt or the deficit, which you said were existential threats for the United States, and Trump is failing miserably at.
But
Harris would have done a better job if I voted for the Democrat. That's why I vote. But USAID is not impacting our debt or deficit that much.
That's not the prompt who I vote for.
Hold on. But just real quick, please, just so I can kind of make people understand. It isn't the prompt, but your argument is that the USAID was bad and we should end it because the debt is an existential crisis. So that makes it part of the debate.
Well, you're asking in the field. We don't know who the candidates are going to be. Should I vote for President AOC? Is that who you think we should vote for, Destiny? President AOC or over any Republican? Who do you guys think?
Republicans are incapable of managing the wallet. They can't do it.
How come polling always indicates that people trust
crazy? You're not willing to cut any spending, and you guys cannot manage the tax receipts either because you just want to cut your revenues over and over again. So no, I don't think if you care about the debt, I don't see how you can possibly elect a Republican. Republicans have shown for the past 3 decades that they cannot manage a wallet.
And yet the polling, every time they poll independents and Democrats, Republicans, people trust Republicans with the economy more than Democrats. So clearly there's some sort of disconnect here with what you're saying. And because I don't see it. And it seems like we do good. You talked about Clinton's policies. Clinton continued most of the policies Bush Sr. put in. And so I don't really know that that's the dunk you're thinking it is. I don't know. You're sitting here saying all these things, but really, I'm just saying the USAID has been faulty and corrupt and bad overall, and we need to use our soft power more efficiently. And when I can point to examples where Europe can't even send a boat even if they wanted to, and to South America, who just a few years ago, El Salvador was a piece of shit, and now they're over here right-leaning, they're over here sitting here fixing their stuff. They're able to send aid to Venezuela after the issue stuff just went down. They're able to send aid to other South American countries and Central American countries after all this stuff, after being a poor country for decades. And now we're seeing this switch, and same thing with South America. It's wonderful, and it seems like USAID was holding us back by keeping leftists in power that were coming against us.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fun narrative, but there's just no evidence or proof of literally any of this.
I
don't understand how you.
tremendous.
That USAID was the thing keeping some people in power. Do you think Malay is doing a good job down there, as we have to subsidize them for tens of billions of dollars for their farmers, as our own farmers need subsidies because of how uncompetitive we're making our own markets, as China continues to outmaneuver us over and over again? Are you talking about how we're now hostile to all of our trading partners on the planet? Like, we had 100 new deals in 100 days was supposed to be coming. We've had 0 deals so far. Nobody wants to make deals with us, and now we're cutting up our
You keep
success
talking
with
about
NAFTA
farmers.
deal. Like, I don't know
Who
what
are
you're
the
talking about.
prompt?
Who are the farmers? Like,
This guy just wants to get away from the prompt.
I'm interested to see this because you brought up the subsidies again earlier. I said, yeah, I think we should cut subsidies here. Who do you think the farmers are? Because the ones that are getting the subsidies are, like, I guess it's Bayer now. It used to be Monsanto. They're the ones they're giant farmers, right? Mega corporations. So I didn't know the Dems were the party of, hey, give the mega corporations subsidies. Like, that's crazy. Now, ranching is mostly 97%, but I think it's really 17% of that, whatever, is independent. But when you're sitting here saying these things, yeah, I guess it's good to give the Malay a subsidy if they're going to actually send troops and ships to help us out. That's what the countries we should be backing. We should be spending soft power. So you're doing this weird backflip where it's like, hey, we should support our allies, except when they don't support us, and we should still give them money. Or, hey, I don't want you to subsidize stuff from Malay, even though he's actually doing stuff for America and actually helping us out. I'm
Malay doing for America? What?
He sent ships to help us during the fucking Strait thing. I just mentioned this. Like,
oh
you're
my
sitting
God.
Yeah, it worked. They got the ships through. So my point is this: like, you keep talking about like how they help. Yeah, I mean, you could giggle, but my point is soft power has been going to help us. We're using soft power now to get for countries that want to be a part of Team America, and y'all want to just give money to.
So hold on, I'm going to have to, because I just checked. I see no evidence that they sent ships at all. In fact, I'm seeing people
I'll get another
saying
thing. Give me a minute.
Can you link me? Because I'm just, maybe I just missed it, but I'm seeing nothing. But I could be incorrect.
All right, give me a minute. I haven't posted somewhere. Give me a second.
I know there's a Facebook page.
Yeah, it's going to take me a second. I'll have to find it. I have it linked in my Discord.
There was tweets that said it, but there was no actual announcement or article or anything I could really find.
Just give me a couple minutes. I got it. I'll find it before we in a second.
Yeah, just really quick. But back to the USAID stuff.
Regardless, they're still doing stuff with us for the economy, so they're still helping us.
I don't know about that. The argument that USAID actually benefits these countries and helps them not just economically, but inspires goodwill towards America. Does that not sit with our interest? Is that not just definitionally in America's interest? Especially when we have people like China and other bad actors, Russia, who are looking to also kind of sidle up to these other countries and maybe get influence in there as well. So isn't it us cutting off aid to these people only helping China and Russia?
No, I would say it depends on what it is. And I don't think cutting off diversity, equity, and inclusion training to Serbia in any way helps China. Like, I honestly, I think it's the opposite. I think like aligning ourselves with these programs that we know don't work more hurts America. Like that's what I mean. It depends on what the specific aid program is and whether or not we should cut it. But it seems like a majority of these, whether it be something I consider just wasteful, like a DEI initiative overseas, or an LGBT or a gay comic book, sorry, not a trans comic book, whatever it is, I don't.
Education comic book.
Or what about
an education comic book? You see how they want to phrase it? I don't, even if it's an education comic book, I don't think that we have to have a hierarchy of what's important.
You got to let him respond.
Say again.
You got to let him respond once you make the point.
Yeah, no, he can respond. I'm saying a hierarchy of priorities, and I don't see any of these things being top priority.
Sure. Why is it then that like they were cutting like PEPFAR and stuff? What like you keep focusing on the?
I have PEPFAR. I have it here. We could talk about it. That's the Presidential Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Why did they cut it? I don't know. Maybe they found some fraud or abuse in there. Do you have evidence that they didn't?
The whole program? Evidence that they didn't?
Well, they cut it. So that's the evidence that I'm citing, that there was fraud and abuse. Do you have evidence that that's incorrect?
That's not how evidence works. I don't know how you could. That's the dumbest statement you could possibly make.
Well, this is a race, fraud, and abuse program that cut it.
right?
Yeah, but it
Those are just-
no, it wasn't, because Doge did not find any waste, fraud, or abuse. They just
How
identified
do you
programs
know
that
what
the
they found?
administration was ideologically opposed to. That's not what waste,
But
fraud,
to
and abuse
them,
is.
that's wasteful. But to them, that's wasteful, Destiny.
Okay, if you're
I
retarded,
gotta
maybe
ask.
Wasteful.
I gotta
you
ask.
it's
Okay, I
even
gotta ask you,
wasteful.
Dragon.
You
No,
weren't even
that's not
talking
what
about
It's like saying a
Hold
journalist
on,
can't lie
Andrew.
because they're a journalist.
Andrew, I gotta ask. If the next
Yeah.
2028 comes around, we get President AOC, and she makes a group called the Pedophile Finders and Arresters, and they go out and they arrest
Sure.
Trump and they arrest all the Republicans. Is that evidence that the people they arrest are pedophiles? Would that be sufficient evidence to you?
No, but
Okay,
if they
so why
start
is it
arresting
sufficient
people-
evidence
hold
to
on,
you
hold
that
on. I have to
Doge
take the
calling
moderator
itself
too.
a
If they
anti-fraud, waste,
start
and abuse,
arresting people
them
and saying
cutting it
these
is
people
fraud,
are
anti-fraud, waste,
pedophiles,
and abuse?
then we can then look at those people and see if those claims are true. They still did arrest people that they said were pedophiles. The government did still shut down these programs, and you guys looked it up. You're trying to get it on a technicality and say, oh, it's educational and it just had a gay character. It's not a transgender comic book. So you're even
Technicality.
admitting that it's real.
That's not a
You're even
technicality, that's the
admitting it's real.
purpose.
I'm saying we think it's wasteful. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
I
but you've
think
not
we
proven
think
waste, and you
that's
said you would
wasteful.
investigate the alleged rapist
That's what we're doing.
arrests, but you have not investigated and proven waste or fraud or abuse. It just cut medical relief for
Well,
people with AIDS around the globe.
well, hold
That
on,
does
hold on.
actually build soft power.
Let's just use the example of the comic book thing. I think it's a pretty dumb example, but let's just use it real quick.
Why don't we
you
use PEPFAR? We were talking about PEPFAR.
Well, we've been talking about.
Yeah,
okay,
let's talk. We haven't talked about PEPFAR yet, and I want to. So go ahead. Use
Okay,
PEPFAR.
so fine. Okay, well, what is the PEPFAR thing again here? What did y'all just say? I was ready to go with a whole different argument, but whatever.
Sure,
AIDS
Okay,
prevention. AIDS
Yeah,
prevention.
AIDS
In the
prevention.
third
Okay,
world,
AIDS
it's like,
prevention. That's right,
life or death
correct,
kind of
okay.
thing,
Sure,
medication.
AIDS prevention. Yeah, cool. I
It's
mean,
boring.
so yeah, it's boring. Yeah, well,
Nobody
yeah,
else can pay for it, only us.
Yeah, I mean, we're the only country. I know that the argument they're going to make is, oh, we don't want other countries to step in and do it because that's going to us give up the soft power. But I mean, like, listen, here's the thing. Yeah, it's sad these people got AIDS, but like, did they have the sex themselves? Maybe most of the time, yes, most of the time they did. I'm not going to say everyone was a product of not a consensual sex that got AIDS from war torn countries. Sure, some of them probably got that way too. That's sad, right? Here's the deal. These are war torn countries with populations that live there, right? It's not. Listen, we're not just some global police force as much as people want us to be. We have debt. We have other issues. We have issues here at home. We have problems. There's other countries that are rising in power. Russia and China. I hear about it all the time from people. Multipolarity. It's coming, right? And so, like, if that's the case, then why are we the only ones that are going to sit here and spend our money? It seems like they're having us throw money in a black hole that's never going to sit here and help us out. These countries still hate us because of religion, because we're infidels, for all sorts of other reasons, because propaganda, etc. And then you still want us to throw money at this problem, and it's not helping us at all. And then when I go, hey,
you got to let them respond. Go ahead.
Well, sure.
So you have not actually substantiated that doesn't help us at all. In fact,
You haven't
PEPFAR was
substantiated
studied, and that PEPFAR does actually not only it has saved lives, like over 100,000 lives, even since it was cut like a year ago, right? But also, PEPFAR is the one area because it's a health-based thing. It's one of the easiest to quantify a little bit. It gets journalist coverage, and it's when we have the clearest idea. Has actually increased public perceptions of America abroad and at home. Like, it gets positive coverage, and that's one of the things that leads to soft power.
What countries is this in? Are they predominantly Christian?
PEPFAR is pretty global. It's pretty complicated. It's like one of the bigger, more complicated things. Yeah.
Right. But where AIDS is mainly located is in what areas?
I think Sub-Saharan Africa was the huge focus on it, but like
Sub-Saharan
God.
Africa. Now, what is America's popularity in Sub-Saharan Africa, where it's a bunch of Muslim extremists and extreme Christian like groups fighting each other?
Well,
would you say
higher
it's
with
high?
PEPFAR than without?
They hate us anyway. Why
hate
should
us
we
anyway.
pay for hate us? We have to pay for them too.
Okay,
What type of
how about we fix
masochism
that?
is
I want them to
arguably-
not hate us.
Okay,
I want to support
you
solutions that
guys,
do not hate us.
hold on. We got to give the ball to ShesRight and Destiny to have their say. Go ahead.
Arguably, the AIDS meds is helping these.
Oh,
people.
not Andrew. Sorry.
I like
Gibbs,
supporting
I just
programs
said
that
let's
make
get the
people
ball to
not
the
hate
other
us.
side for a minute, and you start talking.
and-
What is going
Well, yeah,
on?
because you keep cutting us off. Right?
I don't cut you off. You talk for 10 minutes, and we need.
Wait. Okay, go ahead.
Just give the ball to them for a little bit. I promise. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there are some countries that are led by evil governments. Fuck them. I don't support them. Make apologies for them. This is a program that saves lots of lives and improves their attitudes towards America. This is part of resolving their hatred of us. Whereas, like, war does not make people like you a lot of time. This is one of those parts that's, and I believe we should agree here. This is a problem we want to solve. This is something that is helping solve it. So
if they stay alive longer, they can spend more money, right? They can work harder. That's something that happens, right?
Sure, potentially.
Okay, so if these countries are countries that don't like us with governments that are evil, we're paying to keep evil governments, countries, people alive, supplying them economically with physical soldiers and bodies for their economy. Why the fuck would we want to do that?
Isn't that what Donald
Because
Trump's about to do with
economically
Iran?
developed countries liberalize.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're bombing the shit out of Iran. I guess their leadership would probably disagree, considering they're hiding in holes. But sure.
Not only
Trump's
that,
about
but
to
you
give
said,
Iran
you
more
said
money than
this
they've ever had in
moves
the history of
them.
it.
Go ahead, Destiny. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean, Trump's about to give Iran the sweetest deal that's ever had in the history of the existence of that country. But
We don't know what the deal is going to be yet. I know you keep trying to bring it here because you don't want to debate the point, but I'll say like the deal's not over. You know,
they never
I'm sure
are.
you.
Isn't that kind of crazy that none of them ever
I'm
are?
sure you've bought in a house before or something. You get disclosures throughout the deal, and they're different every time, and they're never the same as the deal at the end. So I'm not going to call the game like in the middle.
I'm not familiar with that. Where what you negotiate on a house for 10 years and the conditions
The
are constantly
disclosures
changing.
change during the process of working out the deal, and then the last one is the final deal. That's how it always works. So I don't know why
just
you
to be
in
clear,
the
this has
middle.
nothing to
You
do. I don't know why you would even make that analogy. Nothing like how Trump
that's how
negotiates
deals
like a
work.
normal. No, it's
Yeah,
not.
you get initial
it's not.
disclosures on a deal, and then it changes. You keep getting new disclosures throughout the process, showing you the updated changes until you get the final disclosures. That is how deals work. And
Where are
and
they then? Where are all these deals that Trump has worked out? You realize he hasn't made a single fucking one, right?
That's what I'm saying. We're not going to call it in the middle. Why don't instead of rooting for America to fail and calling it before it's over, why don't we just wait and see how it plays out?
What were the deals that he got in his first administration for the 4 years there?
But that's not what we're discussing now. What I'm saying is, why don't we? Yeah, because you keep moving the goalposts around.
I'm asking for any deal. He said he's making this gigantic deal. He didn't make any. He didn't make any. He hasn't made any. What can I evaluate? There's none.
And again, you're like moving off the prompt because you know this stuff that we're bringing up is wasteful. You know it. You admitted that it's an existential threat, and there's no basis for which we can just keep throwing money down the drain. And you have no proof that it's doing anything in any of these places. You said, why should we send to places that have evil warlords? Well, I brought up Sudan. So can we cut Sudan and can we cut the DEI in Serbia?
If you knew about this, we already have stopped funding food for Sudan and South Sudan, which are two of the highest need areas, by the way.
Can we keep?
But you haven't looked into this, so you're just lying.
Can we keep the AIDS program and cut the DEI? Like, can we cut some of them?
You didn't do that. None of you guys did that. You cut it all. So that makes it seem like you don't really give a fuck.
I'm debating you. Is that okay with you?
If there are programs that you want to cut because the money's not going towards where it's supposed to be going towards, I think it's totally fine to evaluate it and cut it. But that's not what they did.
So can we then?
But you cut the evaluation mechanism
for which to track it better before we open up.
That's USAID, dipshit.
That's what USAID does.
That's
what the program
is that it wasn't working. That's our whole point.
How do you know?
How do I know? Because it's going to places with chattel slavery. I have a pretty good idea that they're not using the money.
Okay, hold on. I got to make a little money. I got to make a little money.
So you want to send money to people that are slavers.
Okay, hold on. I got to make a little money. So after your quick question. Quick question, then I got to...
Can we characterize the new
ballroom? Wants to give money to slavers. Desperately.
Oh my God, the filibustering. Can we qualify the new ballroom as waste, fraud, and abuse? Is that okay?
What does that have to do with the prompt?
I'm just asking. Can that be waste, fraud, and abuse?
I don't think it's wasteful. Like, should the White House not have a nice ballroom? I'm not saying it's necessary.
No. I'm saying it's wasteful. So can I say you said that it's an existential threat? You said it was an existential threat that our debt and deficit is so high. So why the fuck are we tearing down parts of the White House that were perfectly fine before and wasting money on building
foreign policy? We can talk about those things, and I agree with you. I said domestic and foreign.
Yeah, let me read some super chats because I gotta make a little money, okay? And then we'll get back to it. This will get a little breather for everyone. $5 from the average Jake L to say, Mr. Mooten said we should donate. Thank you, Mr. Mooten, for supporting other base liberals. Well, yes, you should donate. Mr. Mooten is entirely correct. Thank you for the $5. $5 from Stormwolf. Why bring up elections? Is Gibbs implying no USAID led to pro-American governments being elected, or that the consequences won't happen?
Sorry, what was the question?
$2 from It's Fishy. What does Stephen Bennell 2 think about 6-7? Okay, thank you. $2, I guess. $20 from Pondering Politics. For after the debate, in light of recent Trump financial disclosures, the grand debut of the Qatar plane Air Force One, and the many, many Trump family government contracts, can the MAGA folks weigh in on Trump corruption?
Gibbs or me? You can go, Gibbs.
I mean, oh no. I don't give a shit about the Qatar plane.
Hold on, you understand that, like, It was like $600 million, and it was
Yeah,
being
I mean,
given as like a
sure. And then the Air Force decked it out and cleared it out. And they were already in the process, if I recall, of talking about replacing the Air Force One with a new one anyway. So this actually probably saved us money in the long run. So, like, hey, I guess we don't like taking gifts that save us money and are going to protect future presidents in perpetuity. Okay. Oh no, it's fraud, it's corruption. No, it's not. But whatever.
Take a look at Pelosi or Ilhan
I mean,
Omar.
I don't want
No,
to
wait,
listen.
What about Pelosi?
I know she's the best trader I've ever seen. She's better than what is it, like Murdoch? Every
Her
trader
husband
like
is a
put
hedge fund.
together. She's the
husband is
best one.
Her husband is a hedge fund manager.
He's
That's
the
his
best
job
hedge fund
professionally.
manager. Not
In
just
the world?
he's the best one.
And if
Then
you use
why has he
autopilot,
only
you
made?
can
Why
use
is
the same
the money
trades.
he's made? Why have they made a pittance compared to what Donald Trump has made in like the last year and
You
a
know
half?
why? Because it depends on how much you put up as to how much you earn back. So you have to look at the percentage at which he's right, which is extremely high. We can look it up. We've been looking
As the
things up on
president of the United States, he's making good predictions on world economies. Wow, go
So
figure.
you're
What do you
saying
call
that
that?
Nancy
What do you
Pelosi
call that?
is no
Isn't that
insider
isn't that
trading? Is that
corruption?
your claim?
It's never been proven, has it?
Are you saying she's not insider trading?
I don't believe so. I don't think there's any good reason to believe so.
Fair enough. Okay, so we
Okay.
disagree.
$10 from It's Fishy.
Do you have evidence of it?
I said we disagree. Do you have evidence that she's not based on her track record?
You're
So
making
what-
the claim
I
that
know
her
you think that's
husband's
funny,
track
but we
record
look at something
represents
called
no evidence.
statistics. We can look at something called
Okay,
trend.
filibuster.
Okay. You got you.
Filibuster.
Yes,
You guys
go
are the
ahead.
ultimate. What is Pelosi's? I'm curious now. What is Pelosi's track record? Like, what are her average annual
I
returns or
said
gains?
we could pull it up. I
Well,
already
I will.
said I didn't have the
I will say
exact
this:
number.
it's very high. But I will say this, guys: if you want, you can use the autopilot app and invest. It'll make trades proportionally directly into with the Pelosi's. And mine
Yeah.
investment has done fantastic since I've done that, for the record. So check that out.
$10 from It's Vishy. I know Gibbs and the other chucklefuck are in love with Trump and his foreign policy, but then are against USAID, which was a huge driver of our soft power. These guys know nothing about politics, man. Well, thank you for the $10.
Can I respond to that?
You
Because
can.
I wasn't for Trump's foreign policy. I made that quite clear. Gibbs is. I wasn't. So that's incorrect.
Okay. $5 from Radell. Caring about the national debt is fake woke if you voted for Trump. Did Mr. Fisted vote? It's Mr. Fist, first of all. Vote for Trump that is ruining our national debt and budget deficit? I believe he said he did. It's Vishy. Dragon D's nuts does not know who inspector generals are. Legit, the independent oversight of multiple agencies. 10 Headless Chicken, I can't read that one. But thank you for the $10. Yeah, you hold on. Moderators, can we anyway. Potter Politics for $5. Ask this dumb fuck in the hat why I'm more likely to find a Confederate flag at a GOP rally or at a GOP household if the parties didn't switch.
Oh, they didn't switch.
That would be.
He didn't switch.
Okay, so why would we be more likely to find a Confederate flag at a GOP rally or at a GOP household if the parties didn't switch?
Well, you wouldn't, because the SPLC is
Wouldn't.
going to be funding those agencies. That's why they funded, the Unite the Right. That's why we're finding out all sorts of other crazy stuff, all the time. That's why we had David Duke supporting the Clintons. That's why we have Richard Spencer saying he votes Democrat. That's why we have Nick Fuentes claiming that he's a Democrat. The party switch never happened. That's a lie. We could go into that, but that's not the topic of the day. That's something you can debate for hours on end.
What do you think? One day they were like, okay, let's switch now. All your positions, we're just going to switch them over, and we're going to take. Like, does
Well, if you're
that,
at history
does
books,
that
Yeah,
sound
yeah, I mean, if you do-
realistic? Does
yeah,
that
if you do
sound
look at
like
history-
something that happened?
What sounds more realistic? Their positions
Only one
basically
Republican
switching or evolving,
can
or that
condemn
all the
that.
people that lived in the southern states all moved to the northern states, and all the people in the northern
They
states
moved
all
to
moved
the
to the southern
coast. They
states?
moved to the urban areas. That's not true. What you're saying isn't true. The Democrats were the party. So you're saying Republicans weren't the party of Lincoln? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that the southern states all voted for the Democratic
Lincoln's
Party.
your guy, not our guy?
Who in 2026? Which party in 2026
I'm
is
just
saying
saying
who's going
that
to pick
in
up
order
power?
to effect
Sure.
the same change, you would have had to have all these people moving and swapping homes.
Yeah, people moved.
Yeah, I mean, who in 2026? Which party is saying who's going to pick our crops?
New York City.
Okay. I got more. I gotta get through them.
Huge demographic change in the last 20 years.
I gotta get through them.
Huge.
Stay in school, kids. You're
General
cool for reading
Grievous for
comic books about it.
$2.
That's the
What's
demographic
your
change in New
highest
York
level of
State based
education,
on
by the
staying in school.
Okay, I gotta make money, gang.
Sure.
General Grievous for $2. DragonFist is fine with $300 billion to Iran. I don't think he is. $5 from Corneo. These conservatives are deeply unserious. Please find better guests.
Oh my God.
$5 from Trevekia. Does Admiral Gibbs and DragonFist feel Trump was properly allocating funds when proposing the $1.776 billion for the anti-weaponization/fund?
Every question is just whataboutism. If you want to have a debate on any of those issues, you could tell Mr. Wick. I'm sure Destiny and She's Right will come back and we could debate any of those issues. We're debating this issue, which is USAID foreign policy. So that's what
listen, I'm not, despite my rep, I'm not a mad guy. I don't like that policy for the 1.76 trillion. That's a bad one. Not every policy is going to be one that I like. That's okay. I didn't like that one.
Which
okay.
is Persona for $2. Link for the comics. Asking for a friend. I'll put it in my Discord. Scorned, thank you for the 5-month membership. These people shouldn't be allowed to vote. Okay. $5 from It's Fishy. Makes claim, quote unquote. Show us. Dude, this is a problem. We don't know if it's true or not. End quote.
Why is it that all of those Confederate statues, I guess, were those all put up then by Democrats? Why is it the Republicans are the ones who always cry when they get torn down?
Tear them down. I don't give a shit. I mean, like, this is
Once again,
this is like I'll argue. Hold on, we already caught the hold on. We testified. Well, hold on, it's not crazy. I just brought this up. We just had congressional testimony that the SPLC was funding recruitment, flag burnings, and clothing for the KKK and the neo-Nazis. So yeah, I would say that secretly. Why? Well, allegedly it's for informants, but one of the bitches was sleeping with one of the.
She was banging the dude. I was just going to say that. She was
crazy. That I guess I don't. It's crazy that somebody that's so anti-racism would be banging King Dick racist. Like, doesn't make much sense there, unless liberals and leftists are the actual party of racism. So
that's not ideological motivation.
But he's saying
like it is in 2026, they're still the same ones wanting to have a subclass to pick their crops. Who's going to pick our crops? You know who said that? 1860s. Guess who said that? The Dems. Crazy how that didn't really change. Okay. Crazy how all those leaders I mentioned.
Okay, you guys, this was like a $5 question, and you're giving like $50 answers. $5 from Kyle Link. Awesome to see DragonFist has pivoted from karate to debate. I'm afraid of what any more karate chops to the head would do to him.
That would hurt.
$5 from Black Pilled Kiwi. You aborted a third of Gen Z? Should have been half. Okay. $2 from The Witch's Persona. She's right. Name checked out. Paul Cast 5 or 6 says, government-funded transcomic USAID orgies for all. Okay. $10 from It's Fishy. What are your thoughts on OBA, OBBBA, and TCGA? He cares more about his minor funding compared to cuts to healthcare, Medicare, and ballooning our debt and deficit. Do you want to respond to that quickly?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've moved positions recently on some funding here. Now that we know how much fraud is going to all these programs in Minnesota and California, maybe if we restructured them and relooked at them, we could actually fund some of these things, maybe help Americans. But we won't know until we use Doge to gut out the fraud and all this other issues and use the Justice Department to look into these corruption.
No, we'll get to it later, but
thanks for that tee off. Appreciate it.
I'm really curious what if you think Doge was financially positive for us or not, but we'll get
Doge has failed. Doge is done. I don't know why we're even pretending like anything different. But
what's the chick that's the oh god damn it, the press conference girl? What's her name? I can't think of her name.
Levitt?
Thank you, appreciate it. I don't know why I'm blanking, but Caroline Levitt just literally gave out a speech, like a point where she listed 8 things, like last week, about the Doge just cut. So they're still working. This is like a fake news thing that y'all keep doing, saying Doge doesn't exist anymore. They're definitely still doing things. Pete Hegseth also quoted Doge finding stuff recently. So I guess y'all are just making shit up.
Okay.
$10 Doge was majorly disbanded. They're not really finding anything significant anymore. There might be some people working in departments doing ordinary cuts or whatever, but we were initially promised $2 trillion in cuts by Elon. Then that went down to $1 trillion. Then it went down to $100 billion. And then it kind of sort of ended up in them just cutting programs that they didn't like because they couldn't find any waste, fraud, and abuse, or they would just quote things from OAGs that had already found some. Either wasteful spending or stuff that needed to be addressed. And then now we just have it as part of the government where every now and then they'll just say, well, if they fire somebody, we can give Doge credit for it, which is actually just retarded because these departments can take care of themselves. So I don't know why you need to make another bureaucratic department to tell other departments how to spend their money. It sounds like the dumbest thing ever. It was dumb and it continues to be dumb. And if it exists in any form today, it is probably definitionally waste, fraud, and abuse.
Okay. $10 from Lawson Harrison. Destiny and Alice should start a channel where they talk about ranching and martial arts so that these regards can understand the feeling. Okay. $5 from Keep Your Bill Steins. For our martial artist, how much or by how much did the USAID cuts reduce the national debt? I should have expected it was a big amount. No?
Well, the national debt is, I don't know if this is a trick question. The national debt is not going down at all. It pretty much never gets reduced. We don't pay on the principal of it. This is a separate issue. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't cut things. Like we have to cut things to get to the point where it starts to come down, right? We have to spend less. We have to. Do you have another solution? People are saying like we shouldn't vote. We're not even saying we want people to get hurt or we want to cut all aid or we don't want soft power. We're not saying any of those things. We're just saying let's check. Maybe we can keep the AIDS prevention program and cut the DEI in Serbia. We're being reasonable and
The
also
two easiest things
consistent.
the two easiest things are fully fund the IRS, stop trying to gut it all the time. It's the only agency that actually makes money for the government. It's literally your IRS, and then get rid of the Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. That should massively decrease the amount of money that the government was making. So obviously we can't pay down our debt because we're not making any money.
You're agreeing with my premise that we have an existential problem here. So how we get to cutting, it doesn't matter. We have to cut. And if we have things that are wasteful, whether it's my interpretation of wasteful or your interpretation of wasteful, they have to be on the table at least that we can discuss them. And that's what we're trying to do. I'm not saying cut every program. That's not my position. I'm not defending domestic positions because that's not the prompt, but we can come back and talk about that another time. I'm sure there's many domestic programs that we can cut. But not one piece of evidence has been provided that any of these programs are helping anybody. It's just what you guys think they're doing. No direct evidence that the money's going where it's supposed to be going. I'm citing issues like California, where we see humanitarian programs where all the money gets wasted. Why would it be any different in sub-Saharan Africa? Only a moron would think it's going to run more efficiently over there.
$5 question, just FYI.
Okay.
Like you guys are giving
Same
$50
question
answers.
over and over.
Yeah.
Impactcounter.com.
$5 from Benji Boy. To the crazy Republican, why do you think 32,000 is breaking the U.S. budget, but Republicans have tried trickle-down economics 4 times now? Please explain. Well, I think he just did. Echem for $5. U.S. debt is an existential problem. Given that, why not focus on closing the tax gap for $700 billion versus $125 million for USAID? Literally 5,600 times more effective.
Well, that's not the prompt. Like
Greg
Gio
for $5. Why does Andrew keep claiming straw man when the other side is accurately summing up his points? Dead Dodger Jim for $5. Tell Purple Joker and Hat Guy in witness protection, did Trump save or waste money on the reflecting pool?
I would assume that he didn't save money. However, I wouldn't call having nice things in the Capitol a waste either. So, I mean, is it a priority for Papa Gibbs? No, it's not a real high priority. However, I don't really see the pennies that he spent on that as wasteful, and I would rather that go to that than I guess some comic in Peru. I don't really give a shit about the comic, but hey, let's let the fucking pool be nice. It doesn't help though the lefties over here making it worse by destroying it again after it just got fixed, but that's neither over there.
Not taking that debate.
No evidence of that.
$2 from It's Fishy. He needs to vote Dem if he's scared of debt. $5 from the average Jake. Steven Seagal Jr. must have lost all his bullshito fights. His brain damage is on full display. He never confirmed that the moon exists. Does it? Okay. $5 from Benji Boy. 11 of the last 13 recessions were started by Republicans. Since you care about the budget, I assume you are voting Democrat now. $5 from Stormwolf. So we care about cutting the debt. So we focus on 1% of the budget and vote for Republicans when Democrats always decrease the deficit. $10 from Pondering Politics. Does he disavow Trump now? Will he commit to voting for Democrats in the midterms and in 2028?
You want me to answer?
Will you commit?
I won't commit. I have to see who the nominees are. You know,
okay,
Dems are
sure.
voting.
Well, let me ask: what is one Democratic nominee you would vote for?
And don't say Graham Planter.
I'm not going to make a statement about a Democrat I would vote for at this time.
You can't.
I'll do one. I like Fetterman. Do you like Fetterman?
I do like Fetterman, but I'm still not. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. You can't think of a single Democrat you would vote for? Not one?
I just don't want to make the statement that I support any Democratic candidates without fully investigating. But Fetterman is reasonable, at least. Seems to be more reasonable.
Can I just real quick, because we keep
Yes.
saying this, so we can at least just look for PEPFAR. So Bush launched this in like 2003, and then it was. Look at that. Just bring this chart up. If we look at like AIDS
Send it,
deaths in Africa or HIV deaths, AIDS deaths in Africa, right, you can kind of see like pretty clearly, right, as it's capping out at, go figure, around 2003, and then for a year or two afterwards, and then they start to come down.
Is this the one you're sending me here?
Is it the link? Scroll down to, there's like cute little lines or whatever.
Yeah. This? I'm looking
Yeah,
at
scroll
it.
down, scroll down, scroll down. Sorry, those aren't cute lines. Those are boring lines. There's
Oh,
your
is
cute
this
line.
cute lines? I don't know what a cute line is. I'm going to be real.
That's a cute line.
Okay, this is a cute line. Got it. Okay, what are we looking at?
Well, so I mean, like in terms of estimates, if you give like credit to PEPFAR for the decrease in deaths here, right? People get up to 25 million lives here that are not dead, not people that aren't dead as a result of PEPFAR. So I don't understand why we keep saying it doesn't do anything. USAID doesn't help. Nobody's doing anything to prevent deaths. We don't have any evidence of it preventing deaths. I mean, that's like one we can go into. That's probably the largest program that people would say there, and it's another one that the Trump admin attacked.
Sure.
So did we go in and like inject these people with AIDS?
Hold on. In the
Yeah,
chart, if you're looking at it, and you can pull it up by clicking the
I see it.
watch stream, it shows from about 2002 where they peak, and it starts dropping drastically till about 2022 where there's a short increase. And 2023 is the least, I guess the latest data we have. Destiny's argument is that this was credited to PEPFAR, that PEPFAR helped reduce these deaths. Is this
Sure.
evidence
that.
that this helps reduce deaths and helps people?
The problem is, once again, is this is no evidence this helps the United States. Y'all can argue, oh, deaths is good, it builds goodwill, all these things. One, I got to be honest, unless we were the ones over there injecting these people with AIDS, I got the world's smallest violin here for them otherwise, because like I don't care. Like maybe I'll be the bad guy. Not my problem.
Of the 25 million saved, 7 million infants were prevented
it's sad.
from acquiring HIV.
It's sad. It's
is it their fault? Is it the baby's fault when they die of AIDS?
No, it's not the baby's fault, but it's the parents' fault, and it's the
God.
government's fault. It's the government's fault. Like, I mean, do you disagree that their leadership and the people there that are exhibiting these behaviors and doing these things, it's their fault for engaging in these actions? Was it okay? And I think once again, I'm not gonna bash the LGBTQ, right? But gay shower complexes where they had the bathhouses was credited back in the day with causing the spread of HIV among people. And originally, people were like, oh, this is like a very mean thing to say about it, but it's because the unprotected sex and the habits was spreading amongst this community. And once they had more sexual education, that slowed it down. I would argue, okay, hey,
hold on.
it's
Do you
still
think it would
on
be
them. It's still
useful?
on them for engaging in that behavior.
Do you think
Is
it'd be
it not?
useful to spend money on helping to give them sexual education?
No, because once again, that's going to give economic benefits and military power to countries that don't like us, and this goodwill is not being extended. They're going to be, oh wow,
So
thanks for the young
sexual
Americans
education on safe sex for homosexuals is going to increase their military power?
And yeah, with your dying at 40 from AIDS, do you think you're able to fight longer than if you're healthily, if you're don't have AIDS at all? If you're homosexual, and I don't know.
PEPFAR was running for 20 years. Which one of these sub-Saharan African countries were going to war with us?
Well, we see Nigeria. Did Nigeria get any of it? Because we first fought Boko Haram. We had a 6-country war that we were backing up Boko Haram with Chad and all these other countries. We're at Djibouti right now. We're sending people out. Like that's where AFRICOM is. There's a reason why we have AFRICOM.
Which one of these countries are going to war with us?
I mean, none of them. But they could be going to war with our allies, like Rwanda. Countries go to war. There was just the Great African War, the Great African War too. Was those things that happened? Yeah. Did we have countries that we were allied with in those regions to some extent? Have economic engagements with? Yes, absolutely. So it's not just directly us. So when you're saying, oh, let's give all this money to all these countries that are helping, you don't have any evidence this economically didn't help our enemies, which is much more likely it did help them to some capacity, especially when we're just giving this willy-nilly indiscriminately to mass populations.
Okay. $5 from Alishness. Wow. So not only is Trump failing on no new wars, but he also failed at being the amazing negotiator since he got bamboozled by Israel. He kinda sucks. Okay. $5 from Tyrion Grayman. Wick, can you pull up maritime traffic and zoom to the strait? We'll do it later. Not for $5, I can't. Okay. You gotta add a zero there. $5 from Alishness. You changed Department of Defense to the Department of War. What the fuck did you think was going to happen? Are you that naive?
It was after he was elected.
Okay.
Well, it was.
I mean, yeah, true. Okay, real serious for 100 in Argentina money. I don't know how much that is. Yo, I'm Argentinian, voted for Milei, and Reddit mod Joker is straight up BSing. Argentina supports the Iran war and Israel diplomatically, but they never sent shit. We can barely
And-
finance ourselves.
I do have the quote on that, and this is, I was mistaken. The quote was by analysts would have amounted to about 2 ships being sent. That is
Okay, so you basically made up a story.
I didn't make it up. I just was going off the quotes that I had, and I was incorrect, and I just admitted that I was incorrect,
Sure.
which was what the analyst said. So, like, hey, I'm not trying to sit here and lie in bad faith, like, whatever. But Argentina is openly saying they would support, and I have their foreign minister on video, and I can share it, where he says that he would do any military support that we need if we asked.
Okay, $10 says evil for ML Evil Elron to say this isn't a forum for open discourse anymore. In my opinion, it's just platforming 2 liars and relying on Destiny to counter them. Just tell the MAGAs to self-delete and move on. This is silly.
I feel like she's right. It's countering more than I have
Dude.
for talking points.
Listen to that comment. Self-delete. What did we say? That's a lie. So we should self-delete. You don't
Well,
see
you
the...
said there was a transgender comic book. You said that quite a lot.
I thought it was a gay
even
comic
when
book?
evidence was brought to the
So I should self-delete over it?
Well, no, but
It's
what
the
you
party of
asked was
tolerance.
what was the
Yeah,
lie,
man.
so I answered that question, and then
Well,
you
also the
retreat to another
boats
question.
thing.
Do that shit
It's
a
not a
lot.
lie.
Well, that wasn't a lie.
Category
It is a
error.
lie.
It's not a lie.
It is a lie.
The
You
boats thing is
confidently
a
made a
lie.
claim you had no
Right.
evidence for whatsoever, and then you
Yeah,
talked
he
over.
pulled it up. He
and
found the comic book in
resolution
Peru. He found the price of it. It's not a lie. You're just categorizing it differently and calling it a lie. That doesn't make it a lie.
There wasn't a transgender comic book.
Okay, what is a transgender comic book? What's the specific definition?
I don't know, bud. You brought
Oh,
it
that's
up.
what I thought.
Hold on, what would you consider a transgender comic book?
I don't know. I'm not the one
If
miscategorizing,
a
trying to
comic book has a
categorize it and
gender-
call you a
Brought it up.
liar. I thought we could like give a little good faith here. Like it wasn't a lie.
If it was good faith, you would have researched it first.
Did
Okay.
research
Wait.
it. That's why I have it written down.
You wrote down something wrong.
Okay.
Oh no.
Okay,
Must
let
be a
me
lie
let me
then.
keep going. I'm going to do a couple more, then we're going to get back to the discussion, then I'll read the rest later. $10 from Real Serious to say, Wick, please tell Diabetic Joker he is absolutely lying. I'm Argentina, and the opposition here would have absolutely flamed him for that. Okay, fair enough. He did admit he was wrong. $10 from ACall92. If these guys think Trump is our best option for president and Israel led him by the nose, shouldn't we accept our Jewish overlords? Seems they know
No.
better than our administration. Okay. With that, I guess this is to Destiny's side. How do you guys deal with this, right? Like when people will just like what is your best positive argument for USAID? Why should we have it?
For like an adult conversation, or
Yeah,
for
for an
a
adult
conversation for
conversation.
retards? For an adult conversation, the United States is the world hegemonic leader. Like, and we have to have good relationships with a bunch of people around the world for a variety of reasons. We want them to be amenable to our culture, so that we get along better, so that we can make better trade deals, so that people are more likely to loop us in on intel-related stuff. Whether that means catching terrorists or cooperating or being a part of things that we used to recognize like Five Eyes or NATO or whatever, like having more cooperation with all these other countries where we're invested and interested in so many parts of the world is a good thing. And USAID is just like an easy freebie. It's just like a thing that you do that can give you a whole bunch of goodwill from other countries that are in dire straits in some ways. And it's not that big of an expense for us. So as long as we're not like breaking the bank doing this, and as long as we're not I guess like diverting money to terrorists, like it's just an obvious, easy freebie gimme thing. It's like throwing money at an IRA or a 401k. Like these seem like obvious investments, even before you get into the moral argument of we have had like such tremendous advancements in medicine and aid delivery and everything else. Why would we not, if we have the ability to invest in this, why would we not do this? And then on the other side, for the people that attack it, it's very obvious that they just take like a brain dead approach to like anything with the word trans, even if it's transgenic mice research, but there's nothing with trans people, or if it has the word DEI or anything even in it, even if it has nothing to do with diversity, equity, or inclusion, they just want to cut all of it because they're on some rampage with the government. But then they always cite that the reason why they want to do this is because of stuff related to the budget. But these guys are always voting for the largest spenders in all of U.S. history. Again, I can't take somebody seriously who says that Donald Trump has a debt that is like 1/3 of our current U.S. debt. We owe it to Donald Trump, but that the cuts to USAID were somehow necessary and somehow help the budget, especially when Trump is like on a rampage against all these programs anyway, right? When he talks about shithole countries and funding all these other things. Like it's obviously, like to anybody that's not retarded, it's obviously an intensely ideologically motivated thing that has nothing to do with saving money or anything else. If it did, why the fuck didn't he cut it in term one, right? He was the president back then. He could have done the same fucking thing, but he didn't. These are all just worthless, empty talking points from worthless, empty talking heads that are just trying to like cut parts of the government because all they can do is destroy and they can't build anything.
Response.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty funny coming from someone who's a a self-described liberal, a self-described progressive, which can only exist on the back of a strong conservative society. Like exactly what you described, everything you just described is exactly what you're doing. And your position, again, a straw man of our position, because what you said was the same thing that I said, which is that yes, there
Wait,
might be
that
good
first part.
programs there. We
Like,
need to make
what does
sure
the
they're not
conservative
being
have to do with
wasteful.
anything?
That's the
What does the
same thing
conservative have to
that
do with
I
anything?
said. You just said it and called me a retard.
Wait, what does the conservative have to do with
show
anything?
you can't even follow the conversation
Circling around.
accurately.
You got-
All
you
you
got-
do
conservative
is
have to do with anything at the
and call me a retard. That's it.
What is the
I said the
conservative
exact
part?
same
Wait.
thing as you. The
What does
exact
the
same thing.
conservative? What does the conservative part at the beginning have to do with anything?
You're not to, because you said that all we can do is destroy things, when literally all liberalism is a cancer on conservatism. It can't exist on its own. There's nothing for it to make more liberal. Do you understand that concept? You have to have a
because
society
conservatism-
rejection of the monarchy in the
conservatism-
1700s.
for which to progress
Mhm.
before you can have progressivism, right?
Tell me where our
Right
culture
or
comes from.
no?
No. Where does our
No, you don't
culture
have to
come
have
from?
a society to progress before you can progress it.
Where does our conservatism does not give you a fucking society? What societies
You
do
have to
fucking
have a
conservatism give us?
You have to have a society for which to progress to have progressivism. That's what
No,
I'm saying.
shut the. I'm sorry. Am I arguing with Merriam-Webster right now and ChatGPT 2.5?
You don't understand this. It's fine. Here comes all the insults because
It's
you
historically
already lost the
illiterate.
No, I'm
debate. You're
asking
making
you-
my points for me.
Yeah,
Literally.
Keep going.
Okay.
Where
Hold on,
does our culture
you are
come?
making my
Keep
points. You're
going.
saying the
No,
exact
hold
same
on.
things.
Keep
The exact
filibustering.
same thing I'm saying.
Yep. Where does our culture come from? Liberals or conservatives? Who makes the movies? Who makes the music?
Yes, there are definitely more liberals in Hollywood. What does that have to do with?
More? Like 99 to 1,
Yeah,
right?
Of course. I'm not saying
Okay,
we need liberals and
sure,
conservatives.
that's
I never
fine.
said we
Okay,
didn't.
sure.
Again, it's a straw man.
Keep
It's a straw
filibustering.
man.
Keep filibustering. Who makes our money?
Calling
What
you
are our most prosperous cities?
saying that it's a straw man is not a filibuster.
Keep filibustering. Who are our
It's
most
not a
prosperous cities?
filibuster. It is a
Is it
straw
the red?
man. I'm not defending that
Yep,
argument.
keep going. Keep filibustering.
How is that a filibuster? I'm
Well, hold
responding
on.
to
It's
Who
not
are
a
the
filibuster,
Where is
but
all of
you-
our money
Can we-
made?
all
Where
right,
does our
can we-
economy come from in the United States?
Can we stay on the prompt here? If you wanted to have
That's what I
another
thought.
debate,
Okay.
we're
okay,
good.
because you have
Well,
to give the
well,
details because you
I'm not
can't.
satisfied with the answer.
You're making my points for me. Literally,
Well,
I'm debating
what do you
you. I'm
think?
debating the moderator. I'm
claim
debating
that
your
gut
chat. I'm
culture is
debating
Well,
Google.
there's a
and
reason.
I'm a retard. As you
Well, there's-
make my points.
Well, there's a reason
Sure.
why we're having mass migration to places like Texas, like Y'all Street becoming a thing because terrible Democrat policies are pushing economic prosperity into
Hold on.
Republican-led
Admiral
areas.
Gibbs, where are you from?
I'm from Texas, obviously.
Where are you from? What city?
I live in, well, technically I live in a small-ass town, but I live in San Antonio.
Okay, you live in a small-ass town outside of San Antonio. Do you think that people that are moving from San Francisco to fucking Austin are moving to Texas?
I would say, yeah, they're moving to Texas for the economic boom, like the tech
The
boom.
fuck
yeah.
out of here!
What-
It's fucking retarded. It's
wait.
the gayest. It's like the second gayest city
Wait,
on the
you-
fucking on in the United States of
I'm not
America.
arguing.
You're
I'm not
telling me all these people that are moving to Texas. Nobody's moving to Texas. They're moving to fucking Austin, bro. Which is San
Sure.
Francisco like. Get the fuck out of here.
I
Oh,
would
they're
agree
gonna
with
come to
that. I would
Texas
agree with
for all
that.
of our
Hold on.
conservatism. My God.
Sure. Hold on. Well, how come San Antonio is also one of the biggest leading cities in the United States right now, like for growth? How about Houston and Dallas also being
For
on that
Growth?
list?
Because when you start with a population of 57,000, you can only go one direction, which is up. Congratulations.
You know, San Antonio is like the 8th, like 15th biggest city in the United States. It's like a massive city, over 2.8 million people. Yeah, so
Nice.
good try there. Yeah, I mean, it's not.
San
You can
Antonio,
Google
is that a red? Hold on, is that a red city or a blue city? Just curious.
I'm
There are a
sure
lot of
it's a blue
conservatives.
city. I'm
Yeah,
sure it's a
okay,
blue
thank you.
city.
Gotcha.
I mean,
All
yeah,
right,
yeah,
okay.
that's a good one. Hold on, but that's like once again, you're talking about the city
All
making money, but
liberals.
who's making
All
the money in the
liberals.
city?
All liberals.
It's not liberals. It's not.
It
Liberals. So Elon Musk is a liberal now.
He was, yeah. Didn't he hate Trump and everything
okay.
before Trump got into office? He had to suck up to him to get funding for all of his stupid projects, right?
So well, then why do you all hate him now? So it's either he's a liberal or he's a conservative or he's on the right lean. I agree that he's a populist, right? I would agree with that sentiment. But like the point is, they vote red right now. If you're an
You
Elon
agree that
guy,
we
you
shouldn't be
probably vote
wasting
red.
money on like South African refugees, right? That's like a total waste of
Sure,
money, right?
I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, kind of weird that Elon Musk was pushing Trump for that, and now we're.
Well, I mean, we know why he was pushing for it. He's South African, you know. I mean, listen, hold on. I think you and I would both agree that you're going to look out for your people. I don't know what your people are. I know my people are, right?
Are you saying Elon Musk has a greater allegiance to South Africa than he does to the United States of America?
No, but you want to help out people that you are like related to.
Oh, okay. But then isn't he kind of like helping out South Africans at the expense of the United States of America after all this USAID cut being so important?
I would agree. I don't want to fund that either. What's your point? I mean, I think it's reasonable. I think it's reasonable though, as Elon, to want to go and do that though. Like I don't think it's unreasonable.
I guess look, the reason that we are going to different areas than just strictly USAID, and I just want to explain this a little bit, is because the arguments that you bring up require us to do so. If you bring up that you can't have a culture or you can't have a civilization without conservatism, we have to be able to address that. And yes, addressing that won't be the prompt, but you did bring it up, thus making it something that we should and can discuss. I guess the question to you, Mr. Andrew, how can you conserve something without a society already existing? Like, obviously, you can't progress a society without the society existing. But you can't
I was
conserve it
only
either.
responding to him saying that we like making the claim about us. I didn't bring it up. I was just pointing to him saying that all we do is destroy things when his side is the side of literally anarchy and George Soros and Antifa. Saying that we destroy things is hilarious. But this isn't the prompt, so I'm not going to debate it. If you want to do that, we can debate it with the specific prompt that we're prepared for. That's why Destiny's trying to do this, because he's making the same.
You brought it
points
up by
as me.
calling him a liberal, so you're lying again.
Okay, but I could just go back to the point before that. Like, why is everything I say a lie to you? It's not a lie. I'm actually being good faith.
It is
People in your chat are telling me to self-delete and calling me a retard. So you don't have the moral high ground here by any means.
I mean, this is not a gotcha. Hold on, this is not a gotcha. I mean, I don't know what you identify as. She's right. Destiny, do you identify as a liberal? I don't know how you identify. Like, I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. So he wasn't lying then. Like, what was your point there? She's right. Like,
take that back.
Well, because he was saying it was not about like making it about liberalism when he brought it up again, and then he was refusing blame for that when it backfired again. He's done that.
It was a response. It was a reaction to something that he said.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see. $5 from Robert Paulson. OMG, we have already doubled in Iran what was supposedly saved from cutting USAID. This guy is definition of a bad faith actor. Do you want to address that?
I'm honestly trying to be good faith here. I'm hoping maybe Destiny, the moderator, my partner, even She's Right, sees that. I'm not lying. I'm trying to be honest. That is the truth.
I mean, like, this is why, if the way that a good faith person would approach cutting something like USAID is that, one, they would recognize there's a difference between ideological disagreements and like actual waste, fraud, and abuse. That's the first step. If we can't see the difference between that, then that's just crazy. Number one.
I did say that.
Okay. And then the second thing is that if we're giving the principal reason as cutting USAID as helping the debt or the deficit, when every other policy that this administration that you support seems to like push for, and all of that increases the debt and the deficit. And then when we look at USAID and we look at some programs at least that I think most people around the planet would think are good, and we're like, we should cut those too, without even trying to see if there's a way to make it more efficient, then it seems like this is just like an ideological lines-driven thing that it has nothing to do with like the amount of people say, like, even if we could show like, 100 million people got saved by PEPFAR, it sounds like that wouldn't be acceptable. You'd just say, I don't care, we should cut it. It's not our responsibility or obligation.
I said to you, we need to verify where the money is going. I said, I'll give you PEPFAR. Can we get rid of all the DEI and transgender and LGBT stuff for now? I even said for now. I said, I don't want anybody to die. I'm not trying to cut things. I'm saying I don't want to just burn the money. And I'm only talking about this money because that's the prompt. If we want to talk about other monies, I will take the same attitude. I'm not being bad faith. I'm doing exactly what you just said, Destiny.
But you have characterized it as burning the money, and you never substantiated
all of this money has like is correct.
Check.
If you want, it is checked. It already is. It's government money. Government money has the most fucking strings attached to it than any money on the fucking planet. Like, what do you mean? Do you think they literally just like deposit money to a person's bank account and then that's it?
Yes.
Okay.
Literally, all of the overhead of USAID, which is usually criticized in good faith, is it's inefficient with its administrative overhead. We need to find smarter ways to hire people at a cheaper rate to be doing that oversight. By supporting gutting USAID, you are actually getting rid of the people who would be checking.
No, so you don't understand how logic works. I got you to agree with my premise.
I do.
My premise, right? What was my premise, Destiny? That this is an existential threat. Therefore, it cannot be, things can't be two things at once. It can't be detrimental to our interest to remove things from that are not national security interest. It's very simple. You guys can keep strawmanning the argument.
If you want to play a logic game, if you want to play a logic game, a premise in and of itself is not an argument. And you can't
I just gave you the conclusion.
Yes, one premise and one conclusion It's not an
You can
argument. That's
go
just a
deeper. I've been
tautology.
trying to do it the whole time. You're just straw-manning me.
If you want to go deeper, then you would generally talk about the magnitude of your costs, okay?
I have them
If I
listed.
live-
You want every time I go through, you say that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. I said
No,
2
it's not-
million Guatemalan sex
I'm not
changes,
talking about the
1.5 million advancing
Let me
diversity.
know when you're done
in Serbia.
filibustering. All right.
It's not filibustering.
It
I'm
is a
going
filibuster.
over the
I'm telling you that
programs.
the problem is not the cost inside of the random
just-
2 million.
So what was the first
Don't
thing you
filibuster.
just
Keep
said there?
filibustering.
What
Keep
was the
filibustering.
first thing you just
Keep
started with
filibustering.
there?
Keep filibustering.
What was the first? Can you repeat the
Go
first
ahead.
thing?
I haven't even finished my sentence from it, so you
What
don't
was
even
it
know.
starting over?
If you want to talk about the debt or the deficit, then you would talk about the magnitude of how much different things are costing us. And when the entirety of USAID is anywhere from 30 to 50 billion a year, and the Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is like fucking 300 to 600 billion a year, it makes it weird to say we got to go into the USAID cuts to help us with the debt and the deficit when no one is even talking about the other stuff. That's a very weird thing.
What Destiny's trying to do, because he can't find the
Oh my
flaw in the
God.
actual logic that I'm laying out, is he's trying to whataboutism. He's pointing to something else that's not the
No,
prompt.
it's not.
He's saying, yes, this is a definition of whataboutism.
It
Why
literally
aren't
is
you
not.
bringing this up over here when I'm giving you a logical argument that if you already agreed to my premise that this is an existential threat, you can't argue with the logic that we should be trying to cut it down. You basically said that yourself. And since USAID is the prompt, that's what I'm focused on. It's not because because I want people to die or I don't like babies.
What is the
getting
existential
AIDS
threat?
care.
What is
It's
the
because it's
existential
the fucking
threat?
prompt.
What is the existential threat?
You already agreed to it, dude. You agreed that it was. So
what
are
is
you-
the
Just hold on.
I'm
Just
asking
elaborate
everything.
why you feel. Hold on. Stop, both of you.
No, I'm just asking, what is the existential
Yes.
threat?
You already agreed to it.
I'm just asking, what is the existential
So do
threat?
you
I'm
not
asking.
agree to it now?
You're
You're trying to double back.
We've
and
agreed to
you're-
it to be nice
you're
because we
Hold
had
on.
an actual
Hold on.
conversation,
The
but it is a
existential
conclusion
threat
you've not proven.
is the national debt. Is that correct?
Yes. Correct. Cutting
Yeah.
USA doesn't do much to alleviate that. That's why this
Doesn't
isn't
do
the
much,
syllogism
but it
you
does
think it is.
something.
Especially,
Doesn't
mind
do
you, when
much.
cuts to USAID are meant to go to
It's
those checks and not, in fact, to lowering the debt. So that money would still be flying out of the government. Remember
So,
that?
Okay.
So
Again,
look,
what
So
about
it wouldn't
is
affect the deficit. It would not lower the deficit
would if
if it would be
you
going to
do the
those
thing
checks,
that you
which,
just
by the way, it
smuggled
hasn't.
in.
So it
You
wouldn't
just
even be
smuggled
reducing
in
that.
another part and said, "Oh, well, now it doesn't affect it."
Okay.
If you didn't smuggle that in,
If
then
I-
it would.
if
What I'm
I
saying
go
is
on
you
a,
have to
if
cut
I say I'm
things
going
where
on a
you
diet,
can.
let me just ask this: if I say I'm going on a diet, then you see me going to Pizza Hut, I order 2 large pizzas for myself, right? I get wings, I get cheesy bread, and then I say, well, you know what? I'm going to order a Diet Coke. Would you consider me being serious about my diet? Am I taking the diet seriously?
I'm making a prescriptive claim about what we should do, not a descriptive claim. Why are you laughing? It's not a
It doesn't even
descriptive
make
claim.
sense here. What do you
It's
mean?
not a descriptive claim about everything that's happening with the money. I'm making a prescription for overseas funds. If you have a problem with that logic, then you can bring it out. But deflecting to something else is just moving the goalpost, dude. We're not talking about that. That wasn't the prompt, was it?
No.
No, you can't win on the prompt. I understand that.
But hold on. You understand that, again, in many cases, us donating or giving money to these struggling countries makes it more likely in the future that they will give us good trade deals, positive trade deals, which would make us what?
I would need
money.
I would need you
It
to.
would make us money. And we
If you want to look
export.
into it, that's what the Reagan
You can make
administration
that claim.
did.
We
A lot of people
export-
love to
demonstrate
criticize
that. You can
Look up-
make
look
that
up the
claim.
Reagan
That's
era
not
of
argument.
Since
The
the okay, I'll demonstrate it.
giving
I'll
us
just
a
demonstrate it
Here's
real
the
quick for
review.
you using
Here's
your
the
own logic.
review. You have to
He doesn't
Sure, sure.
demonstrate it.
I'm doing that right now. If
You're not even one of the debaters. Why are you demonstrating the argument?
because
Honestly,
I like
I'm
to
just asking.
play. I like to talk. I have these
No,
discussions.
but let them demonstrate an argument.
Support education funding abroad and at home.
That's the argument.
No, that's not the argument. The argument is since it was founded in the 60s, we have grown immensely in wealth and power, and that is partially in part because of the USA program. It hasn't hurt us. It has only helped.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I
why I
would
was saying
argue- I would
logically
argue against
cutting.
Go ahead, Gibbs. You can take it.
Yeah, I would argue against this actually. I mean, and then here's an evidence. So this is actually from the House.gov. You can look this up. It's USAID's Troubling Ties Left Start Money Network. Testimony for the Subcommittee on Delivery of the Government Efficiency, the Committee of Oversight, yada, 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 by Tyler O'Neill. This is from February 26, 2025. And they go in here and they list a lot of these things like that we've already talked about. Examples, 1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, inclusion in Serbia, workplaces, exploiting advance human rights, social inclusion, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex in Guatemala, 250 million for climate finance development accelerator, mobilize, all these things. And then they go on to how later in this document, how there's ties to some of these. They're saying, oh, well, we deny ever giving money back or doing this. But then there's evidence that they do it of things of like suppressing actively these regimes, specifically in South America, where they go and attack and they repress people that are opposed leftist ideology. And they're using the United States money to fund oppression. Now, I don't want to fund oppression, right? And then this goes back to my point earlier about, hey, we are now making a lot more deals with all these countries in South America. We have much more favorable governments. I don't think it's good to have governments that are pro-communist groups or pro-China on the close to our hemisphere, right? And now we're pushing them out. And these are all things that USA has enabled, according to this document that was presented. And so I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm going, hey, I see this all the time. And I think the evidence speaks for itself. We cut USAID and seven countries switched in their newest election from left to right and populist pro-American regimes. This is a good thing. Do you think a populist, openly pro-American regime is more likely to make a deal with the United States than a country that's siding actively with China and other socialist countries? Yeah, obviously. So when you're saying it's helped us, I would argue that's debatable. Maybe at one point it helped us, but I think it's become so corrupted that it's not helping us.
Sure. Why do you think China uses its Belt and Road initiatives?
Absolutely.
Why do you think it does that? Why do you think it has that program?
I think they do it for the same reason that you would argue the USA. I absolutely believe in soft power. I just believe how it's been done has been done poorly. Now, when you're sitting here saying with China, there's a reason why China is now having a rubber band kind of effect in some of these African countries, because now they're having Chinese businesses there. And some of these African countries are very upset because now they have foreign businesses taking jobs from people there. That sounds kind of familiar, right? So like we're having this issue repeatedly on a global scale where this like liberal idea of this liberal world order is kind of failing. It's being progressed with a multipolarity, like hemispheric order of like Russia and China getting their spheres, NATO and Africa kind of developing theirs, and the United States getting our hemisphere, right? And so that's what I'm seeing right now. And I'm saying I think USAID has failed in the long run. It maybe helped the short term, but it's gone now.
Okay. Well, gang, we've kind of circled the drain a little bit, and we are a little out of time. It's 8 o'clock, so I'm going to give every one of these individuals a chance to have closing thoughts, closing statements, final arguments, and tell people where they can find you. I have links to all their channels in my YouTube description. Please click them. Please give them a follow. Please give them a sub. All these things. I see your super chats. We're going to get through them. They can stay if they'd like, and I'd like them to. And I see you callers want to call in as well, and you can absolutely call in if you'd like. But when you need to go, I understand. I'm going to give the mic first to Destiny. I'm going to let Mr. Andrew have the last word. Destiny, make your closing thoughts.
I mean, if you're not going to trust anything the government says for any of their own tracking or accountability things, but you are going to trust when Doge says they've cut things, I don't even know how you begin to have the conversation about whether or not USAID has been efficient or done anything. I don't know how to have those arguments where somebody doesn't trust any of the government accountability offices or any of the reporting. I mean, there's whole sites you can go to look up like all of this stuff. I wish that people knew what waste, fraud, and abuse actually was. I don't blame conservatives for not, because they were also tricked into thinking that Trump is a good businessman, and so they trusted him when he talks about waste, fraud, and abuse, even though he's a terrible fucking businessman. Yeah, I don't know. I just get sad to be kind of like locked into ranked fives when half the team apparently wants to int. It's pretty obvious that our standing in the world has gone like pretty severely down since Trump took office, but I don't know. People are in some massive cope denial about that, and we'll continue until we get a Democrat back in office, I guess.
Okay, thanks for being here. She's right.
Yeah, since the 2025 cuts to programs like USAID, there have been approximately 263,000 adult deaths and 518,000 child deaths. On its own, I think beyond many material means, America should be leading as like a moral leader on the world stage to show everyone what a government should be about when you have the opportunity. Domestically, that's Social Security. Globally, that's USAID. It should be cool. We want to lead the way and just show the world what it's like to be good and awesome. You should sign up to vote at vote.org and be ready for November, because together we can reduce the deficit and save lives by the millions.
Thank you for being here. Links to all their channels again in the YouTube description. Gibbs, please.
First, thanks to my opponents for the time. Appreciate y'all having me here. Wait for hosting the discussion. Yeah, I mean, in closing, listen, I think this is all part of Trump's Don Road auction, modern Fortress America take, where he's trying to rebuild an American empire or set us up further going forward in the era of multipolarity. If you want to check that out, I've done some videos on it. It's fantastic. I really like the foreign policy he's doing. I know that a lot of people here think it's mean, but I think the era of neo-imperialism is over, and I think it's time to return back to imperialism. I think that's just what's going to happen. It's the natural state of things. As far as what I got coming up, hey, the July 24th in Dallas, I will be hosting and emceeing GridCon 2. It's going to be good stuff. Y'all are all welcome. Everybody come join and check it out. I think it's free to come to the event, and we have like room for 200 people. Should be food and lots of exciting debates. Hope to see y'all there. Thank you for having me once again.
Check it out, gang. And Mr. DragonFist TV, aka Andrew, go ahead.
Yes, like my partner said, thank you, Alice. Thank you, Destiny. Thank you, Wick, for hosting. I do appreciate it. In closing, I'll just say, Destiny never quite got my argument right until maybe the end. He was making the same points I was, which is, and then deflecting. Just their whole argument was, well, why don't you care about this over here or that over here? And then at the end there, Alice tried to bring in the dead children argument, which I cited in the beginning as this is just emotional blackmail. Of course, like, look at them. They want dead children. Of course, we don't want that. But like I said, left-wing outlets were reporting dead children before they realized the money hadn't stopped yet. So if that doesn't tell you who's trying to pull the wool over your face here, I don't know what to tell you, but you guys can look that up. We're talking about CNN, BBC, the AP, and Reuters, at least, reporting child deaths before the money even stopped. So at that, I'll leave it there.
No, thanks for being here. Let's bring some callers in and see what they have to say. Hello, you're live. Oh, you are deafened. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Hello, how's it going? Can you just give me a second here?
Yeah, take your time. It's not like you're live or anything, and we're waiting on you. Okay.
Hi.
What do you got?
I've been watching. I've been taking notes. I've got a few questions here. So real quick for Gibbs and it's DragonFist, right? Yeah, DragonFist.
Yes, sir.
If you guys want to pay down the debt, do you want to raise taxes? Because that's one great way to pay down the debt. It's more taxes.
Just before Dragon's to be clear, the debt is bad. This is not my argument at all about the USAID thing. So no, I don't want to raise taxes. But go ahead.
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yeah, both of you. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, again, if you want a comprehensive plan for exactly how to pay down the debt, including domestic policies, we can come back and have another debate on that. But like trying to get me on things that I didn't prepare for this debate specifically is not a good tactic. I'm only talking about the prompt here.
Well, I mean, I won't hold you to it. I'm just wondering, would you be okay with raising taxes in general?
I would be okay with looking at all options, as I really do believe it's an existential threat.
Okay, fair enough. Gibbs, this is more for me personally. Why did you link the taxpayer-funded orgies story to the Senate gay sex video scandal when they're not exactly related stories?
The VA one?
Well, no, because there was that one. It went viral in right-wing spaces back in 2023 of like some twink dude getting butt fucked in the Senate chamber. And I didn't bring that up.
I didn't bring that up. He brought up the chamber. I brought up the VA story, which is a story I brought up when I was on Tim Pool talking about Doge with somebody else. So it is a recurring theme for Papa. Because listen, if anybody's going to have an orgy that taxpayers are paying for, it's going to be fucking me, not these people.
Okay, fair enough. I just wanted to. Maybe I heard that wrong. So fair enough. Here, okay. I'm gonna share something with you.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Just give me a minute, okay? Here. So. Where's my thingy? Here, you guys can probably see my my feed, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like this is the total spending in 2022 of the American government. You know that foreign aid was only 1% of it, right? Like it's not that big of a deal. If there's a lot more things to cut, and foreign aid is Gibbs left. That fuck. He left when I come with facts. I can't believe it. But yeah, so it's just 1%, right? Like it's kind of tiny. And if you were going to look over it, like what does it, if you look at it, there was a huge peak here and around COVID times. I'll zoom in on that again. So there's a pretty big peak in USAID spending, but for the most part, it's remained pretty steady and pretty low. So there's actually not much money going out in terms of USAID.
I heard you.
Now, okay. Welcome back. The majority of USAID is going to Ukraine, or was going to Ukraine, which hopefully we can agree is a decent cause. I know you guys talked about
these guys wouldn't 100%.
Hold on. Well, let's ask him. Hold on. Let's ask him. Do you think it was good or in America's interest for us to give money to Ukraine?
I absolutely do think there was a bit.
Okay.
Listen, I am.
What about the other gentleman here, DragonFist?
I prefer supporting Ukraine than I do to supporting Israel, to be honest. But I honestly, I think I take a more isolationist approach, man. I think we should get out of all foreign entanglements until we get things under control at home.
Okay.
Yeah. The problem with the USAID thing, like I said, we just had a congressional.
They just use the bathroom.
Where they were just talking about, like, literally, we have people on record allegedly now under the congressional oath saying that they have evidence of the Bidens being in cahoots with getting money funding that they were giving the USAID to come back over here. And I just mentioned another article.
Not true. None of that is true.
Well, you know, it's under congressional oath. So, I mean, I didn't make the claim. Somebody did under oath, under the Congress. Now, y'all are just talking about what we can trust. If you can't trust people under oath in Congress, what can we really trust, you know?
Well, the majority of USAID has gone to Ukraine so far. Now, if we're talking about waste, fraud, and abuse, did you see this story where there was a whole bunch of food that was sitting around in warehouses in Africa? You couldn't take it back because it would cost too much to bring back to America. And because of what Trump did to USAID, it just rotted, all right? Sure. So we had 60,000 tons of food that could have fed, I think, 3.5 million people for a month. Like even if you want to cut waste, fraud, and abuse, even if you think that this shouldn't be happening, it's already there. Why not hand it out?
Listen, I'm not going to argue that. Listen, it's already been allocated for it. I agree. It should be handed out. I'm not saying everything's been done perfectly, right? But whenever you have mass changes, like, once again, I'm not making the argument that DragonFist is about, the debt, we need to pay down. All this is like, listen, I want more efficiency. I don't necessarily want it for the funding the debt kind of shit, right? I'm talking more about efficiency, like in using our power the right way, like a scalpel, right? So this, I agree. Maybe it should have been handed out. It's already over there. You should give it to the warlords. I don't give a shit. It's going to go to waste, whatever. But I don't like when you have this kind of thing and you are cutting these programs and having a major transition, you are going to have incidences like this where stuff goes to waste. And like in the short term, in the long term, you're going to gut it and it's going to be better overall. That's generally how this works in most businesses. And I would assume with the bureaucracies in the United States, it'd be similar.
Do you have a response, Dragon? Then we're going to bring on another caller.
Oh, shit. Wick, I got more.
I know you got more, but we got have you seen my backstage? Okay. And
I have seen it. Yes, I have seen it.
Okay.
I have seen it.
Any response, DragonFist? You're muted.
He just went to the restroom.
Oh, he just went to the restroom.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, then, here, just real quick, I do want to point out that the reason we even know that this story even happened, is because a person who whistleblowed on the Trump administration, who was eventually fired for it. Trump fired this person for revealing this information, so that kind of looks bad in the administration. However, like, I'm sure you've seen this, right? The fact that Democrats seem to do way better with the deficit than Republicans. Like,
that was mentioned.
Yeah. So like Republicans spend a whole bunch, and then Democrats kind of spend less and try to right the ship, and then Republicans spend even more. Here's Bill Clinton bringing it above into the green for the first time. Bush spends like crazy. Obama saves. Trump spends like crazy, and then Biden saves.
Like both sides, like Clinton and Bush Senior really aren't that far apart in policy. Like Bush Senior, a lot of those policies economically carried over. So it's the same argument Dim's made. Oh, Trump inherited the Biden economy. He took like the good and got rid of the bad, right? Like, I mean, that's the same argument I would make with Bush Senior and Trump, even though not Trump, but with Clinton, because I mean, remember that's the economy stupid. That was what got him in there. And then as soon as he got in, he kept
Iraq and Afghanistan was the same. Hello, that was a Republican-led mission.
That's Bush W, not Bush Senior, but. Sure. I
mean, I guess my point.
But hold on. Once again, I'm not arguing about the spending. I would argue now, 20 years later, the Ba'ath Party being gone from Libya, Syria, and Iraq as a benefit. We don't have a country that's going to increase the gold standard in Africa and have one unit currency. We don't have the port access to Syria would have provided to Iraq from the other side to the Mediterranean, or their military power with Iraq, Libya, and them combined. And we don't have Saddam's oil backing them. So yeah, I think to get rid of the Ba'ath Party and turning them into ISIS, which was weaker than the Ba'ath Party across 3 countries, is a good thing. And then when ISIS got dominated, guess what? That's even better because now they're even smaller factions.
$50 from Frenzified, and you can, guys, if you want to skip the super chat line, just pay me $50 or more, and I'll just do that. Frenzified for $50 to say she's right. Cool, thank you. $50 from That Blue Falcon. Great panel, Wick. Well, thank you. Please ask the conservatives why they think Russia was the biggest proponent of ending U.S. aid if it wasn't beneficial to U.S. geopolitical interests. And he wants the $50 answer. So go ahead.
What proof does he have that Russia is the big, like, one, I don't want to do the biggest thing. Like, that's kind of a douchebag thing to do, but like, I don't see any evidence that they're the ones who wanted to get rid of it. I'm once again, USAID has been restructured under the State Department. The State Department is giving it out. We're doing much more transactional stuff with USAID. We're doing deals with Rwanda is a good example. That Rwanda's taking over French contracts and NATO contracts to be like military power in the region. They're projecting power for us. Like, there was all sorts of stuff. Malaya is doing stuff with us. I like over and over and over again. I think that the restructuring has been necessary and overall good. Sometimes it's just good to clean out the rot. DragonFist, did you want to answer that? Because it's a $50 one.
Well, I mean, again, there's no evidence that that's the case. So I don't want to speculate as to like who made that statement. Like, was it officially the Russian government? Like, I don't know the answer.
Hold on, how do you know there's no evidence that that's the
Well, I mean,
case?
also, doesn't Russia and China
Well, I
like to
didn't
see
hear
us
any
become more
official
isolationist,
statement that
right?
was their position.
Russia and China like to see the U.S. become more isolationist, right? They all favor that, no?
Again, who's they all? I would have to see
Russia
an
and
official
China.
statement
Russia and
from.
China.
Is there any statement from any government official saying that, or you're just
Well,
assuming
sure,
that
Putin
based on
tried
their
to-
global position, they should want that?
Well, I mean, one, we can look at the fact that Putin heavily tried to influence the 2016 and 2020 election in favor of Donald Trump. No? Yes?
Well, here's a statement from
wait,
Maria Zakharova.
Wait, real quick. Wasn't the whole Podesta hacks, the DCC hacks, those were Russian operatives, right? The Guccifer leak was Russian operatives. Did they hack any Republicans? No, they didn't, right? It was all just Democrats, right? So that was the Russian position. The state Russian position was to leak shit to try to make the Democrats look bad so that Donald Trump would win the election instead of Hillary Clinton, right?
I mean, that would be like saying if you did something for a specific objective, that was the position of all Americans. It certainly wouldn't be the position of me, right? Or Donald Trump.
I'm sorry, when we say
But
Russia,
they
that's
would say
shorthand for
Americans did it,
Moscow.
right?
Keep filibustering, keep filibustering, keep
So
filibustering,
no,
keep
the
filibustering,
logic
keep
doesn't
filibustering,
follow.
keep
No,
filibustering.
the
When people say
logic doesn't
Russia,
follow.
they mean like Moscow or the Kremlin. It's shorthand for
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm
leadership
asking
in
if
that
there's an
country.
official statement. I don't know. You're asking me to
Well, I'm
agree
telling
to
you.
something.
I'm telling
Oh
you.
my
I'm telling you.
fucking
Yes. Russia welcomes
official
USAID cuts,
position?
calls agency a machine for interfering. And this was from Maria Zark. Look, I'm never going to pronounce these names, man. Look,
Yeah, that's
one of
fair
their ministers, right? They directly said this. This is something that they wanted, they called for, they advocated for, and they wanted it to happen. And you can understand why they would, because some of it was going to Ukraine.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
But again,
Yes.
that would be like saying AOC made a statement. That doesn't mean it's the position of the American government at this time.
Hold no, he is
AOC is a
okay.
member
He is
of
the
our
foreign
parliament,
minister.
not a minister.
Right. I don't know that specific case. You said one of the ministers.
Okay, you asked for evidence. I gave
you.
you evidence.
Okay, so what is it that you want me to agree to?
Okay, so the
That you think
question
is
was
some win
why?
here?
It was a question. Why do
Yeah.
you think if USAID isn't in our interests, why do our enemies, such as Russia and China, want us to end it?
Again, I didn't say that there's no beneficial programs in USAID. That was never my claim. I said we need to look at them and evaluate the merit. Where is the waste? Yes, I know it might be political, what I think is waste and what you think is waste. We went over that. But I never said there's not one single thing in there that we should keep. Actually, I said quite the opposite. I even conceded to say, like, we can maybe keep the AIDS prevention and cut some of the other stuff. So I was never on that position. So I'm not going to defend it.
Sure. But I don't think the
I'm
other
not saying
side
that
was...
it's not possible that there's something
Sure.
in USAID, one thing that's in our interest.
Yeah, but I don't think... Hold on. I don't think the
never said
position of
that.
the other side
That's
is
an
don't
absolute-
cut anything ever from USAID. If you can show USAID is engaging in actual fraud, waste, and abuse, I think everyone would be okay with cutting that. Am I incorrect in your position here?
No,
That's
everybody
my
be okay with that.
position.
Yeah.
We've come to an agreement. Now we just have to agree on what waste, fraud, and abuse is.
Okay, fair enough.
That's the whole point.
Okay.
I know.
Okay. Well, here,
That's
hold
why I
on a
said-
second.
I
I
get that.
actually,
Yes,
yeah, I gotta ask this. So, you two, you guys actually think that like Doge was overall a good thing?
I like Doge, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Just real quick then. Did you guys hear about John Solly, like one of those tech bro kids in Doge, who a whistleblower basically caught him stealing Social Security data
And
of
so,
millions of Americans? Is that not really bad? Is that not really fucking bad?
That's bad, sure. Yeah, but listen, who is this? John Sully? Is that his name?
John Sully is a guy
John
who
Sully,
worked in Doge. Yeah.
He worked in Doge, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
you're saying one bad guy did something bad, and now you want to incriminate the entire organization. I mean, cool. In that case, like I said, I guess the SPLC, like I said, is actually the actual movement, the legal arm of the Nazis.
Well,
and
do you think that
I agree? One person bad indicts the whole organization.
Well, hold on, wait, Gibbs, hold on.
Operatives the whole
Hold
time.
on.
Thank you, Dev. I appreciate that.
Do you think this guy's going to face any charges for this?
No fucking idea. I'm not a lawyer.
$50.
Okay.
$50 from Oda Shara to say this. Preventative medicine is always a good thing, especially since we have U.S. citizens who go and visit other countries. USAID is just based. Thank you for that. It's not really a question, but thank you for the comment. Let me bring out another caller because we got people. Okay.
I'd put money on it. Okay.
Reason, you're live. Don't.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a completely different debate going on, but hopefully I can catch up with what you've been debating about. But the last thing I heard was that the pro-USAID guys were a little bit on the defensive. I don't know how much you've covered about like the positives of USAID up until this point.
Make your case quickly.
Okay. I mean, there's a bit of a competition going on, right? I mean, let's forget the morality of this. I mean, if you think about what's going on with China, I mean, I sent you some photographs, Wick. There's two pictures. I mean, maybe you can get the anti-USA people to tell the difference between the pictures of the two bags, for example.
Let me find the DMs.
Sorry.
Can you send them to me all as like one?
In the meantime, I'll say, for the positives, over the past year since the cuts, like the benefits of USAID funding and the differential, over 500,000 child deaths would have been prevented by USAID funding. Like it's I'll list USAID in the positive arguments are going to be it's getting rid of a negative problem, but yeah, 500,000 children, I think that's a W.
Let's forget about the morality. Let's say life doesn't matter. It sounds cruel, but I mean there are other aspects to it as well, right?
Well, that's just the default conservative position, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go with it. Sure, exactly. Let's play that game. Like we were talking about the Balkans before. I've been to Serbia quite a few times.
The picture's up, by the way. I did it myself.
Okay, can they tell the difference between the bags? I mean, you don't have to read Chinese to know what it says because it's also in English. Can you see what's going on there?
I don't see it.
This is as big as I can make it.
I mean, I can see it.
Oh, I can make it bigger. Never mind.
Are you guys
so spot the difference between the bags.
Yeah, USAID and China aid, yes.
Yeah. Which one do you think is like dominating in terms of the amount spent right now by who's spending the most in terms of soft aid?
Well, we are substantially. Like that is not even aid. China's
how much
as we are.
I mean, strictly soft aid. The US is spending about 2.5 billion right now, and China's spending about 10 billion. So I mean. China's winning that, arguably, but I mean, you brought up countries that hate the US. I mean, it's interesting you bring up ones in sub-Saharan Africa. That's where China's doing its best. And you brought up the Balkans, and Serbia is at the kind of, in terms of the information war, right at the forefront. I know this from personal experience. I've been there a number of times. I've got good friends of multiple generations, but mainly younger generations. And like, it's kind of clear, like you might want to think of it as a bit cruel, but as I say, let's forget the morality of this. The LGBT issue, right, is it supports a certain type of person in a country, and there's a big LGBT community in Serbia, and they'll be pretty happy to be supported in regards to that. If measures that kind of, they don't have to be super pro this, but at least nod their head to saying, hey, you exist, right? I mean, I'm sure you like to feel like you exist with something. If there's a cultural thing and there's a picture of someone that looks a bit like you feel included, right?
I'm actually, I want to break from this idea. I'm not proposing any anti-LGBTQ stuff at all. Like, I don't care. Like, listen, I understand the groups that some of them need protection from bigger powers. The argument that I'm making, and maybe this is the cool part of this, is like, when I look at these groups that we're supporting in, like, say, Serbia, right? It's not that necessarily the LGBTQ group doesn't need help. I'm sure they do, especially in an Eastern European country where they have, like, heavy Christian and heavy Muslim, like, contingents that probably frown out, look down on them, right? Here's my problem: is what's going to benefit us more efficiently? Is it going to be backing this group like the LGBTQ that's going to not have? Listen, I don't want to call them not manly, but the traits that generally exhibit are not going to be the guys going and doing guerrilla warfare. Which guy do you want to go and back? You want to go to
I mean, some of them are pretty burly guys. I mean, I wouldn't.
Sure. I'm not saying that at all, and I'm not a blanket statement. I'm just saying generally, you're going to want to back these people that are going to be able to get you most bang for your buck, right? Like, and I think that like when we abandon the Kurds, that's a fail. Like we've done this for multiple administrations. The Kurds have been very efficient with getting the job done in a lot of these countries that when they fought for us, and I think abandoning was bad. I think in Serbia it's the same thing. Who are we backing? Why would we back a group that LGBTQ, which is maybe it's a large group like in general, but they're not a large significant portion of the population. And as far as I know,
it's not a large part of the funding either, right?
They're also not going to be breeding and creating new.
Wait, just a
either.
Quick question for Gibbs. I'm just curious. Do you think that you have more in common in terms of what you want for America with like a bog standard Democrat or like a bog standard communist?
A box standard Democrat or a box standard communist? I would say probably a box standard Democrat. Yeah.
Why do you think all the commies are so happy to see USAID go?
Well, because they're happy about anything that they think they can spend. It's not necessarily a reason why they should be happy. Listen, they shouldn't be happy because they're losing ground in all these other countries now that USAID's gone. But
all of them seem to be happy about it. So
because it's hurting you. You're the liberal, right? And listen, nobody hates liberals and commies more than each other, right? And so they're happy that the liberal world order, is disappearing, and they think they can use this opportunity to gain power. I mean, I that's the way I see it. Conservatives do the same thing, right?
So doesn't it say something about you thinking that this is making America stronger when like America's greatest adversaries see the disappearance of things like USAID as a way for them to gain more influence?
I mean, I think that there's difference, though. I see it as a devastation of the liberal world order, which I think has hurt America overall and put us like on equal footing as opposed to putting us first, versus what I want, which is America first.
Hasn't America been like the leader of the free world for the past 80 years? How is
that? And things change. Do you agree that alliances need to change as like economic and world power situations change?
Aren't we still the leader of the free world? What changed?
Yeah. Well, I mean, these other countries, they used our military basically to go in there, and they basically funded that. They basically like said, hey, we don't have to fund our militaries. We have to do social programs all across, and NATO is the weakest it's ever been, right? Why would we not just make a direct deal with?
What's happened as a result of that? Is Europe getting ahead of the United States?
No, they hate us. In some ways, they hate us. They think that they're better than us. They look down on us like, oh,
who hates you? Who hates you?
A lot of Europeans do.
Give me an example.
I mean,
we feel sorry. We feel sorry for the loss.
Serbs hate us, sure, but I mean,
you threaten taking some of our territory. I mean, that tends not to be the friendliest thing.
The Chechens, do they
this
like
is an aside, but do you not have air conditioning, Reason Riffs?
I now have air conditioning. I've actually turned it off because it's cooled down here. Okay. I don't understand this far right talking point about the AC debate in Europe. It's frankly not happening.
It's just a typical. It's just funny to us that you don't like.
But there isn't a debate. It's just a question of like, can we get? There's not simply not being sold right now. That's part of the problem.
Wait. Why do you?
Anyway, we do got. Hold on. I do got to speed this up because I want to respect everyone's time. Reason Riff?
Because I haven't really got much time to talk, frankly. Do you not think that there's a value to allegiances? Serbia actually has turned westwards recently. Do you not think that any of the USAID influence in Serbia has played a role there? The Western Balkans is a really interesting region, like Montenegro. I don't know how much you know about the details and the demographics there. Moldova was there. I saw USAID actually in action. I saw the people on the ground in action with the communities there. Moldova, I think they've turned pretty westwards recently. Do you not think that's an advantage to the US, just on an economic front, and in terms of allegiances are pretty valuable,
sure.
no?
And I echo what DragonFist has already said. There's not necessarily not good programs in USAID, but they've been lumped into their State Department. The State Department's handling it directly because we think the USAID system has become corrupted and bad. I don't necessarily want all programs to stop that are helping us soft power, but I do want new oversight. And I don't care about. I know y'all are said, USAID was the oversight, but USAID I don't feel like was doing a good job. I can point to other examples, and I think that we need new oversight and a restructuring. And I think maybe some of these programs can continue or be expanded while getting rid of other ones.
Well, they're not continuing. They're cut. They're gone. I mean, you're spending like a quarter what China spends. Yeah, supposedly like your not just your enemy. I'd say to some extent Europe's enemy. I find it frankly scary that this soft power is undervalued in terms of global power. It's a nice way to do it. I prefer soft power to hard power. I'm sure we all agree with this, right?
It's a false dichotomy that we.
No.
Yeah, and it's a false dichotomy that if we support Serbia, we have to support DEI in their workplace. Like we could still cut that and support them in a different way.
Okay, so you want USAID,
but we don't support that one program doesn't mean that we don't support them as an ally.
So
we
at the
could
beginning, I
actually
got the
think that
impression you're
program
against
is
USAID.
hurtful. Maybe I think homogeny, not diversity, is the strong suit.
So you want
Maybe
more
it's like-
effective USAID, but you don't want less of it. That's great. I mean, because at the moment it's a lot less than China.
Wait, say that again. I
It
missed the
seems to-
beginning.
You want the same amount of USAID, just more effective, because at the moment it's less than China, which is, I think, is pretty concerning.
Well, I think we live in a more multipolar world, and if they have more influence in their hemisphere, like I said, I'm more of an isolationist. I'm not like
China spends $2 billion in sub-Saharan Africa on soft power. Are you not concerned by that?
But again, nothing that I said means that I'm not concerned about that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I don't think that everything's being allocated correctly, and I think anything that we can cut that isn't a national security issue for now, we take care of our own major issues that we have, so we can be more effective in doing all the things you're talking about in the future.
Doesn't
You'll
it
be
make
more
us
effective,
more
but-
isolated? Doesn't that make us weaker as a country? Like,
I'm saying that I think that we can rebuild and come back stronger.
Okay.
wait. What do you mean? Wait. When you say rebuild, though, like the thing that has
Get
made
things under
America
control, cut spending,
hold
all the things I
the
was
thing that
talking
has
about.
made America
I don't think
strong has
that
been the fact that we
diversity
have.
programs in Serbia or LGBT
You
I
keep
can read
making
off the
fun of
list.
these
I don't
diversity
think
programs
that
and LGBT
helps
things, but
us
every
in
single
any
country
way.
that's
I'm
risen
not
up as a strong country that hates
anti-LGBT.
all of this
If it
shit
was a
just appears
heterosexual
in a
program,
single
I would still
generation.
say cut it. If it was for heterosexual weddings in Serbia, I would
cares.
still
Okay,
say cut it.
Okay, you got to
You
let him respond.
understand?
You got to let him
Just
respond.
to be
understand?
clear, the commies
Not
like,
anti-LGBT.
outperformed you guys. The communists had more successful track records than you guys, who freak the fuck out when you see some gay shit. They did better than you. So I don't know.
And
what
I
you're
just
saying.
said it's not anti-LGBT.
I don't care about the LGBT shit.
Heterosexual. Are you listening? Are you paying attention to what I'm actually saying?
Yeah, repeat the same thing 7 times.
I actually have something that's related to this. I have a question.
Hold on a second. Let me just clarify. If
You're
it was
not
for
clarifying. You're repeating the same
heterosexual weddings,
shit a million
if it
fucking
was for
times. We know.
heterosexual weddings,
No comic books. We got it. No comic books. No comic books.
because you want to
We
call
banned the
me a
comic
bigot.
books.
I'm not a bigot. I'm not a bigot.
Okay,
If it was for
okay.
straight comic books,
Okay,
I
No,
okay.
would
you're
say
not.
got
cut
it.
You
We
were
got
thinking
it.
it would be
Straight
better. You're
comic
just
books, you can cut
retarded.
it.
We get it.
Cut the straight comic books. Cut the straight initiatives. You
Okay,
can
we got
cut
it. We got it.
them
We got it. We
all.
got it. We got it. We got it. We got it. We got
Okay,
it.
so
We got it.
just real quick. So I understand
Stop
that
trolling.
that DragonFist and Gibbs, you guys aren't bigots. They're not doing this for some ideological reason. For you, it really is all about the waste, fraud, and abuse. Okay,
It's about destroying America.
I want to show you this. I just want to show you this because Doge is in fact ending on July 4th. That's how long the mandate was for Doge, and it just came out today, in fact, that the Trump administration will not be doing a Doge after action report. They have no intention of actually revealing what Doge has looked into, what Doge has cut. There's going to be no accountability for what's happened with Doge. Does that not bother you at all?
Have they not already revealed things they've cut?
No.
How is that not a fair question, Destiny? Because they're
Because you
not
don't even
reporting
understand
anything
what
that
he's
they cut.
asking.
Have they
It's an
reported
auditing.
things that
Oh,
they
sorry, keep
cut?
filibustering. My bad. I thought you asked me a question. Go ahead, keep filibustering. Say the same thing
ahead,
7 times,
answer.
and I get 3 examples that are the same thing. Go ahead.
Answer.
Oh, I can actually answer? The reason why what you said was funny is because the job of the thing was to cut stuff. And when he asked you know how efficient it was, you said, well, didn't they cut stuff? An audit would be, how did the actual organization itself perform? Not, did they cut something? It's funny because you're not even understanding how to audit. The auditor means that you're
That's not what I
stupid
said.
to
I said,
evaluate
didn't they
whether or not the
report-
auditor audited anything. You're fucking
Dude, when you say
retarded.
it that way, but that's not what I said. I said, didn't they report things that they cut? My next sentence would have been for which to audit them. Like, you have to report it, right? Are you saying
Well,
that
the answer to that is no.
He said they did not do the audit. The audit's not happening. It didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Is it not a problem?
that's what I was
Wait,
asking.
hold on. Is it not a problem to you
I was
that
asking if they reported things they cut. Like, why
Right.
is that?
No,
They're not
the answer is no.
reporting anything.
Let me just really finish this real quick. So they're not actually revealing what Doge has done. They're keeping that quiet. The Trump administration is not doing a Doge after action report. Additionally, Doge is under the umbrella of the OMB, which is the Office of Management and Budget, which actually does this sort of government efficiency stuff. They're the office that looks into this. And in the 2027 budget that the Republicans are putting forward as what they want to fund next year, they are eliminating 1,000 jobs from the Government Accountability Office. And this came out, I think, a couple weeks ago. And it's in this bill here, which we're not going to go through because it's a huge bill. But the summary of it,
I want to go
says
through
that
line
they're-
by line with you. No, I'm just kidding.
it says that they're cutting 1,000 jobs from the Government Accountability Office. So how can you sit here and care about this topic and not know that the Republicans are actually doing far worse on it? They're cutting the office that is meant to be reporting on what Doge actually did. They're cutting the people who should be looking after all of this waste, fraud, and abuse.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
I
wait.
mean,
Can I ask you a question real quick? So
Well, no, real quick,
the
Alish,
funding.
I want them to answer that real quick. before
Okay.
you go-
All right.
jump
Sorry.
in,
Go ahead.
Alish.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yes, go ahead, guys.
You want me to take it?
Yes,
Well,
take it. Please go.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I would have to look into exactly the claims that you're making before I responded to it.
Assume they're true. Assume they're
are
true.
you asking how I feel about it? Is that your question? Like how I feel about the fact that they're eliminating jobs? There could be several. I mean, we know that they're done, right? Like they're no longer moving forward. So what are they supposed to do? Themselves be wasteful? That would also be pretty fucking stupid. Like if they're not operating anymore, of like why? What would be the logical conclusion then? Like, isn't this exactly what they should be doing?
Well, doesn't the Government Accountability Office need to exist going forward to examine future cases? Why are they cutting 1,000 workers from that?
well, this is my real question: is I first I don't particularly enjoy that I don't get an after action report. However, one good thing about having opposing parties is I'm sure that some of y'all are going to go and get them on something, and they're going to go before Congress. We're going to some testifying and seeing behind, or we're going to have committees doing that's part of the whole system anyway. So yeah, would I like them to give an after action report? Sure, but if I do worry, no, because I'm sure it's all going to come out. Secondly, yeah, I mean I don't mind them cutting 1,000 jobs. We're finding out there's inefficient stuff and redundancy all the time. I think this is a part of any business, and I hate this run the U.S. government like a business. But sometimes you do need to do this. I think bureaucracies, I have a big business, right? And one of the things that'll happen is you get too many paperwork, you have too many redundant people, and every so often you have to go in there and you light a little fire and you fire a couple people and you go, oh shit, we did need this person, we didn't need that person. You either rehire them at a higher rate, but now you can afford that because I fired 5 people that I didn't need and I just need the 1. And so you go and look and kind of go through. I think this is just kind of the process. I think that right here we're seeing, okay. Y'all been bitching about Doge getting expanded. Hey, now they're getting folded into this and they're cutting 1,000 people. You should be happy.
Okay, just real quick. This is the statement from the Appropriations Committee chair, and she said, "The Government Accountability Office is one of our most valuable tools to improve efficiency and effectiveness across the government. It is astonishing that for all the talk about finding and rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, House Republicans are cutting resources for the watchdog that is tasked with precisely that role."
Who's
This is the Appropriations Committee chair.
Okay. And so
we got to let other people in. Okay, I hate to cut off this back and forth, right? But Alish has a question. Go ahead, Alish.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, when was the last time Doge did an audit? So like when did they storm whatever building that they were going into and audited it? Nobody? Last year, maybe?
Well, do you want me to answer? Because I know, but I'm on your side here.
Yeah. Go ahead. You can answer it.
The last time that Doge did anything was like December of 2025.
Right. So December of 2025. So do you find it a problem that they've been funded since then to now and they haven't done anything? They're just sitting there not doing anything? Isn't that the definition of waste?
Well, one, like I said already previously, we already have Pete Hegseth and Caroline Levitt both have mentioned different things they've done at different times. They've mentioned.
I'm sorry, I said Doge, not those individual people.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. But they mentioned that Doge is the one that did this within their organizations. So yeah, I'm just one of those.
What did they cut? What did they cut since December? What have they cut since December?
I mean, one of them. Listen, you can go look up specifically. I know for the contracts was the Pete Hegseth one. I don't remember what Caroline Levitt said, but she mentioned like 8 different things. When some reporter asked her recently, I'm sure somebody can Google AI that. I'm sure that's a fine thing. But also, like, once again, this was supposed to be a short-term thing. And like, I find this conversation rich when you point this out. Oh, it's funded through this period of time. Whenever a Republican, this is really just like he pointed at the other guy and go, hey, what about them? Because we pointed out all these things that were like, hey, these are funded through this period and we can't do anything with them. And you're like, oh, well, you have to fund it. You have to do it.
This entire argument is a whataboutism. You understand that, right?
That's
you understand this entire argument. No. Because are you saying that the entirety are you saying that every single thing that Trump has done during this term has not been waste, fraud, and abuse? No, everything's been perfect. Everything. No, we've not wasted any money. Not a single dollar.
Hold on, let me just see if the ghost of Christmas Past is in here, because I've already bitched about several things just in this debate alone that I didn't like.
Right.
I'm
So
not,
why
I'm
are
not
we?
some diehard. I mean, like,
So let's take your complaint and then compare it to my complaint. So your complaint is what, like transgender books
that was not my
and
complaint. That's not my complaint.
it was a complaint that was brought up. Whatever bullshit complaint you brought up, it doesn't even compare to the type of shit that's been happening. I mean, like you have these no bid contracts that have been going on. Like you have like
I don't like that
they
either.
spent $220 million for ads for immigration. They've had ads being put up for all sorts of bullshit. Everything that Trump's done. You have, let's see, multiple things being cut. The Department of
Trump is
Education,
usually
the Department of
put
Science,
ads.
Medical Research, National Science
Trump,
Foundation, National
okay.
Institute of Health. Where did that money go?
Wait.
Also, what about all the
Wait, hold
what?
on. I don't want to. Once again, this is like you're talking about ads. Every government that in U.S. history that I can recall in my lifetime, when they push forth a program or a new agency has put forth ads to say, "Hey, let's sell the American public on this." That's just part of the budget for those organizations.
200. There already is there's a department already for that, and they paid a no bid contract to a different company to produce ads. You understand that, right?
Have they produced those ads?
Don't you know that there is the United States Digital Services that already exists? So why are we giving it 220?
If you want to talk about like a redundant thing, like the entire Doge program is redundant because, like, friend, you keep bringing up Hegseth. The Department of Defense has an Office of Inspector General. They already have that. That's what their job is. So the idea that you would add another auditor, especially by a guy who's too incompetent to even audit, I'm not aware. Actually, funny question. Here's a question. Can you point me to a single audit that Doge has done? A single audit they've produced?
I don't have that information. Sure, maybe they haven't been in the audit. So
wait, you know so many other things about all the. Is that kind of crazy to you? But the answer is none, by the way. They haven't because they can't. They're not capable of doing it. They're incompetent.
I mean, hold on. You did this last time when they said there wasn't trade deals, and you said that was a thing, and I literally
and there haven't been. That's true too. There aren't any trade deals.
There are trade deals. Once again, I just mentioned straight a Malacca deal. We have this deal with Indonesia now. Like these are deals that are passed already. Those are deals.
They're not.
They're
no,
done.
they're not.
The TRIPS plan isn't a thing. That's not a thing.
We just need 2 more weeks for the
agreement about like one tariff rate or whatever. No, that is not a trade deal.
No, that is not what the TRIPS plan is. But that's good. That's part of the encirclement of Iran thing, where we have Azerbaijan. We've guaranteed the safety and security of oil.
What are we encircling? The only thing we're encircling Iran in is giant bags of money. That's what we're encircling Iran in because everybody voted and they've never been in the history.
Okay, one last thing from Alice, and we gotta cycle you out.
Wait, what was the country? What was the country that we were insuring?
I can't hear.
Hold on.
You ever blocked or her volume turned down then?
Yeah. So, what is the? I'm sorry, I got
muted.
distracted. So, what country we're ensuring the security of a country? Is that what you said? Azerbaijan? Is that what you said?
No. We are ensuring that now that that's the TRIPS deal. It's going to have an oil and natural gas pipeline. Right there, we're securing it. We're also securing American investments in that region. So we're doing a deal with them, and I believe another country, I forget which one of their neighbors, in order to supply this. It's basically going to be equivalent to what they're arguing is the Panama Canal over land for this area, and which is going to bypass Iran and bypass Russian interests. So that is a good thing.
So is that not investing? So investing in other countries doesn't really matter to you. So it's okay to invest in other countries. Investing in other countries is fine to you, but doing things like humanitarian is like out of the picture for you. That's why I don't understand. Like, why do you have such a problem with USAID? Like, I don't get it.
Because USAID was inefficient and corrupt and were not working. And
corrupt. Okay. The entire administration is corrupt. Like, it's crazy.
Alice,
okay.
Thank you.
Bye. I love you.
Okay, bye.
Have a good day.
Actually, I have a question for you, Gibbs, real quick.
Sure.
Just, okay. You and Destiny are going back and forth, and Destiny brought up the fact that the communists the communists love that USAID is going away, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So, how come you believe that USAID was propping up socialist governments in the third world?
I would argue, yeah. I posted I can give you the article once again.
Well, sure. But aren't those two positions contradictory?
No, they're not.
The communists are wrong, and he's right. You idiot, fucking moron! What a stupid thing, Dev. I got you. Don't worry.
Good man. That's what I'm talking about. No, I mean, I think that is. I would argue though that it's not totally socialist. Like there's different levels, bro. I mean, like we all know this incremental. There's different levels on foreign policy when it comes to different countries. Like obviously, Juche is way different than say like Maoism, or we have all these different forms of communism. So yeah, I would say like when you have socialist elements in some of these countries, especially in left-leaning Latin America, they're working their way in. They start here and then they go down the thing. I don't want to say slippery slope fallacy, but yeah, we can look at Maduro and Chavez as being good examples of where they go with the extreme once they get in power, and then they go look. And this is part of their destruction. They try to subvert the liberal world order from within. Would be my argument.
$20.
Okay, well,
Just real quick.
go
Sorry,
ahead.
From Skeptical Ninja for $20. Can we get a yes or no from Gibbs on if he's using Grok for his research during this debate?
I am not using Grok. I was using my hand. No, I didn't use Grok for during this debate.
Did
Gibbs, can you prove that?
Hold on, wait,
Gibbs,
sorry,
I'm going to
hold
need you to
on.
prove that.
I don't actually. Whoever donated that is retarded. I don't give a fuck if people want to Google things or use Grok or whatever for debates. That's totally fine. Just don't lie about it. That's the only thing I care. If somebody's like, "Oh, let me ask Grok this thing," who cares?
Well,
It's fine.
and
That's fine. I don't
also-
care on that. Jesus.
Yeah, and like I want to echo that. I also, when I said I was looking something up, I had, like I said, in my Discord, I have a huge foreign policy section with all these different countries, so I had to scroll and find the exact thing. So, like, I like to have my sources posted for this exact
just a
situation.
public service announcement. If you don't know something, it's perfectly acceptable to look it up.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. $5 from It's Fishy. We have fraud. We have waste, fraud, and abuse. End quote. Fires the inspector general. Fair enough. $5 from Tip. Destiny. How do you debate people who rather live in lies to suit their own ego than accept reality?
One debate at a time, I guess.
$5 from JKL. Why does Andrew have a condenser mic when it sounds worse than a laptop? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah. $5 from Politics JK. Crazy how narrow the Trump supporters always have to keep topics because if their principles are examined, they become incoherent. $10 from JT89. Do you understand that PEPFAR drugs prevent transmission of HIV to the children of infected mothers? Knowing that, do you still support cutting it and increasing HIV transmission to children?
Once again, I'm willing to reevaluate and look, but not under the current USAID system. And once again, this is a self-caused problem, so potentially, yes, I would be okay with cutting it.
I do agree with that, because if we just let the moms die of AIDS, then there won't be any kids to die of AIDS, so that's kind of true, I guess. Yeah.
Good one.
$5 from Splash Mock to say Dan Saltman said not to donate, so make sure to divert all Israeli funds to WIC TV. Ye never lose. You know what? I will take any money that comes my way. Thank you for the $5, I suppose. Go ahead, new caller guy. You have a question?
Yeah, so just to go back a bit, kind of at the beginning of the section, you said something about, I had this whole like little game about you giving me financial advice planned, but I thought this would be much more interesting for the audience because I don't know what your public position is on this. So you were talking about Elon Musk, and you said, quoting here, "We know why he's pushing for it. He's South African. You know, look out for your people. I know who my people are. I want to help out." And then I think you had a stroke for like a half a second there. And I assume what you meant to say was that,
I'm Mexican.
I assume you mean, I assume that you mean people on the team, right? People that you're related to, family, friends, you know, whatnot. So
Sure.
I have a couple questions about this quote. When you said, "We know why he's pushing for it," right? He's South African. What is it?
Well, yeah. So I'm ethnically Mexican, right? My real dad's from Mexico, right? Like he's illegal. This is a true story. I want to.
It might be true, but it's not relevant. What does Musk mean?
Hold on.
What
I'm
did
trying
you
to
mean
answer.
here
Well,
when you
Also,
say
Mexican
it?
is not an ethnicity, but it's okay.
Sure, cool. It's a country.
What does he
whatever.
mean by what do you mean when you say it?
Just let him go. Let him go.
Yeah. So my point is, right? Like I want a strong border, but I also want immigration reform. I want to change how it's done. I want to make it easier for people who want to come here to work, right? So I want to look out for my people and my heritage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a strong, Hispanic heritage. I can understand when he comes from South Africa that he might want to look out for people of a similar heritage and want them to maybe not die. Like, I mean, it's not a crazy leap for me. Do you?
Okay, that's the why. That might be the why. I'll accept that might be the why. What is the it?
What do you mean by that? Like the it? Like
When you say we know why he is pushing for it,
Yeah,
we know why. We know that the reason that he wants to do the things he's doing is because, like, he wants to protect his people. He wants to protect what he views as his homeland. So, what is the it? What is the action that he is hoping to take to achieve this end? What is the it that that the why is justifying?
I believe this was a response to something that Mr. Destiny asked me about, like, would I support cutting aid to South Africans because Elon Musk said it. And I said, sure, I would be okay with cutting aid to South Africans because fuck them. But, like, hey, I can understand why Elon, a person who's got South African descendant, would push for it being the aid. or the refugee status?
No. When Elon Musk says
Does that make
it, what
sense?
the
Anybody get
it
confused about
is
that?
in his
Is that a
worldview,
statement?
what the it is a return to an apartheid South Africa, right?
That is not what I'm talking about.
But
In context of the question that was asked to me.
we know why he's pushing for it. He is South
Yeah.
African. The why is because he wants to protect his people. He wants to protect
Mhm.
white South Africans, right?
was the
And the
question
it that he wants to do in order to achieve that end is a return to apartheid, right?
Yeah, but that was not the question I was asked. The question I was asked was about. Did anybody mention anything about apartheid? South
No.
Africa? Okay, thank you. I just making
No,
sure.
no,
that
no.
I'm not
It's about
going
your
crazy.
characterization of Musk. It's about your characterization because I think that what you see, like a lot of the arguments that you've made, right? Like you want to say you're not MAGA, but that's clearly a lie. We can all see that's a lie. You know that's a lie. And this game that you seem to be playing, it's actually real life for some of us. And the fact that you treat it like a reality TV show, like this is just some game that you can play because it won't hurt you or affect you. It's gross and it's disgusting, and I can't stand it.
Jesus loves you.
So. Yeah.
Virtue signal.
So when you want to characterize a particular action, right? What you're saying is that if you view Musk, and I have this whole line, I can still walk you down to prove that Musk is a Nazi.
But we do have,
you
do have a
going-
line,
yeah.
so
Yeah, sure.
unfortunately.
But the point is that you're willing to ally yourself with Nazis, right? So when you say you're not MAGA, that's obviously a lie, right?
You can respond, and then we got a cycle.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I just real quick. One, I don't like Nazis. If anybody's ever heard my take on old fucking Nazi points, then you'll know I don't like Nazis.
Did
Two,
Musk do a Nazi salute?
Fuck if I know. Maybe. I don't know. Listen,
Okay.
he's South African. He's
Okay.
probably racist. He's probably
Wow.
racist. Who knows? Like, I mean,
Well-
sure. But like, listen, here's my point. Once again, that was not the
Okay.
question I was asked. I don't support any apartheid bullshit. I was asked about why, if I supported Elon Musk's aid and refugee status to South Africans, and my response was fuck them. No, and now you're still trying to push this on me.
Why
like,
do you think
hey,
he was arguing
buddy,
against USAID in South Africa?
Probably because, once again, he has national interests in South Africa.
But what is his
and family
goal?
ties.
Okay.
What is his goal into
I don't know.
destroying USAID in South Africa?
What is my name? Is it Elon Musk? How the fuck would I
Oh,
know?
I'm sorry. I forgot mens rea doesn't exist in the world anymore. I forgot that we can never know the intention of somebody based on their actions. My bad. I'm sorry, Wick. I'll
No,
go
you're
now.
fine. Thank
Thanks,
you for
Gibbs. You've won. Congratulations.
I didn't know I was trying. Okay. Jesus.
Okay, $5 from
Wow.
JKL. Andrew's argument being fundamentally about federal debt, then accusing Destiny of moving the goalposts when he brings it up, is pure Kino. $5 from Merlot to say, Trump voters, if you were to go back in time in 2024, would you still vote for Trump, considering he's contributed 1/3 of the debt and spent more than Biden? It's a good question. Would you?
You're asking, was
Yeah.
that question for me or Gibbs?
Both of you. If you could go back in time to 2024 and change your vote, would you, knowing what you do now, would you do so?
I
Would I-
would go to California and vote under some other person's name.
I don't know no, I would not have voted for Kamala and Tim Walz. I think that would have been even worse than the mess we're in now. Just let me tell you one thing, Wick. I got to get out of here in about 10 minutes. I got about 10 minutes left.
Yeah,
About
10
9 p.m.
minutes. We'll speed run the people who pay me money then. $20 from CBS Smith to say, it's impressive. We finally have a conservative panelist, less intelligent than Gibbs. Be nice, gang. But thank you for the $20. That's very nice. $10 from Neolib Shitlord. How can Admiral Gibbs and the other useful idiots sleep at night while living with so much cognitive dissonance? Okay. $5 from C Dubba. What about Trump investing in Dell and giving them a $9.7 billion Department of Defense contract? Thoughts on that?
Starts with what about? It sounds like whataboutism. I mean, I don't know.
Sounds
I'd
like
have to look
corruption.
up the specific details of it. I'm not familiar with that specific.
Did he invest, or did a trust he own invest, and like doesn't manage directly? Because that was the argument I heard about Nancy Pelosi and her husband. So, or is his kids doing it? Like, what is the? Because that's literally what I heard on this panel. So it seems like I need some more specifics.
Just real quick, why do you guys think that Kamala Harris would have been worse? What's your why is that your view?
Is that for me?
Yeah, go
Both.
ahead.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Well, again, if we're talking, it's not lost on me that we're talking about fraud and abuse and her her running mate was Tim Walz. So to me, just opening up the floodgates for fraud at home, for a complete waste at home, would have been worse to me, and I feel like that's what would have
Wait, but
happened.
what fraud and
And
abuse?
even
Wait,
if
wait,
we
wait, wait,
look
wait,
like
wait,
a
wait,
Gavin
wait, wait, wait,
Newsom,
wait.
you're
What is that?
asking for the
What is it
exact
relevant for?
same thing.
What is the
He
Walz
already
thing
runs
relevant
a
for? I don't
family.
understand.
Huh?
What is the Walz thing relevant for? I don't understand.
Well, because he was in charge in Minnesota.
He was, but
That's
like
the state
any
where it was happening.
investigation,
So if you're
sure,
so
any
incompetent to
investigation. Keep
facilitate
filibuster. Keep
that
going.
much fraud be
Yes.
facilitated in your area, then yeah, I would think that
Yeah.
it would
So
be.
all of
worse.
these investigations and everything that was
You
caught
asked me
relating to
why
this
I
was done
thought it
by
would be
the-
worse.
Well,
I
you
told you.
gotta-
Keep dancing. No, he doesn't. No, he has to keep dancing because he knows it's fucking retarded, right?
Oh.
All of the investigations for that were led by the Biden Department of Justice. What the fuck has Trump's Department of Justice found in terms of novel fraud in Minnesota so far?
How many people were
Nothing.
arrested? I think it was like 90.
Nothing.
Yeah,
that was it. That was off the Garland DOJ investigation, right? Trump's org hasn't found anything. You don't give a fuck about fraud. You only care because they're black or whatever other bullshit reason you have.
No, if it was any fraud, I would care. My whole thing is let's not waste and burn money. I don't know why that's like a racist or like hateful position.
Because you don't
Let's
seem to have
just
any
not
problem with Trump
waste
doing it
and
in
burn
record
money.
amounts. You don't
It's
even.
the
I
most-
don't know if Kamala,
the
to be
most-
honest, I don't even know if Kamala could waste as much money as Trump has. It's just like you're on a whole different level of corruption and fraud and wasteful government spending. And the idea that they would have somehow managed to spend as much is just it's not rooted in reality between the people. It's not rooted in the reality of the Biden admin versus the Trump admin. Like even now we can see that Trump has wasted more money than even the craziest liberal would have guessed he would have. But for some reason it's like, well, no, I still think Kamala would have wasted more. Why? Because it's like axiomatic to you. You can't even fathom it.
Well, we actually have like a pretty good one-to-one comparison. Yeah,
I don't know.
there's like a really good one-to-one comparison here that we can actually go through because there was the Feeding Our Future fraud in Minnesota that was $250 million that was discovered and prosecuted under Biden, right? So we can actually point out that, okay, even if you think that these fraudsters were left-leaning, it was a left-leaning government that reined them in. Okay. Now, we have a similar situation where Kristi Noem is currently defending herself against $220 million of potential fraudulent spending. Do you think that Trump's going to rein her in? I mean, she lost her job, but is she getting charged? Is she going to jail the same way that the Feeding Our Future guy went to jail?
If that's true, then she should.
She should, but will she? Will Trump do it?
But I'm not defending
He
my
might.
position. So again, you guys are trying to like crucify me on a position
To
that's
be
not
clear,
mine.
you are defending Trump because you said you would vote for him. That's how voting works. You don't get to separate the good from the bad. You have to pick a candidate. Trump is your guy.
Yeah, but you have to pick a lesser. Where were you the entire debate? Like, I'm about to get out of here. Now you're like super aggressive and coming after everything that I say. That's fine. You had nothing the entire time, but you could
lies.
What?
Every time we bring up something, you go, what about it? It's a pivot. And now you're like, oh, now you okay.
It was
23
pivot.
Nobel Prize winning economists called Harris's economic plan vastly superior to Trump's, by the way. If anyone actually cares about what's best for the economy and the deficit.
Some economists said that it was vastly
23 Nobel Prize winning economists.
Yeah, but did you consider the economist went on
Is
Joe
that not
Rogan?
significant to you?
You can put it in the chat and I'll read it. You're just assuming that it's
You
not.
can look it up.
Okay,
Here,
I'll look it up. Why
Dragon
are you
Fist,
so
Dragon
angry with me?
Fist.
Like I'm not angry with
Okay,
you.
let look.
Here,
He's only
just
got a
real quick,
limited amount of time.
Dragonfist. Dragonfist, like I actually do think that you're a good faith actor. I'm not trying to jump down your throat here. I just think that you don't know what you're talking about, and I think there's a lot of reading you could do to get informed on these things. I don't think you're evil or anything.
But to your point that you just made, Dev, about this Kristi Noem, right? You're acting like he wouldn't go after her. All right. Do you remember he had John Bolton in his administration? John Bolton just got
my balls, bro.
Hey, listen,
Trump
if John
went after
Bolton
people after he perceived them as backstabbing him. I can't believe you would say that.
I'm just
Oh
saying,
my God.
you know, listen, if Noem backstabbed him with stealing, why
So you
wouldn't he
agree
go
that
after
no authoritarian leader has ever been corrupt, right?
I didn't say that.
Why? All of them have gone after people in their party at some point. Saddam Hussein did it with a whole bunch of his leadership. Pretty sure Hitler cleared out some of his leadership. Stalin and Lenin and every single, and Putin, people have fallen out of windows there, right? All of these people have gone after. What is... Sorry,
That's
that was unbelievably stupid.
actually, no, thank you. I actually agree. It is unbelievably stupid because that's the point you just made about Biden and fucking the administration in Minnesota when we clearly expanded the fraud search from Minnesota to California.
Those people weren't directly employed by Biden. They weren't working for him. They didn't have the same last name like all of Trump's corrupt fucking losers do. They weren't in his cabinet.
And now we're finding more fraud than ever before in Minnesota.
No, we're not. No, we're not anywhere. Really not. Well, we're finding more fraud in the public because we're watching our president commit more fraud. True.
Over 800 indictments is what I'm looking at, up between 800 between California and Minnesota right now, and other states. So I'm sitting here seeing fraud. They're obviously going after it. So, hey, listen, either it's okay for them to go after people in their own party, like these left-leaning people in Somalia, the Somalis that he did with Feeding Our Future, or it's not when you're considering John Bolton. It seems like a kind of a nice little double backflip you got going here. Can explain.
He also went after Cohen too, right? He also went out true. Trump went after so many of his allies. You're so right. You're so right, bro.
Yeah, Noam throws him under the bus, or they sit here and do some kind of fraud shit. You don't think he's going to go after him? I feel like, obviously he would. So,
if you want to make a bet right now, Gibbs, do you think that Kristi Noem's going to, is the Trump administration? Do you think that they're going to go after Kristi Noem? I'll bet you $50 right now that they do not before the end of this year.
The year? No, she absolutely is not going to get charged for the end of the year.
Okay. What about 2028?
I mean,
for as long as Trump's in office.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll do it all the way to Trump's office. She
okay, $50 on
How
it.
about this? Wait. How about $50 on this? Do you think that anybody from the SPLC is going to be convicted?
Who knows? Maybe, probably.
Maybe you were citing that indictment as good as gold earlier. How do you feel about the indictment for
I
Trump?
think the homegirl that was giving money to her lover is definitely going to get charged with a crime and convicted. Yes.
Okay.
We'll see.
$10 from Caller Online 1. Republicans being the party of Lincoln is not a flex. He was still racist as fuck, but once the Northern Dems started supporting civil rights, the Southern Dems and churches jumped ship and voted Republican. That $20 from Ripped Cripper. MAGAs with humiliation fetish get obliviated. Embarrass these people back into the bigot closet to save America. Thank you for the $20. $10 from Anyon. I live in Deep Red, Georgia, and we learned about the party realignment in 8th fucking grade. $5 from Bad Company. Gibbs looks like a villain in a trans comic book.
Yeah, I hear the gays have good style, so I'll take some of it.
Okay. Oh, and my YouTube froze. That's wonderful. I know you had to go, Mr. Andrew. Do you have any closing words for our audience?
No, I appreciate the debate. I enjoyed it. Thank you, everyone. We can, look at some of these other topics in the future. Just the only thing that struck me is people like saying to fucking unalive yourself. I don't know how we got that far. I was trying to be good faith, and we could do better than that. So that's all.
Yeah, super chatter, naughty. Okay,
right?
When you send me money, say better things, but thank you for the money anyway. But naughty super chatter.
Can I ask?
Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Thank you.
Before you go, Andrew, my love, please.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Oh my God, you came in pretty hot on the transgender comic thing, right? Like you were like transgender comic. Like you were pretty hot on it, right?
Sure. Not really. It was in my list. She just cited it as not true, and then we got into it wasn't something I was particularly
right. We got into it, and then you kind of walked it back to gay, and you were like a gay comic, and they're like, well,
they said it was a gay comic. I don't care any comic.
But like, hold on. Just let me real quick here, and then you go and say that if it was a heterosexual comic, I would have cared about it. So do you classify everything in your life as transgender, straight, gay? Like, why would you even come out saying transgender comic?
That's how it was listed.
If it doesn't matter to you.
That's how it was listed, so they would know what I was referencing.
So you weren't coming in hot on that.
What you're doing here is exactly
the point.
It's exactly the point. You're a bad person if you even talk about it. Here's the point.
You're so bad faith. You came and say transgender comic. I'm going to get you riled up on the transgender
on any comics. Like this one just happened to be a transgender one. And that's the point, is that this shields it from I can't mention it or I'm like a transphobe. That's the point of this rhetoric. So I can't criticize the policy because for some reason you think I care that it's a
transgender comic.
I'm staying to answer your question. I'm trying to explain to you. I don't care what kind of comic it is. I don't think we should be wasting
why would
money
you
on
start
that
out with that? Why wouldn't you just say we were funding a comic? Why wouldn't you say we were funding a comic? If it has nothing to do with sexuality. So you just read it off of a list and developed the whole entire thing about it? You didn't do any looking into it, research,
exactly what I was talking about, because words have meaning. Like, is it like offensive to talk about? I don't understand.
Hold on,
like, did it
but hold on. Well, let me help. Hold on, stop.
Is this even a thing? That's
let
what
me, let me help though.
That's the program that we were paying.
If I kept mentioning something, and I'm like, those fucking black criminals, and I kept talking every time it was a black criminal, I would be like, a black criminal was doing this. Would it be right to maybe question, like, hey, maybe this guy's a little racist?
But he didn't have black
because that's what he does all the time. That's his grift.
No, it's not a grift. I'm telling you that I'm not for any comic books. You just don't want to accept my answer.
Face right now. He knows his
just happened to be. I also had a problem with the DEI in Serbia. Like, it's not.
You don't know why, but you still don't know why that was a thing.
That's wasteful. And if you're showing me that it's not wasteful, then I don't have a problem with it.
You assume it is because you just hear these little jingling keywords like DEI or transgender, and you run with it. You fall for it because you can't tell apart a good source.
It's obviously an ideological thing for you, man, and that's
fine.
fine.
He needs to go. He needs to go. We can have him on again. I promise.
It's not an ideology. I said that I'm not for.
This is what we'll do. This is what we'll do. This is what we'll do.
For the same
on
reason.
Another day, we will have Andrew on all by himself, and he will just take calls, and you guys can. It will be Andrew versus the world, right?
You can rip me apart.
Yeah,
I'm fair on both sides, man. I'm not for things that are wasteful from the right either. I'm really not.
But you didn't mention those.
Okay, well, thank you for coming.
I'm not for the war in Iran. That's what I said. Like, how did I not mention it? I just don't get you. You just don't even hear it. It like goes right through because you want to hate me so much. That's really what's going on. Like, you want me to be a bigot so bad, but I really don't care if it's a straight comic book or a gay comic book. I don't think we should be paying for it because it's wasteful.
Is that
you thinking it's wasteful is
yeah, that's totally fair. So where can we find you?
You haven't
Andrew. What are your ads?
You can find me at DragonFist TV on YouTube.
Check them out.
Awesome.
Or TikTok or Twitter. I just started the Twitter, but they're all at DragonFist TV. Okay. Instagram.
Yeah, check them out, guys.
And I will come back. I promise. Thank you, guys.
I'm looking forward to it. See you later.
I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Wick. Second most important thing, Destiny, you gotta promote your event July 10th. Otherwise, you're
working on it.
Shit.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for calling in, Robert. Dang.
I've got to take off in a minute too, as well. I've got two more questions, and I can ask them quick, and then I can,
You've
and I
had
can
like
leave.
20 questions, man.
And then I can leave. Okay, they'll be quick.
Quickly.
Okay.
Because I got like a dozen super, like more than that. I gotta get through my super.
I completely understand. Okay, Gibbs, real quick. One, why didn't the Republicans pass legislation in Congress to cut spending properly? Would that not be the way to go about it, rather than doing all this bullshit?
Depends on what you mean by that. Like, give me an example. Like, how do you want like cut spending properly to be done in your mind? What is it?
Well, if you wanted USAID to be cut, they should have passed a bill cutting USAID rather than doing it through the executive, right?
Potentially. The issue is that, like, when we look at like our division of powers between the three branches, every president since forever has tried to expand the presidency, right, and to use executive orders to expand it, and that really started even more so like under Bush and Cheney, and then it extended all the way under Obama and now to Trump, right? Like, so we're like going through this, and everyone. So yeah, I'm not surprised that they always try to use the executive first. People look to the executive to be like a leader, so that's not a surprise. I would have expected the Dems to do it. I wouldn't even blame them for that, right? Like, but I do think that maybe legislation was the proper way to do it, but that's not how they chose to go about it first. And Trump has also done a thing very interesting where he's done these push these things with the executive order, and then he gets sued, and he goes to the Supreme Court and either wins or loses. But then things are defined. And I think part of his strategy is to get certain powers defined so that people either can or can't use them going forward, as opposed to some of these nebulous kind of like ideas that we've had going forward. Or at least if it's not Trump, someone in his administration is pushing that agenda. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Whether you agree or disagree is a whole different thing.
Okay.
Sure.
I think there's problems with that, but I understand, and we don't have time to get into it right now. The last thing before I get out of here then is, I know that you watched my J6 video all the way through, and you even complimented me on it.
I did watch it.
And you said it gave you a whole lot to think about. So I just have to, and like, you are probably the nicest right-winger I've met in a long time. Why do you still believe all the sloppulous stuff, given that? How is it that you exist in your current headspace when you saw me lay out all the J6 evidence and you're like, oh, you give me a lot to think about. That's all these things I haven't seen before. I don't understand you.
So with the J6 thing, this is an issue, right? I keep looking at this and I keep going and I'm looking at all these things and maybe it's whataboutism, maybe it's like just like taking like where we're at as a whole. Like I think the J6 thing, as bad as it is or it isn't, right? Like it's more of a symptom and not the real like problem, right? Whether you think it's Trump, whether you think it's rhetoric, whether you think like so yeah, I think it's so bad to the point that we have almost alternate news sources. Like if I say, oh, I'll give you a source, say the New York Post. Right, people are going to go, I don't accept that as a source, right? Or like, or you'll use a House committee like we did today, and someone's like, I'm not going to accept that because I don't believe this government president. And so it like gets to this point, like, yeah, I think you make valid points. I think you're earnest, right? And so when you're making these points, I'm listening, like, yeah, it's convincing. I just like, I guess when I'm a voter, it really comes down to what I vote on, and I vote locally, and I say this all the time. The January 6th thing, like, didn't yeah, it affects us as a nation potentially, but it failed. If it was a coup, it was a really bad one. Right. And I wasn't backed by any of the branches. Trump didn't send in the paramilitary. Like, I mean, if it was the Proud Boys, yeah, they're not real effective, bros. Like, I mean, like, I'm just sitting here, like, looking at it. And you know what's more scary as a conservative was the group of guys that took over the Michigan governor's office. And those were a conservative group. We shouldn't have armed groups take over, like, a Michigan government houses. This is a Republican group that did this, right? Like, or totally. That's more terrifying to me than, say, what, like, the January 6th things, which seems like unorganized mob behavior. Like, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't know. It's also not a
Did that answer your question?
For now. Okay.
We can talk about it more later, I'm sure.
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Wick. I know I'm just a caller, but thanks for having me here anyway.
Yep.
You guys have fun.
Yep.
See ya.
All tons of fun. Tons and tons. $5 from Parallax to say Gibbs is fat, or Gibbs is trans fat. Okay,
that's a good one.
All right, see ya.
See ya. $5 from Nobody Chef. I'll be sure to tell my David Duke supporting uncle that he is in fact a Democrat. Today I learned there was no party switch. Revisionist history is wild. $5 from No Flame. Please, can someone ask Sister Fister why he is so disconnected from reality? Bro has his own personal fanfic on every subject. $5 from Last Bastion. Can we get names of all the people who were charged for corruption as a result of Doge? If they found any, we should have at least one name, no?
Not a single one. Kind of crazy, given that supposedly they found so much corruption.
Well, sorry, I missed it. I got that phone call.
Did Doge charge anybody? Did we get any charges from the DOJ for corruption due to what Doge found, supposedly?
No.
I'm not sure. Not even close. The fraud was less than. So they did an audit, and the fraud was found percentage-wise to be like 0.3%. Mind you, the total budget is already only 1% of the budget. So we're talking about 0.3% of a 1% of the total budget. But hey, expect that Doge stimulus check anytime.
Oh yeah, the Doge stimulus check.
I forgot about that one. I didn't. Yeah, that's crazy. $10 from Mr. HHK. We need the comics to create more trans Tifa soldiers overseas for national security. Okay, thank you for that. $10 from Boredom. The guy who keeps pinning Republican racism on the SPLC is snorting Iranian nuclear-enriched copium. I think that was you, Gibbs.
It was me that said that. And listen, if you can find me some, I'll try it.
Lunatic Thinker for $5. Conservatives give everyone in NATO, threatens invading allies, and goes surprised Pikachu when Spain refuses to let U.S. use their bases there. I think he missed a word. Gives everyone in NATO the finger, I believe. I don't know. $2 from Greggio. Tell Gibbs to look up Nixon's Southern strategy. $10 Carler Online. The Doge guys in deposition admitted that all they did was Control plus F when they deciding what to cut, and that was it. They ultimately cut $20 billion out of the $2 trillion Elon claimed he could. Does that not, Gibbs? Does that not suggest like that they were doing a very bad job? Well, do you think that Doge did a bad job overall? Let's start there.
I would say mixed results. It's not what I'd hoped for, but it's better than nothing, right? Like, so there's, and it's above the 50% line, because sometimes you do something and it's like a token thing where they like give you something like the border bill, like a while back, like they always told us, oh, Trump shut down the border bill. There's a reason why like people in Texas revolted and said, oh, we can't have this in here, right? Like in some other ones, because it wasn't enough. It was like just piecemeal. I don't think Doge was attempted to be a piecemeal attempt at like
again, Doge cost us more than they saved.
Right. But hold on, hear me out. You're right. So like, yeah, but the thing is though, when you're
do you acknowledge that first of all?
Yeah, I'm sure that's
okay,
true. I'm sure you wouldn't be standing on your guns.
I mean, I don't do.
So
how was it good?
how is it good is what I'm saying is you have to start the ball somewhere. I think that it's clear that there's like clear bureaucracy, like overload. I think that we can all agree on that. Like if you've ever gone to the DMV,
Yeah,
So
you
the
know
solution
this
to
is true.
bureaucratic overload is to make another bureaucracy to check for bureaucratic overload?
They didn't even make a new bureaucracy. They expanded something that was already there, renamed it, then like funded it. Like so, like yeah. I mean, and this happens all the time.
Not
We have,
really at
like,
all, no.
I mean, like, listen. Do you think the ATF is redundant with the FBI? Like to some degree, sure. Should we just get rid of the ATF?
No?
Like,
What? No?
I mean, they're both law enforcement agencies, right?
They do different things.
Sure, right. Do you think there's any crossover between the DEA, the ATF, and the FBI? Like any
I'm sure there's a little bit of like crossover
Okay,
for
so there is
cooperation, right?
Right, exactly.
You
So-
remember, you know when we had no crossover at all? It was before 9/11. They
No,
complained about that.
I agree, right? But what I'm saying is, why wouldn't we just like, oh, okay, get rid of the ATF and lump them into the FBI? They're both security, like what agencies? They both do similar things, or maybe combine it with the DEA. We don't need, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is kind of the argument you're
Just
making
curious,
here. Like,
why is it that no other country on the planet has figured out like these like obvious no-brainer conservative plans to make the government better? You ever notice that like there's not a single other country on the planet that seems to understand that you just have to like get rid of every single part of your government and then it makes your country way better?
That's what we're saying. I mean, this is once I don't want to be the guy yelling straw man, but like I didn't say get rid of every single part. I said take a look under the hood and clear
Well,
it
sure,
out.
but I'm
with
asking,
the
like,
guns.
can you think of a single country that's done like even 1/10 of the things that you're recommending?
Yeah, I mean, Argentina's doing it now. I mean,
Is that who you want to be like? Argentina?
I mean, maybe. I mean, look, I'm sure there were other
Maybe?
examples.
I want to hear that. I want to hear that. You want the United
Hold
States
on,
of
hold on.
America?
I
to
would,
be
I
more
would
like
like it. I
Argentina.
would like us to be more like Rome, which did do audits several times throughout the history, went and gutted programs and gutted people, and literally gutted people that were stealing and being corrupt. Like, I mean, this is something that's happened in major empires all
Yeah,
throughout
so
history.
Rome
So, like,
is
yeah,
not,
I would like
Rome
us to be
doesn't
Rome
exist anymore, really, right?
Sure,
Unless
right,
I agree. I don't think.
Okay.
So I'm saying modern examples, like
exist.
who are your successful countries that you're trying to emulate? Because it seems like conservatives have all these like very, very easy ideas, like, oh, we just need to do this and it'll be so much better. But literally no other government on the planet is doing any of the things you're saying, and all the most successful governments on the planet tend to do the exact opposite of what you're saying. So like,
When do you think we were the peak, like peak American power? Probably like the 60s, 50s, 70s, in that range, right? Like when we were.
Why would you assume that? I would say we were at
What'd
our
you
peak
say?
in '91
Okay,
when the fucking Soviet
91,
Union
perfect.
fell and America emerged as the leader of the planet. What do you mean?
Okay, 91's a good example. I just wanted to pick whatever example you wanted, right? Sure.
Well,
So
I mean,
91
even past that, America continued to dominate. I mean, you could go past 91
Okay.
as well. I mean,
Do you
militarily, but
think-
like
hold on,
economically,
you think
we
the gap was bigger, the biggest than 91. You is what you're saying. Yes, correct? Like just for the sake of this argument.
maybe. I mean, probably like late 90s, early 2000s, maybe would be a guess. But
Okay, and would you agree that the government has grown since that time, and probably not in a more efficient manner when we've expanded agencies all across the board, and we have more and more things, there's more overload.
Yeah,
the
because
debt has
modern
increased.
problems require modern solutions. So unfortunately, that might mean you have to
so-
expand part of your bureaucratic state. Sure.
We've also been
Really?
steadily cutting taxes for the rich.
So the gap
That's
has
effective,
gone smaller. In
Yes, wait,
conjunction- I
wait.
guess
The
it's
gap has
total-
gotten
not- it's just
smaller. But wait,
correlation,
the gap
because
has
while
gotten
we've
smaller.
also spent a bunch of money on much more
The gap
organizations,
has gotten
there are
smaller
excess
because the
things.
other countries are leaving behind the things that you want to do. They're all becoming more globo homo. They're all like sending their kids all over the world to get educated in other Ivy League institutions. They're all liberalizing
Because
their
they're not
trade
having
and
to spend on the
inviting foreign
military.
investment. What?
Because they're not having to spend on the military. At least
China
in the
and
European
India
Union.
are relying on the
China and
United
India
States.
are. No, not China and India. But
What is China? What are we
we're talking
complaining
about?
about?
NATO
China?
and the EU.
What
They
are we-
are doing that.
What is
though.
our threat from China all the time? The fact that they can manufacture more textiles than us? No, we're worried about them catching up to us in AI. What are we worried
Sure,
about for
I agree
other
with that.
countries?
I'm not talking about just China though. It's not just
Yeah,
China.
but
it's
every
anything.
single
you have
thing
to
that
watch
you
out for the
want to
number
do-
one, but you have to watch out for the others as well. It's not. Like,
No,
it's not a
but your
zero-sum
idea
game.
of your idea of looking out for number one is the exact opposite of what every other successful country thinks it, like will achieve that. Everything you want to do makes America weaker, and everybody on the planet agrees with that.
disagree with him, because
Okay,
what I'm
thank
saying
you
is I'm looking
to
at-
DragonFist TV for the raid. I do appreciate you guys. Let me read a few more of these. $10 from Delay My Belay. Believing the party switch never happened is willful ignorance or grift. Petitioning Wick to start a panel to end this easily disprovable talking point. Well, people, if you want to find some guests for me, and I'll host it. Why not? $20 from Odashara. Can you ask Gibbs, why do cardiologists, nephrologists, and oncologists exist if all disease involves people that doctors can interact with?
I mean, in the words of Parallax, do you think I talked to a cardiologist recently? I mean, just say it. That's a joke. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
$50 from Delay My Belay to just say done. Thank you for the $50. Yes, true. Really appreciate that. That brings us over the 1,000 mark for tonight. That's a beautiful, beautiful number that we love. $5 from My Listening Library to say Trump was reelected and is on a run to complete permanently shift national and local election processes. January 6th didn't fail. It just took longer to solidify.
True.
$5 from Herding Unit. This is my first time watching, and it's great. Thank you. Well, I'm glad you liked it. Michael Hatch Tube for $5. There's 67 more dollars to go. Fair enough. $5 from Warren Berger. Comic looks bad. It's fishy. Just gave me $1. Okay. Mr. Poderator. Gibbs told me a few months ago that he'd lost a lot of weight. I'm glad to see he found it back.
Word.
True story. I think I don't know when Destiny debated, October maybe. I'm down 60 pounds since then. You can't see it all, but we're a big old boy. We had a lot of weight to lose, so I'm pretty pleased about it. Thank you for noticing.
You know, it's
Or
good
not
that you
noticing.
lost weight if you lost weight.
Yeah.
$20 from K from YT from YouTube. These MAGA clowns make Jesse Lee Peterson sound like a nuclear physicist. Okay. $2 from Bangarang. The real Gibbs and NCIS would hate this one. I don't watch that show. Michael Hatch Tube for $5. Wick TV. Oh, this is something for later. Color Online, $5. Damn, Wick, be glad I like you and stupid enough to pay you another $5 to read my prior two $10 super chats. Wubba lubba dub dub. Okay. Montana Flower Farmer for $10. If the Trump buds learned that by improving material conditions in impoverished countries, USAID had a positive impact on reducing immigration to the U.S., would they support that aid?
So the question is if they would reduce immigration.
Yes.
Listen, I'm very pro immigration reform. I just want a secure border. But secondly, I think it depends, right? I'm going to use the screwworm example again because it's one I'm intimately familiar with, right? So we had USAID funding going to do the prevention of the screwworm and tracking of it through the Darien Gap, which was broken, I believe, in 2003 and reached Mexico in 2004. Not 2004, 2024, 2023, right? Okay, excuse me, misspoke there, but right. So why would you keep funding something that's clearly failed right now and not allocate the funding to something else in a more efficient manner? Part of this, right? Part of the reason why the screwworm is able to travel, and I'm going to say it, and people are going to immediately go racist.
Can you answer the question that the guy asked?
Right. I'm about to answer this. Goes to the immigration thing. Is the mass migration, right? So we're seeing USAID funding go into something that's funding increased migration, right? And we're causing the bringing up the screwworm, right? Because with pets, animals, all these other people, we see the cartel using illegal cattle, right? And so this is also a failure of USAID funding and its program. And when I look at this, I go, why would we keep funding this? Now, if somehow USAID was funding programs to stop immigration, maybe. But so far, it looks like it was encouraging it based off all the things I've seen. So evidence-wise.
Mackie Hilden for $5. Oh, so Mr. B thinks Dems are needed to hold the GOP responsible for their failures? He should commit to electing Democrats then. $20 Bad Company. Gibbs said drastic immediate changes can benefit us in the long run despite immediate harm when Deb brought up wasted food and starving kids. Did he give Biden that same charity on the Afghan pullout?
I think the Afghan pullout was a failure mainly because the people we were fighting got all the tech. I'm not so upset about whatever the humanitarian access to it was. I think it was bad to leave people there just overall, but that's I think my critique of Biden's pullout is not what he thinks it is.
Okay. Swamalani to say for $5 says this guy shows up to a debate doing no research. Where's the fraud? It's there. Where's the waste? It's there. No examples at all. Embarrassing. We can't even get Republicans to fund school lunches. $10 from Brown Moore. Wick TV, please, you ask DragonFist, why can't you answer a question without rambling or filibustering, and how many lies are you going to spew? I'll DM him and see. We're almost done. Don't worry. $10 from Moto Freak. Here's $10 just for the yet another optical sewer slide live on stream. DGGL. Well, thank you for the $10. $5 from Lieutenant Quattro. To Dragon Knuckles, how would you feel if you didn't have breakfast this morning? Well, he's not here to answer. $10 from Michael Hatch on YouTube. As a percentage of GDP, how high of a debt ratio amounts to existential threat for modern industrialized nations? For example, the USA is at 120%. Japan is at 236%, and France is 113%. Source, the IMF. Do you want to take a crack at it, gang? What is too high of a debt as a percentage of GDP?
I would just look at historical norms for that, I guess, for the United States and try to keep it within there. I don't know if there's an actual agreed upon number for.
Don't know.
It's a good researchable question.
Yeah. $5 from William Judd. Saying that we need to cut USAID to address the U.S. debt while supporting Trump's tax cuts is hypocritical. Saying that it's whataboutism is ludicrous. True. $5 from Sam Greenwood. A direct example of how cutting USAID hurts America is the current Ebola outbreak in Congo and Uganda, already in Europe, risking spreading to America. And then $5 from Night Night. Why is it when ShesRight is wrecking these cats, they start addressing Tiny? You want to take a crack at that one, ShesRight?
Cowardice, usually. It's not uncommon for that to happen. Leftists do it too, as well. There's this weird phenomenon whenever anyone in this broader space wants to have an argument, they start imagining they're shadow boxing Stephen. It's weird. It's creepy. I don't know why that's the case. It shouldn't be. No offense, dude. You're not that important.
Wow.
Yeah.
Base, I guess. $5 from No Flame, please. If these clowns think USAID is going to our enemies and DEI makes the country weaker, then why would they be against pushing DEI under USAID? Big think.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Let's also just start selling fentanyl into China.
I mean, if you want to beat China, why not?
I mean, it was an effective trade policy in the 20th century.
Let's do it.
You know, a little unethical, but.
I mean, listen, I'm not worried about that. It's whatever.
Okay, $20 from It's Vishy. Chucklefuck in the hat does not care about waste, fraud, and abuse. He should have called out the Trump administration's effort to fire the inspector generals while then allowing Doge to go after programs on an ideological basis. $5 from Lunatic Thinker. Bro with the hat just had a moment of honesty where he just admitted that it's all about the transgender stuff and not about the debt. $10 from William Judd. The reason Destiny brought up conservatives destroying things is because that's what they did to USAID. That's directly relevant to the prompt. $5 from Hell's Pacifists. Honestly, this is an unfair 2v1 with a severe handicap. Joker versus these two while constantly bailing out a partner who can't cite his own evidence. Caller online for $5 says, I think it's fair to call them liars if they only parrot lies or unverified claims and then feign ignorance. And then $5 from Average Jake L. Does he know Kurt Cobain was a big LGBT advocate? Fake fan spotted. Okay. I don't know what that's about.
I love you. Am I allowed to leave?
Yeah, you were allowed. Well, yeah, you're always allowed to leave. Thanks for being here.
Okay.
Man.
I love you.
Thanks for the debate.
Yeah, be good.
Gang, tomorrow, I guess I should just tell before you leave. Tomorrow we're going to do a show on the fall of counterpoints. We're going to have North is live here to kind of go over a lot of the details and why it was malicious for him to call CPS and the FBI. And
have fun.
We're going to go through the evidence. It should be fun. Thanks for being here. Destiny, you can leave.
What, bro? Like every day I leave, I come back and I just hear the craziest thing every day. Every day.
Yeah.
What did you just say?
It's a lot.
What did you wait? Hold on. Just make sure I heard this right. You just said. Can you just say that one more time for me?
Yeah, counterpoints called. I believe it was the FBI. I think it was CPS on. I have it in my notes. I'd have to check. Right. I have different notes up right now, but it was he called CPS on Brit, right? Based on what I consider the flimsiest evidence possible. I consider that kind of act malicious, given that calling these agencies can really impact a family, especially if nothing's actually happening. I've heard a lot of horror stories about the CPS taking people's kids and them not being able to get back with them for weeks while these things get sorted out. And again, if there was actual evidence of abuse, fair enough. But the evidence cited was from the most unreliable sources you can imagine. People going through a vicious divorce who were just basically saying anything and everything about each other to hurt the other people. Someone who was clearly mentally unwell and making shit up for attention is what it sounded like. And it's just, again, nothing substantial whatsoever. And to use that as a basis to call a federal agency to look into getting someone's kids taken away is crazy work. But we're going to go over it tomorrow.
I just want to say one thing, and this is what's his name specific, but I heard another story recently from a different circle where someone was like, "Oh, I called an FBI agent or alleged FBI agent about an active investigation." I just want to say, guys, listen, we should not be taking your streaming Twitch shit to fucking the FBI unless it's some crazy shit. This sounds like literal insanity. I'm glad that I'm not a part of this. Dear God, bro.
Is what it is. She's right. Do you have any thoughts on the issue at hand? Otherwise, I'm just going to move you guys out and read the rest of these super chats. Well, I won't move you out. I'll just read the rest of these super chats. You guys can stay, but you don't. Yeah. You're under no obligation. Okay.
Yeah, I got another 20 minutes. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I know Connor. I think he's taking a very personal, emotional kind of crash out on a lot of other people and a lot of unrelated stuff.
Oh, I was talking about the USAID stuff, but
on the USAID stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. I mean, it's a big W. Like it's just a big W. Diplomatically, morally, just materially. Like we get some stuff back for it. I'm all for a government that makes fiscal sense. There's just better places to look. By like a factor of 10 or 100. And we should just prioritize those. If anyone is unironically trying to start with this, like I do question their motives because it's just not a rational way to do it.
One of the issues is if you want to find fraud, waste, and abuse and go through in an honest manner, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think it was clear from the jump that these people were doing it for ideological reasons and using the fraud, waste, and abuse as a cover story to go after their actual targets, which are just ideological enemies.
And there's like the videos of the Doge kids like on Twitter, like being interrogated or interviewed or something. And a lot of them just had like shit-eating grins. And I'm sorry, I know this as someone who's like late millennial, early Gen Z, grown up on the internet. These are just kind of like kids on Twitter, And like they're not really fooling anyone. I don't know. I think we could have a really serious, productive conversation on fiscal responsibility and doing what makes sense. And this is not that. This is Elon Musk being a man-child and recruiting more man-children.
$1,000%. Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. $10 from FDR. FD-Rena mech suit. Did Gibbs dodge a question about boats?
What?
Did you dodge a question about boats? I forget the question about boats.
No, the boats. We're talking about the boats with the Argentina thing and the analyst. And I read the analyst.
Fell for a little misinfo, huh?
No, it wasn't misinformation. It was I misread, and what it said was, which would have the analyst said would have amounted to about 2 frigates, okay. Right? Okay, so fair. My bad. I'll admit it. I'm not trying to pull a gotcha.
We're gonna drag you a little bit, though. We're gonna drag you a little.
That's okay. I don't trust anybody that's never wrong.
$10 from Probolurix. Why do they keep focusing on that we need to cut programs that are like $30,000 when the debt is over $40 trillion? Why not, I don't know, focus on increasing our revenue and not spending billions on war?
I actually this is I think a real problem with the difference between mine and DragonFist stance, and like I get lost in this a little bit because I understand the argument about the debt thing, but like I don't think that's our most critical issue, right? Like I think that the way the money is going to be spent anyway, right? I think it's more important to focus on how and where it's spent, right? Now I think Miss Alice over here, she disagrees. I disagree on how or what its effective it is. Like I'm not against all soft aid, right? Like I'm not against like programs that help like certain groups if I can see tangible benefits. I just don't think the current system of USAID was like efficient or like the way it was right now. What back to what they were just saying? I don't know.
That's
sure. Why do you say that?
Well, because we have reputable auditors who like take this as a profession to analyze. Trump was in office 4 years prior. They didn't turn up anything. In fact, what the independent analysis shows is that by cutting this funding, 14 million people are expected to die by 2030. Okay. And I just one thing, because earlier this was stated, and I feel like this gets lost in this conversation. We started this program in the 60s during the Cold War as a way to earn global influence to combat Russia. Mind you, 2025, we have Russian members coming out saying, I can't remember specifically who, but came out and said that they are looking forward to filling that vacuum. Okay. So that Cold War has not ended.
Well, I'll grant you a lot of that, right? But it's been what you said. Let's just say it's a 60. Like I don't know exact date it was founded, but let's say it's been about 60 years, right? You would say a lot of things have happened in that time period, correct? And so when I look at it, like land lease back in during the World War II, and then afterwards, to some extent, even when we land leased to Russia as we were going into the Cold War, I think was still an effective strategy. It helped us the long term. It helped build our economy up quite a bit. Now, do we think it would have been good to continue land leasing to Russia in the middle of the Cold War? No, because priorities change, alliances shift, right? We were allies of convenience with Russia, and then they became our enemy after Germany. Patton's famous for saying we should have fought the commies first, right? Like there's all sorts of examples. So when I sit here and look at USAID, I think it's just evolved past the need for it in the way that it's set up. I think we need to reevaluate how it's used. I think the State Department needs to re-administrate. I want to see more evidence. Like, if you could prove that, like, giving LGBTQ funding to, I don't know, Serbia actually somehow significantly helped their interest of pro-America, I'd say, fuck yeah, baby, make them gay. I don't care. Like, as long as they want to help America, whatever. But, like, the point is, I don't see the results coming out that way. Like, you say 14 million people are going to die. Like,
I think I think that the unfortunate thing,
not our problem.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is we are going to see those results, and we're going to see them very quickly. But it's going to be too late to do much about it. One of the best things about USAID is that it fulfills a need that just private charity and things just cannot do. USAID and funding from the government and organization from the government can push through periods of low donations, and it just has access to resources that private charities simply do not. I will say that if I wanted to convince someone to be on my side or to be more charitable towards me and to maybe do me some favors in the future, one of the ways I do that is by being nice to them and by giving them stuff. Like, she's right. If I wanted her to come and, I don't know, help me out with shows more, like, I'd be like, yo, hey, you need something? You need a burger? You need some Coke or something? Like, I got you. I will help you out. Coca-Cola, to be clear, not the nose candy. I just want to make that distinction, right? Like, that's one of the ways you influence people is by giving them stuff. And, hey, this person gives me stuff. They must be nice. And I think that's just a clear win, and it's worked for decades.
Yeah. One of the best examples of that is the Middle East. We have seen huge progress made in the Middle East and as far as relationships with the West. And we actually kind of see that now more than ever in the whole Hormuz situation, regardless of how you feel about it. Obviously, most on the left, we think it's a complete failure. I don't know how the right spins it, but even if you're on the right, you have to acknowledge that having allies in the region pays off. And if we had not had USAID, you would not see this. USAID is responsible for an English program in the Middle East that literally taught English to these countries so that they could become more focused on Western markets. Because you can imagine it's kind of hard to build a UAE or a Dubai when you don't even know the language.
Okay, let me read some more of these super chats before I forget. $10 from Nevins. What level of evidence is sufficient? If I have personally deployed to multiple countries and worked alongside USAID projects that helped locals and made U.S. military safer and more effective, is it worth? And then he cuts off. So I'm assuming he means, is that sufficient evidence if he says it's worth?
Sure. I mean, once again, this is the problem, right? And this is really the issue. I think that there are several, just like the Democrats, there's several factions in the Republicans, right? When you get to there are the people that are going to like, oh, I don't want XYZ program for partisan, right? Like, then there's going to be more of the people that are like me, where I want like imperialism and I want us to see. I'm looking at it as like this, sure, if you could point to me an effective program and we can see actual results and you can point to it, we have testimony, I'm willing to consider all sorts of levels of evidence. But it's like if we have like this, I don't know. I don't even think this is a USAID program, but the butchers one I mentioned, I think that's a grant that we offered. Why isn't France paying for that? That they're in France. France isn't poor. Like, how does this benefit us in the long term? Now, maybe it's
hold on. It makes I can tell you, right? At least the theory behind it. The theory is if we help countries like France and our allies in order to relieve some of their financial burden, that they will see us more favorably in the future and help us out in the future in various ways. That's the theory behind it. Sure. You can argue that sometimes it's not effective, and it's never going to be. I just want to make this clear. It's never going to work 100% of the time. Well, but if it works most of the time, I'm for the program.
I think it was a small amount, like $216K, right? Not a very big amount. But let me just throw this at you, right? Okay, so we do this in France, and we can do butcher's language. All right, that helps us, like, I don't know, 0.0001% in happiness meter, maybe a deal meter. Okay, what if we gave that money instead, like I said, to, I don't know, Argentinian or I don't know, Peruvian, like I don't know, farmers to switch off like growing cocaine, right? Like that would be something maybe we should do.
I don't think we have to. I don't think we have to choose between these.
Yeah, but
I think
exactly.
We
do need to choose because there's only a certain amount of money because there's only 1% of the budget or whatever is going towards this, right? Like, and it's not growing even under the dims. It's not growing that much. Like it's like I want to be effective.
Yeah, but even I think we were doing like there was 50 like people don't understand. USAID covered like 5,600 programs. There were a lot of programs that it was doing. Okay,
some of them are going to be overbloat. Some of them are going to be corruption. Some of them are going to be good.
Again, if you could point to one that was, that's fair. But the problem is that the way that Doge did it was simply control effing for things like DEI or trans.
Well, okay,
and
let me give you an example.
It was a horrible way to do it. It did not work, and they ended up gutting the whole thing, and now it's going to cause a lot of human suffering, and even more important, I guess, for our interests, is it's going to turn countries away from us and open up a vacuum that China can fill, and they are happily doing so. And I think that that's a threat to our nation.
But let me give you an example of like a thing that was a good thing, but ended up being a bad thing, right? So like, or not a bad thing or wasteful, right? So in Nigeria, while we were fighting Boko Haram, I don't know if it was USAID, one of the programs was to help build fisheries for locals to build goodwill and support the local economy. On paper, good work. And it actually did end up doing good work. If these people had fisheries, and they did well, and it started stimulating the economy and had good feedback. People started liking Americans more, and they didn't like the Boko Haram. Well, then what Boko Haram did is they went in there and just destroyed it all and killed all the people, right? And destroy these fisheries. That is wasteful in the long run. Like, as paper, it's good, but whenever they keep throwing money at the problem, even though it's already been destroyed, just like this Darien Gap thing, I keep
it's not going to work every time.
Right, and that's my point. Is we need to reevaluate because
that's
so okay, okay. I don't think anybody answered this question. Let's go back to the Darien Gap. Right, we could have reallocated, allocated funds after it was broke at the Darien Gap. Why wasn't that done? Instead, I've been told multiple times, Trump cut funding to USDA things at the Darien Gap and USAID things at the Darien Gap. Well, but what was already past it? What's the point of funding something if it's already failed? Let's focus on the new solution that we need to deal with. Right, like and the argument is, oh well, we're going to close a science center there. Like, okay, but y'all failed at your job, so it's time to you're fired. Like, wait, if you're in the military and you're an artillery guy and you don't ever hit your target, you think you're going to be being the guy shooting the gun very often?
But if I miss my target once but hit it 9 times, I'm not going to get fired.
Okay, and then they completely overrun your position.
I don't like, to be clear, I wasn't an artillery guy, so I don't know the ratio.
Whatever. I mean, I'm just using that example.
You know what I mean?
I don't know what.
Okay, let me read some more of these. $10 from Tip to say Proverbs 19:17. Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done. USAID is good because God will reward America. Don't you want God to reward America?
I don't think that's how it works. My biblical degrees tell me.
It actually is, at least if you believe in biblical scripture, but fair enough.
I mean, hold on, wait. It is. So you're saying by doing good deeds, that's how God's going to judge America.
God rewards those who do good. Yes, that is scriptural.
Really?
Yes.
Man, that's interesting. What happened to Job?
Literally scripture. I mean, that's verbatim scripture.
Yeah. Hold on. That is the prosperity gospel, which is something that Joel Osteen preaches, and I'm vehemently against. Listen, you will go through trials and tribulations as reward.
That's true.
And you will not necessarily going to be rewarded on this earth. So the idea that you're going to just do these good deeds, like for helpless, does not necessarily mean the U.S. is going to be rewarded in the manner they are implying. So I reject this idea of what you just said.
Well, that's just what the scriptures say. Now you can take issue with it, and there are obviously other issues at play. But again, nations, when they cleave to the Lord, when they do good deeds, God rewards them. And when they turn from the Lord and they refuse to do righteous acts, God punishes them.
Yeah, but that
is the scriptural record.
Well, okay, but also, what does Deuteronomy and Leviticus say about homosexuality? It says to stone them. That would be a good deed under the Bible. Like,
I'm not here to say that they're correct. I'm saying that that's what the scriptures say.
Wick is discussing Christianity, so you have to understand that through the new covenant, right? So, for example,
okay. I'm going to read the rest of my super chats because we're not going to get into.
Well, no, because he just said, "Oh, we have to bring up the Leviticus," and it's like, well, hold on, in Leviticus, you're not supposed to eat shellfish, but Christ was. He said, "Quote." It's what comes out of your mouth, not what goes into it that defiles you. So
it's a whole no, it's a super chat.
Cover.
Like $10 for the super chat. We can do. Okay, $20 from Red Deaded lol. You should delete because you unironically asked Destiny to prove a negative multiple times. Do it tonight so I can sleep. Okay, gang, do not super chat me these things. But it's naughty of you to do so. But I will absolve your sins for a larger super chat. If you give me $30, I will wave away and you will be absolved of your cringe, okay? But no, don't say that in super chats. It's bad. Naughty. Okay. $5 from Paradox Frequency. Failed martial arts creator worried about waste votes for the most wasteful president in history. Wants to see how it goes before passing judgment. Okay. $10 from Bangarang. These people call themselves Christians and pro-life, but kids dying of AIDS aren't worth helping, while a new ballroom in the White House is. Absolute ghouls. $5 from Travisor. These bozos cry about self-deleting and then ask, why should we care about others unaliving in other countries? Hypocrites. $10 from Bass Guitar. When was the last independent audit released annually of USAID that anyone on the panel has read? Well, that's a good question.
What was the question?
When is the last independent audit released annually of the USAID that anyone on this panel has read? They do, to be clear. They release an annual audit where they go through their spending and all these things. It's a lot. I don't. It's not
read
fun
one.
to read.
I could tell you, I read one right before I did the Tim Pool show. That was the last one I read.
That was like 2 years ago.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I'm not reading. Are you reading audits regularly?
No, I'm not reading audits.
I mean, come on.
So I don't normally read the audit, but I'll read the conclusion. But
yeah.
You said something earlier.
Sure. That's what
You said something earlier. Gibbs, you referenced that it'd be cool if USAID was doing something about the Contras and the cocaine production. It actually was. There are studies that show that the USAID was responsible for a 72% reduction in cocaine production in countries like Peru. This is why I was actually trying to get to that, because USAID, again, if you remember, is fighting communist Russian influence, which was very prominent in South America prior to the success of USAID. A great example is what it was helping fund was the construction of courthouses and the funding of judges so that they could actually hold trial and convict these criminal producers of illicit drugs.
This is all true. So that's my point right there.
Hold on, just real quick. I say this to say that, like, whenever I hear criticism of USAID, I'm like, let's keep it in perspective. It's sub 1% of the budget. It's fighting global Chinese and Russian communist influence. It's fighting drug production that feeds cartels that distribute those drugs into our country and disrupt our society. What is the argument? Oh, wait, but I read on this line item 512, some trans person is something, yada, yada. Meanwhile, the Pentagon, which has a 20x budget, can't account for 60% of the money. Oh, where'd it go? We don't know. We don't. Oh, oops. Oopsie poopsie. Yeah, but I don't hear a peep. From any of these conservatives about, hey, let's audit the Pentagon. And I'll tell you why. 5 years ago.
Okay, I gotta get through these last. I gotta get through these last four. There's only 4 minutes.
I got 2 minutes, so I gotta.
Yeah, let me get through these last 4 super chats, and then you guys can say whatever, and then we're gonna let the last callers have their say, and then we're gonna end because it's almost 10. $5 from Caramel Cold Brew. Stay on the prompt. Meanwhile, this moron is all over the place when it suits him. $5 from Mantis Praise. How does this dragon regard keep making statements and providing no evidence and expect anyone to treat him like an adult? Go take a nap, you moron. $2 from Mythos. I think it's Musk dog-walked Trump pattern. And then finally, $5 from Bangarang. Conservatives have destroyed all of our institutions and norms under Trump, and Bozo with the hat thinks it's the liberals' fault. LOL.
But yeah, just to finish my point there, I never hear anyone talk about auditing the Pentagon when we know for a fact that there's multiple documented examples of the fraud. And so when I hear waste, fraud, and abuse, my mind goes straight to the Pentagon and military contracts. But yet we haven't.
I don't
Last sentence. I don't remember hearing anyone say anything about USA maybe 5-7 years ago. This is whole cloth, a made up issue. This is whole cloth, a made up issue, just to garner support, to frame the Democrats and all of their endeavors as some type of like a corruption, the deep state, whatever. Mind you, ignore him benefiting, making billions, pushing meme coins, enriching his family, getting planes from Qatar, getting money from ignore all of that.
Well,
but okay, let's pay attention to 1% of the budget.
Real quick, Truth. I just a couple of things. I brought the Peru thing up because I thought that was an effective use of a program by the USAID. That was where I was trying to lead you, and I wanted to see point examples that were wasteful and I thought should be cut, etc. Secondly, this is actually a real problem, I think, in the space. And I'm going to say echo chambers, right? Like the things you just mentioned about us not talking about audits. Republicans are bitch about the audits and talk about how the Marine Corps is the only one to audit in the military correctly, like in years, right? And so this is a talking point in Republican circles heavy, right? And then I think you said another one, but I forget what it was because I'm trying to do it quickly because there's too many people I want to leave. But they basically those things. Like I think this is actually like a big issue is where y'all like have these ideas that Republicans don't talk about this, but it's certain we do talk about this shit all the time. We're like audit this shit, audit this, that, And so I think this is actually a bridge crossing, like one of the ships passing in the night kind of issue, and that's why we need to go on shows like Wix to talk about it.
This is the Google trend for USAID. It spikes in 2025, comically so.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
sure.
It was pushed by media.
What is this? Was this right here? Sorry.
Oh, this is Google Trends. It shows you how much things are coming up on the internet. This is just for USAID. Like this is a clear response to that news story.
I'm not disagreeing.
Audits is a bigger thing. That's something general. Yeah.
But it is a Republican talking point for a while, though.
This is great. Yeah. Thank you for this.
Do you think? I'm not arguing that it doesn't come up in the mainstream, but like at least the Republican debates.
Okay, just real quick, She's Right show. Don't let them say slurs. I gotta use the restroom. The rest of you can talk. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, something like deficit is a bit more common over time, but it does wiggle a little bit. Oh, I want to.
We got to describe this for the chatters because they can't see it. This is beautiful. Alice just put up a Google trend that literally shows USAID spiking in 2025, and prior to that, there's like no mention of it. Nobody cares. It's not being looked at.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that people in like Republican circles talk about getting rid of three-letter agencies like ATF often?
Yeah, sometimes
ATF definitely because the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
So when I say this, like, do I think this is? I'm not saying this is ever a mainstream Republican thing, but like this has been a like talking point in Republican debate sphere for a long time, and this is actually like I think a good example of like where there's missing like. I'm not saying the like mainstream Republican was talking about it, no, but the extremes and the people that are into politics should be the ones pushing policy. I think we can all agree, right? And so like whenever you see like people like commentators like myself and others, this is something we talk about regularly, right? Like on our stuff, and maybe it's not like something Google search, but I think that this is one of those examples where like it's just we're missing each other, and we both are concerned about a problem, but we're not talking about it.
Look, I hear you. If we can get Republicans on board with auditing the Pentagon, reducing the military budget, reducing funding to warring nations that are belligerent, whose prime ministers have arrest warrants for them, instead of buddying up with them and holding the seat for them and being cucked, that would be fantastic. I would love that. And we need to get on board with the fact that USAID was amazing. We need to bring it back because China and Russia are jumping up, announcing it gleefully that they're going to fill our vacuum. And that was just bad business.
A good way to kind of tell what you should do is like, what do your enemies let you do and what your enemies get really upset about you doing? And the way that Russia and China are like, yeah, go ahead, defund USAID, even with like the Iran war, have then been moving in to make trade deals in our stead is kind of embarrassing. Yeah. There's some things that just shouldn't be political, and it just be an easy bipartisan W to like fund USAID and fund Social Security. I think are two just, I don't know. I don't see a lot of point in fighting about this of all things. Like, I want to win. I want America to win. I want Americans to be healthy and safe. And why the fuck not if we can make everyone else healthy and safe too?
Okay, gang. It's almost 10, and I'm struggling. I will say this. What do we got coming up? Let me give you guys the big thing that I got, okay? And if I miss callers, call in Friday. We are having call-in show Friday. Tomorrow's a counterpoint thing. I already mentioned that. The big announcement I want to make tonight, and I probably should have done it while Destiny was here, but whatever. I have, thanks to Erudite for securing a streaming room at LibCon for me to use. I will be at LibCon on the 16th to the 17th. And on Friday, I will be doing live interviews, live debates, live discussions. Tune in for that. It's exciting. I'm excited. Yeah. And she's going to help me get some she's going to give me a list of guests to choose from, and I am excited for that. So check it out.
That's very exciting. Woo!
Yeah.
That sounds lit.
Beautiful.
I'm excited to
Okay.
be at LibCon.
Okay. I gotta go. I'm sorry, callers, that I may
Get
have
some
missed.
rest. Eat a big plate.
I should probably go too.
Thanks for coming, gang. I love you all. Thanks for being here. Link to all the main guests in my YouTube description. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, for some Drama Slop.